The story opens with the voice of an angel echoing out. I am the messenger of the god Aptens, the messenger of the star god. An angel? The girl asked blankly. What is going on? I must be hallucinating. The angel announced, congratulations. You have been granted a chance to be reborn. The girl grew even more confused. Am I really dead? Sure enough, her body was lying right beside her. She could hardly believe her eyes. Really? After everything I've been through all this time? If you can't do it, then say so. There are plenty of people who can replace you. It was always like that. Her daily life had been endlessly exhausting. It's already 6, she thought. Before Assistant Park gets to work, I need to hurry back. As she walked, the girl was absorbed in reading a novel. It was a romantic fantasy novel. The girl felt regretful. No, seriously, she has handsome brothers and a handsome father and was born with a golden spoon. So why is she leaving home? She treasured the heroine like a golden sweet potato. Smacking the sweet potato in irritation, she grumbled, your handsome dad taught his daughter all kinds of things. And what about your handsome brothers? So she clicked on the comments section and wrote, Dear heroine, can I take your place as that family's daughter? I could live there just fine without running away. Luckily, her comment got the most likes, and that was her little bit of happiness. Is there anything new? As she walked, she let her thoughts drift. Suddenly, a blinding white light shot straight at her, so bright that she had to squint. Before she could collect herself, an engine roared violently. Back in the present, the angel called out, Miss, I told you this was a chance to be reborn, didn't I? Could you be a little happier? She shouted. So, it really was that famous reincarnation truck that hit me? I thought that only happened in novels. The legendary truck, get hit by it, and you're reborn in a fantasy world. Truly the thoughts of someone who had read too many novels. As expected of the chosen one. We hope you'll use all that knowledge to enjoy the world the gods have created. Aptens referenced a great variety of things and created an entire world. Of all those influences, the one he drew from most was romantic fantasy novels. What do you think? Isn't this the perfect world for someone like you, a devoted romantic fantasy reader? Would you like to be reborn? She immediately answered, absolutely not. A fantasy world created by a crazy god obsessed with romantic fantasy? Who would want to go there? But didn't you just comment that you want to take the heroine's place? What now? It sounds even cheaper and more ridiculous than I expected. Why are you giving me a chance to reincarnate? You left comments on every novel Aptens read. What? And your comments got the most likes. And you gave the most advice to the main characters. She thought to herself, is this angel an attention addict? Even if you don't revive me, that's fine, you little brat. Well, now that your questions have been answered, you'll be reborn, right? How does that solve anything? If anything, it only makes this even more suspicious. But still, she was already dead. It was a gamble with nothing left to lose. Logically speaking, I do read dozens of novels every month. But what if I'm reborn as some useless nobody? What if I'm reborn as a villainess who gets beheaded? Or a side character who gets used and discarded? Maybe I could adapt well. No way I could adapt. The angel asked, why are you hesitating? Didn't you want to live in fantasy world? It's not that I just want to live in any fantasy world. Then what? Like I commented earlier, I want to be reborn into a house where I'm born with a golden spoon, with a handsome father and handsome brothers. That's the standard for romantic fantasy. Honestly, you're so picky. Then fine, I'll do it. And every member of that family has to be willing to sacrifice themselves for me. There aren't that many romantic fantasies like that. If you die later, nobody would like you even if they just met you. What do you mean there aren't? Lady Bay, what? If you want to start with the family dying like in that novel? No. Excuse me, I misspoke. I'll do my very best. Well then, it's settled, right? Reincarnation. But most heroines in romantic fantasy have special abilities. At the very least, they're exceptionally intelligent. The angel complained. You really ask for a lot, don't you? Huh. He laughed it off and said, don't worry. This is a special gift for you. I'll give you a special power, a handsome father, and handsome brothers. You could call it a premium reincarnation. If that's all, then after all the hardship I've suffered, this is just a reward, right? Even if she wasn't especially kind, she had still worked herself to the bone. At last, the day sunlight shone into her rat hole had come. All right then, I want to be reincarnated. Then the contract is established. Truly human indeed. The girl's face darkened. A black crack split across the sky overhead. A contract. Isn't that the kind of thing only that sort makes? Wait a second. That's a demon. She screamed. Cancel this contract. I want to take it back. The contract has already been established. What? There has to be some way. My power. What about my power? It's the ability that suits you best. The black smoke slowly swallowed her whole. Ugh, if my power is just being deceived, then I'm really doomed. You don't need to worry, my friend. And so, in a grand and luxurious mansion, a bucket of water sat on the floor. In a small hand gripped a scrub brush tightly as a little girl resentfully scrubbed the floor. With tears in her eyes, she cursed inwardly. That lying demon bastard. Where's the handsome father? And where are the handsome brothers? Where's my golden spoon? Is this a dirt spoon? No, a dust spoon would be more accurate. I never should have agreed to reincarnate back then. Suddenly, Jack's voice rang out. Slacking off again, are you? Lazy, just like your mother. She hurriedly replied. I am sorry. Uncle. The man frowned and scolded her. How dare you act like you're my niece? It's my Lord Marquis. Learn your place. That's exactly why your father abandoned you. That's true. Then again, maybe you're not even the Duke's real daughter. When she had first been reincarnated, she looked at that beautiful and splendid house and thought she had been born into a good family. Survival no longer seemed like a major issue. Life here, having dreams, receiving love, maybe even getting a happy ending like the protagonist in a novel. It had all been so exciting. But her cousin Cleety, if this world was a novel, then that child was the heroine. The heroine of this world wasn't her. WH, why did you come here? Father, you can't bully a child like this. Our Ty is truly so kind, always worrying about children like this. And my birthday is coming up. That's right. So isn't Father just ordering the hall clean for that? There's no need to throw such a grand party in the great hall for my birthday. It's my daughter's birthday. How could I possibly treat it carelessly? Father, really? Turning to her, Cleety asked, "Are you all right, sister?" There, relax now. Then Cleety turned back and, whether by accident or on purpose, drove her heel into the girl's eye. Eek, Father, my shoes got wet with that dirty soapy water. I'll buy you a new pair, so don't worry. Wow, Father, you're the best. Then the Marquis and his daughter left together, and the door slowly closed, leaving her sitting there in silence. Tears streamed down her face, and the shout echoed back in. Clean it up right now. That night, she lay trembling on her bed. Her legs scraped and reddened. She whimpered softly. It hurts. She remembered what the Marquis had said. TSK, you can't even clean one hall properly. Starting today, you won't be getting dinner for a week. Weekly, she thought, I only get one meal a day as it is. The words of the Marquis and Cleety kept ringing in her ears. Don't be too disappointed. If I gave my cousin free meals, wouldn't that be unfair to everyone else? Those who don't work don't eat. That's what Father said. So from now on, you need to work harder and do your job properly. You should be thanking me. Your father refused to responsibly provide child support. So at the very least, you have to pay for your meals. Do you know how much you've eaten? It's cost me a lot of money to raise you. Don't forget that your biological father abandoned you, and I'm the one who raised you. Ah, well, that is if he really is your biological father. After all, you can't use dark energy, can you? All she could do was curse the one who had made the contract with her. That damn devil. I thought I'd get a golden spoon and powers inherited from my father and brothers. A family. I thought I would have one. There's nothing. But why did the tears keep? There was no cold medicine here, and a child's body was far too fragile. It would be easier just to die. No, I can't be weak. No matter how wronged I feel, I can't just die like this. I have to survive in this 0-point world. Then, on Cleety's birthday, Ty, happy birthday. Oh my, she's still so young and already so dazzlingly beautiful. The dress was so gorgeous and extravagant that no one could believe it belonged to a child. Marquis Tarinka loved Cleety so much that he gave her an expensive dress on her birthday. Everyone buzzed with gossip. I heard that dress costs as much as a grand mansion, and he gives her one like that every year. She thought bitterly. She really receives so much love. Compared to her, suddenly Cleety cried out, "Ah, my shoe." Immediately, a shout rang out. Why are you just standing there blankly? Wipe it off. She hurried over. I'll wipe. But before she could finish, she stopped because all the servants turned away one by one. It was on the Marquis's orders. They were not to help her. Marquis Terence barked, veins bulging in his neck. What are you doing? Disobeying again? Was a week of starvation not enough for you? Do you want a beating too? Seeing that, Cleety smiled slyly. Make sure you clean it properly. She comforted herself inwardly. It's okay. This is nothing special. I'm important. Then suddenly another voice rang out. Really? Then I must be remembering wrong. Curious, she secretly looked up. Everyone's attention shifted to the person who had entered. The man spoke again. My daughter doesn't have blonde hair. Everyone gasped. D. Duke Ferriton, she thought in awe. That man, with hair darker than the abyss itself and eyes redder than the blood of a dove. If he were described in a novel, there would definitely be a line like that. And besides, her father was Duke Ferriton. Wasn't he supposed to be on the Western Front? Suddenly the Duke said coldly, "It's over." The Marquis asked at once, "Pardon? Did you say it's over?" But clearly it isn't yet. The Duke cut him off. Do I look so idle to you that I would personally deal with children's matters? And no, of course not. That couldn't possibly be the case. If you were coming here, why didn't you send word first? What business would bring me here? Isn't it obvious? Then the Duke turned his burning red eyes toward her. What is that little rat doing there? The Marquis stammered, "Tish, that is a household matter." Someone cut in. Could that shabby, ugly-faced child really be the Ferriton Duchy's young lady? So filthy and so haggard. Yes, obviously. She thought, he must be displeased that I'm his daughter, right? But still, gathering up all her courage, she spoke. Even so, could you please take me with you? The Duke asked in surprise. What? It's because I haven't bathed. Because I'm not allowed to bathe. That's why I look like this. I am good at cleaning, and I'm good at eating too. I can pay for my meals. I'll polish your shoes for you every day. I can make them shine. And at that point her throat tightened, and tears began pouring out uncontrollably. All that came out were sobs. I don't want to stay here. I want to go home. The Duke responded with a remark that left her pale. You're certainly full of spirit. Aggrieved, she shouted, You're my father. You're my father. Just like Marquis Tarenka. There's someone here for Cleety already. Clutching tightly at the Duke's clothes, she cried and pleaded, Father, please take me with you. Then the Duke suddenly extended his large hand and lifted her up as easily as if she weighed nothing. Terrified, she thought, "No, I'm going to fall." She looked up, her gaze meeting the Duke's fearsome face. She hurriedly covered her mouth, afraid that if she let another sob escape, his anger would flare even worse. But unexpectedly, the Duke simply ordered, "We're leaving." "Yes, Your Grace." She couldn't help being stunned. "He's taking me with him? Amazing." At last, she was escaping that horrible place. If he just took a few more steps like this. She squeezed her eyes shut and prayed, "Please don't leave me behind." Suddenly, a commotion broke out behind them. Young Lady Cleety had collapsed onto the stone floor, clutching herself and screaming, "My dress, my dress." Then a loud voice rang out, "Duke Faraton." She startled and opened her eyes wide. Could it be the Duke? What? The Duke turned away and said, "Has your judgment failed you? One should at least have ambition." Ambition, she wondered again. Why is Marquis Tyrant just sitting there? Truly, he looked like someone with something stuck in his craw. Later, in a splendid room, she awoke on a soft bed. Rubbing her eyes, she thought, "What time is it?" A maid came in and said, "Young miss, you're awake." "Yes, good morning." As she washed her face, she thought, still no expression today. She doesn't seem to look down on me or hate me, though. It had already been 10 days since she came to Duke Faraton's estate. This was wonderful. Her legs no longer hurt, and her health had recovered quickly. In fact, she was in better condition now than even before she had fallen ill. But still, the Duke had never once come to see her. Not that she exactly missed him, but, "Father, take me with you." Suddenly, she remembered what had happened that day. Ugh, how embarrassing. No, for now, all that mattered was being well-fed and warmly clothed, with no one beating her and no need to go hungry. I want to live here. If that was the case, then first she needed to figure out what kind of person the Duke was. Justice, self-preservation. Peace still felt very far away. In a romantic fantasy, there were two kinds of villains, a punchable scumbag like Marquis Tyrant, or a demon, a tyrant, a man shrouded in secrecy. Going by the flow of the story, the Duke was definitely the second type. I'd hit the jackpot with this one. At last, the day sunlight reached the rat's hole had come. Though if I want to be honest, not a single thing he said was actually true. Well then, to figure out what kind of person the Duke was. First, she suddenly sprang up and hurried to the window to wipe it down. "I have to work. I have to pay for my meals first." A servant hastily said, "Why, youngest young lady, if you do that, then we." She cut her off. "I decided I have to work if I'm going to live here." "No, it seems you've misunderstood something, my lady. You are Duke Faraton's youngest daughter. You don't need to work." She answered right away, "If I were really the youngest daughter of this house, I would have been living here a long time ago. I was abandoned. An abandoned child can never become the baby of the family again." Just then, the Duke walked in and asked, "What is going on here?" Startled, she cried inwardly, Duke Faraton. Every time I asked, they said he wasn't home, so why did he come back early today?" She stammered, "I am very good at cleaning." The Duke frowned. "What? Who told you to do this kind of pointless nonsense?" Because I said I'd pay for my meals." Suddenly, the Duke picked her up. "You're still half asleep, aren't you?" She jolted inwardly. No way. No way. Is he going to abandon me like this? But in the next moment, her eyes widened and sparkled when the Duke set her down in front of a table overflowing with food. With a dark expression, the Duke said, "I'll say it again. Eat." She ate for a while, then stopped, staring at how much food was still left on the table. The Duke asked, "Why did you stop? Is that all you can eat?" Sweating, she thought, "No, I can't. I can't eat anymore. Forget where all this food is even going. My stomach really feels like it's going to burst. But if I don't eat, I might not just get kicked out. I might get killed." The Duke said again, "You can eat more." Panicking, she wondered, "What do I do? I really can't eat anymore." Right then, a maid bowed and said, "Why, Your Grace, may I say something? The youngest young lady is different from the young masters. Her stomach is very small, so if she eats any more, I'm afraid she'll get stomachache." The Duke asked, "And you are?" "I am Anna, Your Grace." "So her name is Anna. I see her every day, but I'm only learning her name now." The Duke ordered, "From now on, you will be responsible for taking care of this child." "Yes, Your Grace." She exclaimed inwardly in surprise, "My own maid?" Her eyes glimmered as she asked, "See, can I keep living here?" "TCH, what nonsense are you saying?" "All right, if other people saw it, throwing out the daughter he had only just brought home after all these years would look a little strange. There was also noble honor to consider. I should have thought of that sooner. I've been too careless this whole time. You really can't eat anymore?" She nodded rapidly. "Yes, sir." "All right, then." And just like that, the atmosphere turned painfully silent. She thought, "I already ate earlier." Seeing the Duke stare at her, she cried inwardly, "This is so awkward. Someone please save me." At that moment, a subordinate entered and reported, "Your Grace, my apologies, but the Imperial Palace has sent word requesting your urgent return today." She felt inwardly grateful. Perfect timing. I was wondering why he came home so early, but it looks like something sudden came up. The Duke stood and said, "I understand. I'm leaving now. Don't do useless things. Stay put." "Yes, sir." I scrubbed so many windows spotless, though. Life is hard, but if I keep staying here, then at least I won't have to worry about food. Meals and water will come on time. Youngest young lady, as you've just seen, His Grace has no intention of abandoning you. Yes, because Duke Farraton's reputation is involved too. You don't need to do chores anymore. You're still very young, and you're his only daughter, after all, so please put your mind at ease and think happy thoughts. At ease? Do I really look that anxious? Then 2 other maids came over and said, that tiny body of yours has endured nightmares and terrible pain. If you ever feel unwell, don't suffer alone. Please tell me, all right? Huh? Are they worried about me? Of course. After all, she cut in, but whether I tried talking to you or not, none of you seemed willing to answer when I asked anything. I thought you all hated me. We would never dare. Does the youngest young lady want to chat with us? She answered at once, yes. Then one maid said, the youngest young lady is different from the young masters. That's right. She looks just like an ordinary child. The blue-haired maid warned. Nancy, startled, she hurriedly said, I am sorry, my lady. I spoke out of turn. So she's Nancy. Well, of course I'm not an ordinary child if I reincarnated. She said it was fine. I like ordinary, simple things. Nancy's eyes shone as she praised her. And you're gentle too, my lady. She thought to herself, more than anything, this is the first place where I've felt the warmth of living people. I feel a little embarrassed, but I don't dislike it at all. The only daughter, a family. If you live under the same roof, can you be considered family? As Anna said, if I'm really Duke Farraton's biological daughter, then maybe I don't need to feel anxious anymore. But I'm clearly a child born from my mother's affair. I never even met my mother, even though I've heard about her my whole life. There was no trace of sinister energy around Duke Farraton. So what exactly was that energy I sensed before? More than anything, with his jet black hair, blood-red eyes, and a face as sharp as a forged blade. Compared to him, with my soft pink hair like spring petals and blue eyes like Paraba, anyone would think I had an innocent face. The Duke and I don't resemble each other in the slightest. If what the Marquis said turns out to be true, and I'm exposed as an illegitimate child, things might not end with me simply being kicked out. Duke Farraton was marked by traits like tyrant, darkness, and cruelty. That's what my instincts were telling me. If I want to survive, then I have to work for it too. If he raises me while thinking I'm his real daughter, maybe he'll grow attached and not kill me. At worst, I'll just be kicked out. I know exactly what to do in times like this. I'm a reader who's read thousands of romance fantasy novels. After all, she ran and stopped in front of the Duke's room. All right, I can do this. Romantic heroine, be brave. Even if he clearly hates me, I just have to approach him anyway. She looked terribly tense, muttering under her breath, count to 10, then go in. But then the door suddenly opened. Youngest young lady, His Grace invites you in. Startled, she thought, how does he know I'm here? Inside, the Duke sat sternly, his deep, cold eyes fixed on her. She put on the brightest smile she could and called out, Father, then ran over and hugged his leg. I missed you so much. The sight left everyone in the room utterly stunned. Huh, W, wasn't that right? Why is everyone reacting like that? Resting his chin on one hand, the Duke asked, you missed me? I feel so uncomfortable. Did I miscalculate? Does he always look at people he knows like that, even at the dinner table? And no, it's not that I'm uncomfortable. It's just a little unfamiliar, since I haven't seen Father for so long. So from now on, I'll stay with you. If we don't want things to feel awkward, then we need to grow closer. Right? If we get close, affection will grow. Then when he finds out I'm not his real daughter, he won't kill me. And she inwardly marveled, oh. Her eyes sparkled, his feeling around my hands. It's so soft. So Duke Farraton is wearing silk. His clothes almost felt warm, like body temperature. But calm down. I'll do one sweet little gesture with the Duke's cheeks. Yes, that's it. Thinking that, she quickly placed both hands on the Duke's cheeks. She couldn't stop marveling. For someone who's a father, his skin is amazing. It's as soft as a baby's. Suddenly, the system's voice rang out. Conditions satisfied. Checking profile. A's contract check complete. Her eyes widened in shock when she saw the system window appear before her. WH, what is this? The system notified her. Trade awakened. She could hardly believe her eyes. Was she seeing things because it happened so suddenly? How could I forget? The god who tricked me into reincarnating said he'd give me an ability too. Then, could this be it? If this is the kind of power that drives you into debt just to use it, I'll go bankrupt. If it's this ability, then honestly, I'd rather. The Duke's voice interrupted her thoughts. As soft as a baby, she jolted. Did I say that out loud? Then he suddenly lifted her up and sat her on his lap. Seeing him hold out a hand, she thought, WH, what is this? But the Duke unexpectedly started poking her cheek. Looking up at him, she thought, could this tyrant be turning foolish because of his daughter already? They say touching a child's cheek raises affection. It may only be a little, but I know I'm pretty cute. The Duke said, you look like an angry pufferfish. She argued inwardly, no, this is the face of someone denying reality after falling into a trap. Still, there was nothing she could do. Then the Duke ordered, that will be all for today's meeting. He picked her up and carried her away, and their destination was the bath. Time for a bath. She sniffed at her clothes. I'm already clean now, though. But why is he only taking me now? Wait, is it because of what I said? From now on, I'll stay with you. You said if we don't want things to feel awkward, we have to stick close to each other. No, that can't be it. Don't expect anything. Anna said gently. Little miss, let's get you washed up. Okay, she thought. This isn't the time to be curious about that. Compared to trying to understand the Duke's feelings, I have something more important to deal with. I'm finally alone. First of all, because I was focused on the Duke, the notification window disappeared. Can I call it back? No matter what the Duke was doing, I should have read the whole thing first. Suddenly, the system appeared. This is a notification you skipped. Would you like to confirm the information? What should I do? Do I just answer it? Trait, unavailable. Reader, this is the ability I promised you. This was already a simple condition, but I didn't expect it to take so long. Surely you weren't cursing the contract for being a scam all this time, were you? That wasn't simple at all. So what was the condition? Could it be doing something to the Duke's cheek? Since this is an ability suited to you, reader, I hope you'll make good use of it. This is trait rank F, trait effect. Using cat, you may summon a romance fantasy novel you have read. You may then extract and use the ability of the heroine from the summoned novel. Extraction will be performed at random. Warning, you currently have no summoning medium, so this cannot be used at present. She murmured in shock, summon a novel I've read. The heroine's ability. She cried inwardly. This is incredible. If I can use all those countless abilities, then survival won't be a problem anymore. I might even conquer the whole world. Goodbye to those gutter-like days. But we're a cat and a summoning medium. Then the system announced, you have a new quest. Prove your worth. Reader, did you really think that receiving an ability meant you could raise a glass and celebrate already? How naive. The world of romance fantasy novels is not so easy. Does that disappoint and dishearten you? Whether day or night, you must always watch your back. Never forget that. Wait, is this judging my qualifications right now? Why does this thing talk like that? Your ability is not perfect. Prove your worth by perfecting it through your own efforts. Condition, collect a summoning medium. Reward, change sutekat. She thought, even if I can't eat this, I still have to do it. Then she raised her hand to confirm. You have accepted the quest. All right, but where am I supposed to get a summoning medium? In romance fantasy novels, things like that are incredibly, incredibly rare. An imperial treasure, a sacred relic of the Holy Temple, a treasure of the Magic Tower, or a family heirloom passed down through noble houses for generations. For now, the only thing I can try searching for is the Faratin ducal family heirloom. It would be great if it were here. But then again, even if it really is here, wouldn't that be the problem? How could I ever ask them to hand something like that over to me? No, I don't even know whether summoning medium is one of those heirlooms in the first place. First thing tomorrow morning, I need to make a plan too. Thinking that, she fell asleep. The next morning, you're awake, little miss. Yes. As she rubbed her eyes, she noticed something. Huh? Did Anna tuck me in? No, we're not allowed to enter while you're sleeping, my lady. She thought, did I pull over myself in my sleep? Let's get you changed. Good morning, sisters. Good morning, little miss. Wow, this is so pretty. It sparkles too, isn't it? This would really suit the color of your eyes, little miss. Would you like some things like hairpins too? You look absolutely adorable. She hesitated before answering, but they look expensive. Whatever are you saying, my lady? You can use these whenever you like. That's right. Even if it were something more valuable, as long as you like it, that's all that matters. Hearing that, she thought good. Then, I have to look as innocent as possible. So she asked, in that case, even in the Duke's mansion, there must be rooms full of sparkling things like these, right? Like collection rooms. Of course. There are too many such rooms to count. And there are even more in the ducal castle out in the territory. There really are a lot. I was planning to ask if I could look around a little. May I go see them? Would that be all right? Of course. Good. Now if I can get to a room, preferably one with an heirloom. But when Ty was with me, even getting near something would make them scold me. You filthy little thief. Why are you sneaking around here? What are you trying to steal this time? A girl with bad habits like hers needs a beating before she comes to her senses. Thinking of that, she asked timidly, will it really be okay if I look at those things? The maids looked at her in surprise and pity. Uneasy, she thought, why are they making faces like that? Nancy suddenly hugged her tight. Don't say that. Our little miss, so tiny like this, still just a child. She patted Nancy on the back to reassure her. I'm Fina. I have all of you worrying about me like this, after all. That only moved them even more, and they cried out, my lady. She thought, this is the first time in my life I've ever done something like this. It doesn't feel bad. No, it feels really nice. They told her, the first thing you should see in the Duke's house has to be the very best. If you're going sightseeing, then you must visit the Holy Chamber. Things like Marquis Taranka's treasure room were really shabby compared to the Duke's house. Really? We can just go in like this. Since you're connected to the ducal house, of course you have the right to enter, miss. Though you still need the Duke's permission. As expected. Well, even so, this is good enough. Because she had to confirm whether there was a summoning medium among the family heirlooms. She suddenly found one of the Duke's subordinates entering. Excuse me, my lady. His Grace invites you to breakfast with him. She thought nervously. So, suddenly? A little later, at the dining table, she poked at a sausage and thought, I'm already feeling bloated. She glanced up at the Duke and frowned to herself. No, I need to get closer to the Duke too. Brightly, she said, I'll enjoy the meal, father, so please enjoy yours too. I'm smiling as hard as I can. Ugh, I'm so sad I could cry. All this effort of mine. Oh, let's eat. She marveled inwardly. It's so good. Pudding. I like pudding. And so she ate obediently and with delight. Wow, it's delicious. Hick, before I knew it, I finished it all. My pudding, but now it's gone. Then the Duke suddenly pushed his portion toward her. Eat this. Huh, I thought he looked down on me. She stole a glance at the Duke. If I tell him to take a bite, would that be okay? Ugh, why am I hesitating? Whether it works or not, I have to try. He said we had to build affection, didn't he? She lifted a tiny spoonful, but then she hesitated again, mumbling, I'll enjoy it. I need to have a father first to know that, don't I? At that moment, the Duke set down his teacup, resting his chin on one hand. He looked at her with exasperation and muttered, why isn't this child clinging to me? HM, what does he mean by that? The Duke suddenly reached out and swiftly picked her up. She was startled out of her wits, but then thought back. Come to think of it, when I woke up, he wasn't in the mansion. Was he deliberately waiting for me? Could it be he wanted to talk to me about something? The Duke carried her into his study. Even while working, he sat her on his lap, making her scream internally, no, this isn't right. I have my suspicions, but still, I hate unfamiliar feelings. Did I really say I'd cling to him from now on like this? She's not even disturbing me. Even if my expression is a little cold, I even gave that child my pudding. Even if my expression is a little cold, something's off. Everything clearly went according to plan. Survival plan: 1, observe often. 2, smile a lot. 3, get taken in and cared for. 4, cling to him. I have to gather my courage. Why am I so embarrassed? No, this isn't the time to be embarrassed. I need to find an object that can serve as a bridge between us. Fine. At times like this, I should speak carefully. Suddenly the Duke asked, what is it? Just then Anna arrived. Today, the youngest young lady is scheduled to visit the Holy Chamber. She went stiff in shock. What do I do if she says that out loud? Why did it have to be about viewing the heirlooms? What if I get scolded? What? Are we really going right now? Can family heirlooms really be viewed so casually? There's still a mountain of paperwork. What on earth is he thinking? Could it be danger? This child is far too innocent and pure. Things in this romantic fantasy world aren't that simple. Whether asleep or awake, you have to watch the back of your neck. Don't forget those words. Could the truth be that the Duke is a good villain? No. After that, she was brought to a sparkling room, and her eyes lit up. Wow, so this is the Holy Chamber? It doesn't just hold treasures, but spoils of war too. And something caught her attention. That. Ancient books are rare too, but that's not what I'm looking for. She froze. Wait, books. The message window called me reader, didn't it? Something about powers compatible with readers. When Justin Cat explained it, he also said something about powers suited to a reader. She realized it at once. That's it. She immediately asked the Duke, Daddy, what is that book over there? A sealed book. A sealed book. Yes. Demons get sealed away too, don't they? She went pale and clutched the Duke's arm tightly. Why do my hands have no strength all of a sudden? The Duke's aide reassured her. It's all right, my lady. Though, what is a sealed book? There's nothing sealed inside it right now. So you don't need to be so worried. I'm Fina. Does my face really look that strange? Could it be that the Duke thinks I'm scared too? After thinking it over, she spoke. But if there's nothing sealed inside, why is it being kept here? Because it is a treasure of the first Duke. Wow, then these things must be really old. That's amazing. Can I touch it? She asked, her eyes shining. May I not? The Duke gave no answer, cold as ever. She pretended not to notice and thought, so he won't allow it. The aide laughed and said, haha, its condition isn't very good, that's all. What should I do? But first, I should make a strategic retreat for today. Suddenly, the notification window appeared. A quest has appeared out of nowhere. What? Most filial reader, your instincts are better than expected. Congratulations, you have found a summoning medium. However, I think you are about to face difficult circumstances. You don't happen to be the type to call climbing mountains and crossing seas a strategic retreat, are you? A reader of the romantic fantasy world will not retreat in circumstances like this. Show us your abilities. Condition: persuade Duke Faratin, and you will receive the summoning medium. Reward: 5,000 cut lottery ticket. She screamed inwardly, are you insane? If I die while trying to study how to deploy this quickly, what then? People need to be a little cautious. Besides, I don't even know how. The notification window appeared again. Penalty for refusing the quest. Get off the train of life. Surely it doesn't mean the kind of get off the train of life that I'm thinking of, right? Her heart held. If I don't do it, I die, but if I fail, I die too. You wicked demon. The notification added, benefit for accepting the quest. Hints will be activated. Hints? Is this what they call the carrot and stick? Hints? What kind? Choices? Affection level? Either way, if there are hints, I'll be able to get that book into my hands. You have accepted the quest. During the quest, hints will be activated as a benefit. Good. Let's see the hints. If possible, I'd also like the choices. She looked up at the Duke, then suddenly froze. What is that? Why is there a heart drawn on the Duke's cheek? Why is there a heart on his cheek? It kind of suits him, though. No, this is not the time to be thinking about that. There's a heart showing up over there. Do I have to kiss the Duke on the cheek? I shouldn't trust this demon. Her face turned red to the tips of her ears. Seeing that, the Duke asked, HM, your face looks strange, like a sleepy frog. Calm down. A hint is just a hint. The condition has nothing to do with kissing. I just need to persuade the Duke, right? Then let the persuasion begin. She tugged on his clothes and called, "Father, I'll touch it carefully. Could you please take it out for me, just once? It's so pitiful for a book that no one has read for hundreds of years. I'll be gentle so the book won't get hurt." She kept pleading, "Please." Why is father's expression gone stiff? H's hand. He's not about to crush me to death for not listening, is he? Someone save me. The heart meter went up. Good grief, what is this? If that's how it is, then I'll give up on persuading him. She held out both arms. "Ah, father," he asked blankly, "what is it?" Heh. Father has no idea what's about to happen to him. No, better if he doesn't know. She leaned closer to his face, then suddenly planted a kiss on his cheek. The Duke's eyes widened in shock, and everyone else stood there gaping. The Duke's cheek. "Oh my God," she cried inwardly. "Wow, even with a blank expression, he's handsome." What's that?" Then came a rustle and a crack. A burst of light exploded outward, so brilliant it swallowed the whole room. Then everything abruptly quieted down. In his hands, which had been empty a moment ago, a book had somehow appeared. Startled by what had just happened, one subordinate shouted, "Why, Your Grace?" Her eyes shone as she reached out. "My book." But the Duke swept his arm firmly aside, his movements decisive and cold. Does father think he's teasing me? Murky black energy was rising from the book in wavering strands. Then he said, "There is nothing abnormal. Even if nothing is imprisoned there now, it is still a place of sealing. There's no telling what residue may remain." She thought in surprise, is father worried about me? So he didn't refuse because he was afraid the book would be damaged, but because he was afraid I might be in danger? The aide suddenly said, "Your Grace, no matter what, this is a treasure of the first Duke and an heirloom that has accompanied House Faraton since ancient times. If the little lady touches it and tears it," before he could finish, the Duke shot him a sharp glance and said, "Does this belong to you?" She silently chimed in, "That's right. It belongs to my father." Then she fixed her gaze on the book again. "Wow, father, you're the best." He repeated, "I'm the best. Yes, the very best. Seriously, just give me the book." The heart again? "If I ever catch that demon bastard, you're dead." So once again, she kissed the Duke on the cheek. Oh, is he actually happy to be kissed by his daughter? Is this the classic symptom of a doting fool of a father? Now his expression looks a little better. It stiffened up again. Then I was right after all. Even so, she smiled slyly. She immediately opened the book. At that very instant, the pages trembled softly, and then hundreds of letters flew off the paper all at once. At the same time, the notification window appeared. "You have obtained the summoning method. Quest completed. Prove your worth. Quest completed. Best filial duty. Reward issued. 5,000 cut. You will receive a 5,000 cut lottery ticket as a reward." She rejoiced inwardly. So I escaped the danger of my life going downhill. And on top of that, a 5,000 cut lottery ticket. Cut is the best. Senior aide of Duke Faraton, Viscount Uncle, admires you. Duke Faraton's tutor, Heezer, feels respect for you. A group of senior maids of Duke Faraton feel respect for you. Your influence within the Faraton family has increased slightly. 500 cut issued. Oh ho, if people react, I get extra cut? But why are they admiring and respecting me? In addition, Duke Faraton's satisfaction upon being persuaded was at the highest level, so additional compensation will be granted. The Duke's satisfaction was at the highest level. With that expression, the Duke asked, "So are you done looking?" "Oh, why yes I am. It looks like there's a new notification too. I need to check it later. Father brought me in here so naturally. I want to go back to my room and check the lottery ticket and the bonus reward. Let's look at the book and see whether this really is the ability." Suddenly, a voice cut through her thoughts. "Investors are flocking to the Mana Stone mining business being carried out by Marquis Tyrant. But strangely enough, I heard that Duke Faraton invested in it as well. Of course, it's only a rumor. If you had not ordered us to keep watch on Marquis Tyrant, I would have dismissed it." Those are the words Marquis Sheridan let slip while drunk. After sobering up the next day, he denied it. However, the suspicious point is this. Despite the many variables in Mana Stone mining, it seems the investors have flocked in far too heavily. Here is the list of investors. She thought to herself, Duke Devachin, Duke Iskamil, Marquis Sheridan. Those are major figures in our kingdom. The Duke spoke. People with that much influence have already acted. Isn't that very strange? If the mined mana stones turn out to be empty, they would only lose money. This is only possible if one is certain the mana stones are full of mana. And what could provide that certainty is a report stating that Duke Faraton invested in the Mana Stone mining project. It seems Marquis Sheridan lied when he was drunk. Where would I even have heard such nonsense? Marquis Sheridan's drunken words had no clear source. But when we traced the trail, we found that all three invested at the same time. Marquis Sheridan attended many parties and clubs. Duke Devachin and Duke Iskamil, however, remained silent. She quietly analyzed the matter in her head. The three of them never had private contact. Oh, then it must be one of two possibilities. Then the Duke said, in that case, it would be one of two things. She looked up at him. Huh, we're thinking the same thing? Either the two of them invested in spite of that absurdity, simply because Faratin had invested, or, without realizing it, she voiced her thoughts aloud. Marquis Tyrant spoke to them directly. At once, the whole room fell silent, and all eyes turned to her. Huh, did I just say that out loud? What did I just say? Faced with the Duke's probing gaze, she hurriedly explained, Uncle said that. What do I do? You mean Marquis Tarenka? Yes, I saw Uncle telling a very well-dressed person that Father had already invested. Wouldn't it be strange for a child to think like this? He showed them something too, and said it was proof. It really was a beautiful card, pitch black, but very shiny. Ah, a card that looked like this. Viscount, Uncle held up a card. This one. Are you certain Marquis Tarenka showed them this and spoke that way? Yes, that's right. Then she suddenly paused and thought. It's Duke Faraton's, right? The room erupted. If he wasn't crazy, how could he dare do such a thing? You call this proof of investment? The Duke gave money to Marquis Tarenka. If the Mana Stones are real, then fine. But if not, this will become a huge scandal. People will say Duke Faraton was involved in fraud. She looked up the Duke and thought, why is he so quiet? Is he still scrutinizing me? He asked, how did you hear that conversation? Is he suspicious of me? Uncle met that person while I was polishing his shoes. A tyrant father doubting his own daughter. If I get even one detail wrong, I'll die. That's why I heard it. You heard it while polishing shoes? Someone said. From what I know, over the past several years, all the banknotes issued were sent to Marquis Tarenka. Yes, that was supposedly for the expenses of raising his youngest daughter. She immediately waved her hands. No, that's not true. Nothing like that happened. He only sent an astronomical monthly fee to the ducal castle. It's true. Uncle said there was no money, so I had to eat less and work hard cleaning and washing dishes. I did everything Uncle told me to do. That's why he let me sleep there and gave me meals. The others whispered in shock. No, how could anyone do that to a child? I can hardly believe it. Wasn't Marquis Tarenka famous for having a foolish daughter? Her face darkened as she thought. Father abandoned me without paying for me. Clenching her hands tightly, she said, I was abandoned. Are you still suspicious? I was talking like a grown-up just now, though. She went on. I could only do a little work, so they only fed me twice a day. A lot of times I only got one meal because I didn't finish my work. There were even days I had to go hungry. Isn't that enough? I had to say it as harmlessly as possible so it would fit my age. I don't want to die. How am I supposed to survive like this? If I say even one wrong word, suddenly a loud voice rang out. Really? Startled, she dropped the book. She quickly bent down. While I was shining shoes like this, Uncle told that person this card was proof of investment. He said the same thing to another red-haired man, too. It's true. Suddenly, the Duke glared and said, Who do you think you're interrogating? Her aunt? Wasn't your Grace the one interrogating me first? What do you mean? Thinking that? She answered fearfully, no, I'd never dare question you, your Grace. At once, the whole room grew stifling with black smoke, and everyone clutched at their throats in pain. In a cold voice, the Duke said, No need for more words. Then he held out his hand to her. It seems you remembered things you didn't need to. What? Is he going to question me now? Nervously, she took a step back. No, this is bad. She hurriedly grabbed his hand just as he was pulling back, which made the Duke look a little surprised. Then he lifted her up and looked at the long sleeves covering her hands. The Duke said, We'll have to call a tailor. Understood, Your Grace. After that, everyone resumed the meeting. The next matter is... The Duke's hand gently stroked the little girl's head, and then she woke up in bed. Did I fall asleep? I was definitely in the Grand Duke's office, and it must have brought me back to my room. I can't see the maids, and it's like a ghost town. If that's the case, this is my chance. My book. As expected, it's so old it looks like trash. Isn't it the kind where the pages fall out the moment you open it? Even though she was worried, she had to check the book quickly. The agility beloved by all readers. The instant she opened it, a brilliant light burst from the book. She lifted her head toward the space engulfed in light and raised her hand as if trying to grasp something. It was a new book, completely different from before. It had entirely turned into another book. It was sparkling, undamaged, simply cleaner. Is this okay? The treasure of the first Duke. Well, what's done is done. I'll think about that later. What does it say? Forbidden arts. A method of borrowing divine power. Since it was a sealed book, it could also contain a demon's seal. It's not a demon summoning method, is it? Let's just take a look. She quickly unfolded it, the pages flipping one after another. Then she suddenly froze. What is this? The seal on the summoning method has been lifted. The usage restrictions on the boost and cut attribute have been removed. She stared in surprise. What? So I can use it now? My ability? A notification popped up. The Path of the Sage. Congratulations, reader. You have finally obtained a summoning method. Book. A reader is only a reader when reading a book. A reader who does not read is a bad reader. Be a good reader. Condition. Use your mind to summon a book, extract an ability, and use it. Reward. 100 cut. Why is it giving me a quest I don't want? Still, I have no choice but to accept it. But how am I supposed to summon a book? Is this it? My summoning experience is telling me so. She looked toward the door. No one's there, right? Then she stretched out her hand in front of her and muttered, "O one who carries cold blood, appear before me and bring me power." A notification reminded her, "Please state the title of the novel you wish to summon." She ducked under the blanket and thought, this is so embarrassing. At the current bronze rank of crack and cut, what can be summoned is a romance fantasy novel the reader has read. The title is, even though I was born with a golden spoon, I'll still run away. If I could just get this one skill, I won't have to live in fear of dying or getting kicked out anymore. Suddenly, a notification popped up, insufficient memory. I'm short on memory here too. You currently have 1,000 memory and one 5,000 memory draw ticket. Would you like to use the 5,000 memory draw ticket? A 5,000 memory draw ticket. I want to use it. The wheel never misses. She shouted. Why is he there? Don't tell me the odds on this wheel are rigged too. She quickly calmed herself. No, don't be so negative. Think positive. And she decided, use one 5,000 memory draw ticket. She clasped her hands together and prayed. 5,000 memory. Please be 5,000 memory. A notification appeared. Congratulations. Seeing that, her eyes lit up with excitement. But then it announced, you won 100 memory. She collapsed onto the bed in disappointment. Ahaha. Even in my past life, when other people won 1,001 or 5,001, I only ever got 101. It's the same here too. Your current memory is 1,100. You didn't have to tell me that. Are you making fun of me? With 1,100 memory, I still can't summon a novel. If I only win 100 or 200 at a time, how long will it take to save enough? Right, there was still a notification I hadn't checked. Duke Faraton's favorability is at the maximum, so additional compensation will be granted. Would you like to claim the additional compensation now? Calculating additional compensation. Payment complete. Additional compensation. A novel rental ticket has been issued. Would you like to summon a novel using the novel rental ticket? Usable for 3 days from the date of summoning. I can rent the whole thing and not just one volume. This is way better than winning 5,000 memory. Thank you, Duke. I don't really understand it, but thank you for liking me the most. Elsewhere, the Duke, having just been mentioned, felt his ears itch. Anyway, then earning memory seems harder than I thought. I should save this memory for now. Suddenly, a voice called out, "Excuse me, my lady." "Excuse me, my lady. You've been awake for quite some time, haven't you?" Startled, she replied, "No, I haven't. You must be very hungry, right? You were sleeping so soundly, so I didn't wake you at mealtime." I slept without even realizing it. It makes sense that you're tired, my lady." Even so, everyone was very surprised. No one expected you to fall asleep in the Duke's arms. She whipped around. What? I fell asleep in Father's arms. Yes, you slept very soundly. Very soundly? At first, you nodded to greet me. Then you sprawled right on top of the Duke and slept peacefully. Everyone got scolded for trying not to laugh. So Anna carried me back here, right? Please say that's what happened. No, the Duke carried you back to your room himself. Next time, Anna, please carry me instead. What if Father finds it bothersome? There's no way the Duke would find it bothersome. Oh, right. Did you see the tailor who was called in today? Usually, even having your measurements taken is troublesome, so the head butler was quite worried. The Duke truly cherishes you. Oh no, I made her worry again. I'm really fine. It's just that his grace is still very clumsy, that's all. No, really, I thought he was a perfect person. Someone with no gaps at all. Someone who didn't need anyone. They don't understand, because that isn't perfection, Anna said. But seeing how the Duke treats you, I realized he's just clumsy. Seeing how Father treats me? That's right. Ever since I started working in the Duke's residence, I've kept seeing things I've never seen before. Because the Duke is different from ordinary people. Different from ordinary people? Why? What's different? Oh my, in every way. He's special, she said. A great family like this isn't common, after all. Is that so? As expected, Duke Faraton isn't an ordinary Duke. I'm so hungry. Yes. Would you like to eat now, my lady? I really need to find out more about the Duke. Elsewhere. What do you mean you're withdrawing your investment? Why say that all of a sudden? Duke Devachin. Marquis. We received a letter from Marquis Sheridan saying he will withdraw his investment. Star has also contacted us to say they are suspending all business. Damn it. Star was the last client we had left. Our request for a transfer through Galian Bank has also been denied. It's been 5 years since I became a Marquis. But with just one wave of Duke Faraton's hand, everything is collapsing like this. If it comes out that I lied and said Duke Faraton had invested, no, that can't be. I even produced proof by using the bill for the child's upbringing expenses. How'd he find out? Damn it, I spent all the family assets. Wait, if this reaches Father. Marquis Tyrant immediately warned them. Whatever is happening right now, Father must not hear a single word of it. Understood? Yes, my lord. Damn it, I have to fix this somehow. Tai, bring Tai here at once. Cleety quickly went to call her. Father. Oh, right. My daughter. Don't you remember your cousin? You should visit that little girl at Duke Faraton's estate. Why her? Even if you weren't born at exactly the same time, she's still your older cousin. To you, the two of you are like sisters. What sisters? Me and that brat? If anyone has to visit, she should be the one coming to see me. Of course she would. But do you think Duke Faraton would allow that? That's true. Everyone hates her, so I'm the only one who plays with her. There's no helping it. I'll have to go first then. I really am such a kind person. That's my daughter. Watch carefully how that child lives, and see what kind of person the Duke is too. Understood. If I go, she'll be so surprised, won't she? If I go play with her, she'll be overjoyed. Meanwhile, she wondered, Aunt, why are my ears so itchy? She hummed to herself while drawing on a piece of paper. Our young lady draws so beautifully. This is a pineapple, isn't it? She frowned and replied, It's Anna. This is me holding hands with Anna. What did you say, my lady? Huh? Why is she acting like that? Was I caught trying to butter her up for information? Suddenly, Anna snatched up the drawing and held it high. I'll treasure this as a family heirloom for the rest of my life. I'll pass it down for generations. I have to show everyone. Wait, that. She said it looked like a pineapple. How strange. I don't really know, but maybe it's still understandable enough to recognize. Should I ask another maid? She went to Nancy, and Nancy immediately declared, I don't need a husband anymore. I'll go to my grave with the young lady's drawing. Had she been planning to follow her husband into death? Another maid said, I'll hang my lady's drawing up so I can look at it every night before I sleep and see it first thing when I wake up. Another maid said, she gave me her heart. My heart. Would you like it, my lady? If it's for you, I can rip it out. I don't need it. Then someone else's heart? She cried. No, adults all seem extremely rational and yet really weird. Sob, this is scary. My lady, it's time for your walk. Weren't you planning to go to the greenhouse today? I wonder what Milady is doing there. The greenhouse? The greenhouse in the main mansion? Now it finally feels like I've really entered a romance fantasy world. My lady, if you run like that, you'll fall. The moment the words ended, she tumbled to the ground. Ouch. My lady, are you all right? Suddenly, a pair of feet came into view. The Duke asked, what did you do? She answered, I fell. The Duke asked again, why? Why? Because I fell, that's why. Your Grace, children fall all the time. She fell because she's weak. She raised both hands. Pick me up, Daddy. He immediately lifted her. When he saw the red scrape on her leg, the Duke's face darkened. He hurried off carrying her, making the servants cry out in surprise, Master! Regretfully, she thought, my greenhouse. A little later, why is my knee turning even more purple? The young lady has had medicine applied. It should heal in just a few days. I knew you were frail, but I didn't think it was to this extent. Could being weak be one of the reasons I was abandoned? No way. I don't even have demonic energy. Don't tell me I really am an illegitimate child. The servants whispered among themselves. Do you think His Grace can apply it properly? Wouldn't it be even worse if he can't? Hearing that, the Duke looked at her sternly. She flinched and thought, so scary. Then suddenly, the Duke applied the medicine himself. The servants gasped. Oh my goodness, the Duke! She too looked up at him in surprise. I shouldn't make Dad uncomfortable, but it tickles. Then a servant announced, Your Grace, everyone has arrived in the council chamber. You need to put the young lady down. Your meeting is about to begin. The Duke stayed silent, his expression dark. Then he abruptly stood up and left carrying his daughter. Seeing that, the maids panicked. Are you going in person? Your Grace, where are you going? She thought in confusion. Isn't Father supposed to be going to a meeting right now? The people attending the meeting all went blank at the sight. Then they could only silently follow behind, wondering inwardly, why is the young lady coming too? In reception room number 3 of Duke Ferriton's mansion, someone said, we finally get to meet the young lady. We've been making dresses for years. Exactly. A dress worth as much as a whole castle wall. We started from the bottom, making children's clothes worn for one season and discarded, and ended up even making clothes for the emperor. At last, we're going to meet the ducal princess who's been hidden behind a veil. This was Uchophilia. Everyone chatted cheerfully. I'm so curious what she looks like. I wonder if the young lady resembles the Duke and the young masters. With their pitch black hair that reflects no light at all, blood-red eyes, and a fierce, savage aura no less threatening than a wild beast. The traits of the direct line of the Faratan ducal family. I designed these imagining something cute, but expecting an adorable little child from the Faratan family was probably too much. I shouldn't be too disappointed if she's just a miniature version of the Duke. Then a voice rang out. D-Duke, it is an honor to meet you, Your Grace. Uchophilia was still thinking, don't expect cuteness from a Faratan princess. But the moment she turned around, her eyes widened in shock. Seeing the girl's bright pink hair and sky-like eyes, she thought, she's a flower. What is this pure, adorable little thing? Unable to contain her excitement, Uchophilia exclaimed, how wonderful. But she immediately grew flustered and explained, and my apologies. The youngest young lady is simply far too adorable. So the Duke said coldly, take her measurements. Why, yes, Your Grace. But the Duke still held the child tightly in his arms. Uchophilia awkwardly said, Your Grace, to take measurements, you'll have to put the young lady down for a moment. But seeing the Duke's expression, she shrank back in fear. In no need. We'll manage on our own. After finishing the measurements, it seemed the result still did not satisfy her. Uchophilia immediately used a designer's secret social technique. Even while I was being measured like this, she sat obediently in his arms. It really did look like the little lady liked the Duke. One adorable child. She says she wants to stick to me. It's troublesome. That was all Uchophilia had been waiting for. If she bothers you that much, why not put her down? That said, judging by the way the Duke was holding the little lady, it seemed the Duke truly cared for her too. It looks bad when she keeps stumbling around like a newborn fawn. So I picked her up. The two men behind him nodded in agreement, then used the House Faratan street survival secret technique of flattery. Our youngest young lady is very fond of you, my lord. The other day, when she fell asleep in your arms, she looked so comfortable. When my daughter saw me return from the battlefield, she burst into tears and screamed that a scary man had come. She thought to herself, no, what did these men even eat? How did this turn into this? Oh wow, just look at his expression. They continued, look, the little one is hugging her father even tighter. Isn't that cute? See, there's nothing better than a father's arms. The young masters haven't even been held by you like that. I'm so jealous. The Duke secretly smiled a little, though he deliberately put on an annoyed expression. My lady, do you like the Duke that much? Wearily, she answered yes. That's right. How much do you like him? All three of them looked at her expectantly. Say, Daddy is the best. Come on, say it. Daddy is the best. Unexpectedly, she raised her fist, then pointed at the tip of her finger and answered just a little, about this much. The atmosphere instantly turned tense. And my lady, didn't you say you liked the Duke? I like Daddy a lot. This much. They immediately began imagining their own tragic end. So this is where I'll be buried. I'll choose to be God's servant. My dear, it was a happy life. Then suddenly she brightened and cried out, Dada, as much as everything in the universe put together is big, that's how much I like Daddy. Everyone was dazzled by her radiant declaration. Well, this is a crepe, and he's seeing the Duke staring at her. She thought, oh no, did I overdo it? But unexpectedly, the Duke said, I didn't hear you. I couldn't hear that. Huh, do I have to say it again? So she said, I like Daddy as much as everything Daddy has sacrificed for this world. The Duke's eyes practically crackled. Did you hear what my daughter said? Perfectly clearly, sir. The youngest young lady truly adores you. To be so deeply loved by your daughter, you really are remarkable. She inwardly sighed. How childish. Suddenly the Duke asked, but why did you leave out so much? She blanked. I've never even thought about that. She tapped a finger against the Duke. It'll be better from now on. When I'm with Daddy, if I stay by your side, then you'll definitely become even better. That's why I give you this much love. You're still so little, and yet you think that deeply? How can you be so amazing? Good, I got through that well. What? That look? Here, doesn't this one stand out? Uchophelia looked at the dress and wondered. It's smaller than last time. How strange. Well, it can't be helped. The dresses I brought are all a little bigger than the young lady's measurements, but there shouldn't be any problem trying them on. This feels strange. Now, then, Your Grace, if she's going to try on dresses, you'll have to put her down. Why does she need to try them on? Well, how much is this dress? I'll buy them all. You've already taken her measurements, so you only need to alter them to fit. Today, I'll buy every piece of clothing you brought. Uchophelia went from surprised to delighted. I understand, my lord. However, I do have one condition. Make the sleeves fit at the wrist, or shorter, so my daughter doesn't have to keep tugging at them and clutching them in her palms while wearing them. Yes, I understand. Moved, she thought, even if he isn't my real father. Maybe he's not as bad a person as I thought. Meanwhile, my lady, I think we've arrived at the Duke's residence. The one sitting in the carriage was Cleety. Cleety's eyes lit up. Hey, this is Duke Faraton's place? They say that if all of Duke Faraton's gold were stacked together, it'd be taller than Horse Tower. I guess that wasn't a lie. What? Why didn't you stop in front of the mansion? I believe the place we saw earlier was the mansion. No matter how you look at it, this building seems more like the main house of a noble family. At that moment, the butler said, we were never informed that the daughter of Marquis Tyrant would be visiting. What is this? There's even a butler. Good grief. Do I need permission just to see my cousin? From next time onward, please be sure to follow the formal visiting procedure. Otherwise, you cannot be admitted into the estate. As soon as the doors opened, Cleety was overwhelmed by the splendor of the residence. Words of admiration kept spilling from her lips. Wow, this is incredible. Cleety skipped along excitedly. Then she remembered the Duke's appearance and thought, the first time we met, I was so scared I didn't really notice. How can someone be like that? If my father were like this? Well, he is my uncle by marriage, isn't he? The servants always like me. If we're family, I'd look absolutely gorgeous here. Black blood and cold blood. The cruelest murderer. Duke Faraton doesn't know sadness, and they say if he cries, other people's blood flows in place of tears. The more frightened a person is, the lonelier and more isolated they become. My uncle must want me to come here too. I'm the only one who can comfort his loneliness. There are no filthy little pests here. I'll take care of it. A dirty child like that doesn't suit such a beautiful house. Thinking that, Cleety shoved the girl's door open hard. But the moment she saw her, Cleety was startled and wondered, what's this? Was her hair originally that color? How should I put it? She's like a completely different person. How should I say it? The table was full of sweets. She casually lifted her teacup and took a sip, making Cleety fume inwardly. What's with that brat? She's ignoring me. Then she raised her voice and snapped, Sis, you're even ruder than I thought. She shot back at once. Isn't the uninvited guest who barged in without greeting anyone the rude one? What? You said you missed me, so I came here. I missed you? And what's with the way you're acting? How shameless. You're not even the Duke's daughter either. Father said so, sis. You're just an illegitimate child. A filthy bastard born because your mother cheated and gave birth to you after betraying my uncle. How dare you shamelessly use the Faraton name and live in the Duke's estate? Suddenly, a notification window appeared. Emergency quest triggered. She was startled and thought, here, right now, need a refreshing drink? Doesn't your throat feel tight? Doesn't your chest feel stifled with frustration? What you need right now is a fizzy soda to blow away the stress. Am I a sweet potato or something? Rip this sweet potato out by the roots at once. Overthrow the sweet potato. What is this? I feel like I said this in my previous life. A strangely familiar feeling came from the bizarre quest window. Reward condition, 2,000 cash. Penalty. Failed reincarnation punishment for temporary quest canceled. The moment she heard money, her eyes lit up. She blazed with fighting spirit. From now on, it's all about cash. Quest accepted. Cleety continued sneering. Why aren't you saying anything? I guess you finally realized it now. Before she could finish, the girl cut in. Hey, Cleety froze. Hey, are you talking to me? Who else would I be talking to besides you? What? How dare you? How dare you look down on me? She answered, let's see. Here's your soft drink. Sprite bomb. Then she smiled and asked, when exactly did I look down on you? Are you so busy eating well and dressing nicely here that you don't understand the situation? What? HM, nice clothes? My uncle only took pity on you and granted you that favor. Those things aren't yours. She thought helplessly. Is she like this just because I'm dressed better than her? How childish. If you're this arrogant, no one will like you. My father already said so. You've been treated so specially that you think it's only natural. That's why you need to work for what you eat. Though I guess my father's education didn't do much, huh? Is that why my uncle threw you out? If what you say is true, then I could be kicked out of the Duke's estate, right? That's right. Once Cleety thought she'd gotten through to her, the girl stepped forward and cut her off. But I probably won't be kicked out over what I said to you. Daughter of Marquis Tyrant. How dare you call House Ferriton's little lady arrogant? Her fierce bearing made Cleety hesitate for a moment. Then she grew so angry that she ground her teeth, stumbling over her words. Why you? The girl corrected her. You should call me young lady. Haven't you even learned basic etiquette? Nothing to say now. I look pretty cool, don't I? You're just some bastard born from your mother's affair. Can you take responsibility for those words? Cleety boldly replied, of course. In the name of Marquis Tyrant? Naturally. Is that so? Then I'll go ask. Ask. Ask what? She stepped forward and grabbed the bell rope. Startled, Cleety hurriedly cried out, wait. But a servant had already entered. Did you call for me, my lady? Yes. About the bloodline of Marquis Tyrant and Duke Tyrant. Suddenly, Cleety covered her face and screamed. Aya! Her maid came running in panic. My lady, what's wrong? Tearfully, Cleety said, Jin, she said I was arrogant and told me to bow my head. How could you say something so harsh? I came here because of you. Jin immediately spun around toward the girl. Our young lady has treated you so well. And this is what you say to her? Seeing that scene, she trembled with anger. Things are different from back then. So then, before she could say anything, Anna appeared and stepped in front of her protectively. Your attitude toward my lady is truly arrogant. I merely asked because your young lady was saying absurd things. If she's wrong, she should be corrected. What exactly did my lady do wrong? Wasn't the Marquis's daughter the one causing trouble for our young lady? Nothing of the sort. My lady only came to visit and brought gifts and sweets. Gifts? She never even gives me leftover cookies. I even brought gift to see you, sis. Why are you acting like this? Jin quickly added, look, this dress was carefully chosen by our young lady. You liked this outfit, didn't you? I saw you sneaking glances at my dress. Let's make up, okay? I'll forgive the harsh things you said. Cleety's face was full of scheming malice. You should be grateful. Before she could finish, a cold voice rang out. Why are there so many people here? It was none other than the Duke. Then he added, as for stealing my daughter's clothes, you seem to have quite a lot to say. She wondered inwardly, why is the Duke already back? An hour earlier, in the Imperial Palace conference room, everyone was frightened by the Duke's gloomy presence. I've been attending this whole time, so why am I still this scared? Then the Duke spoke. There are still quite a few opinions left. As for the strengths and weaknesses of this battle, let us review each department's reports once more and discuss them afterward. Yes, sir. That's wonderful. Yes, sir. We've been in this meeting for hours, and now we can finally breathe. Right. Good heavens. So much time has passed already. I was going to buy my daughter an eclair, but now I'm worried I won't make it in time. Your lordship, you're always worrying over these things. Couldn't you just have a servant buy it? This man understands nothing. It makes a difference when her father brings it home himself instead of a servant. The Count is absolutely right. When I buy my little girl something to eat, she welcomes me so happily. The Duke immediately thought of his daughter and told himself, if I buy her an eclair, she'll run over to thank me and kiss my cheek. But that shop is famous too. There's a chance they're already sold out. Then he imagined her drooping as she said, there's no eclair? Then she turned away, even lifting a hand in farewell. The Duke's face darkened. My cheek kiss. Everyone turned to look at the Duke and saw the killing intent around him growing darker and darker. Is what we're talking about making you uncomfortable? It's been so long since he came back that I'd completely forgotten the Duke's workaholic face. Let's move the meeting along. Suddenly, the Duke asked Viscount Tizo, that dessert shop, where is it? The man went pale. Is he scolding me for talking about buying snacks for my daughter during a state meeting? No, this level isn't scolding yet. To the Duke, we're no more than the corner garnish beside a dessert. Was that a threat asking whether I no longer wish to live? Duke Faraton, a terrifying man. Thinking that, the Viscount replied, it seems Duke Faraton is interested in that dessert. You don't look like the type at all. At that, everyone was stunned and silently worried for him. Read the room, please. Did you think before speaking? Shall we resume the meeting? Next is the document from the temple. Suddenly the aide approached and whispered something into the Duke's ear. The Duke frowned, slammed the table, and shot to his feet, making everyone cry out in alarm. Duke Faratin, where are you going? There is still much to discuss. He cut them off and replied, I have urgent business. But the meeting has barely gone on that long, sir. We must finish today. Since when has my attendance become an obligation? With that, the Duke slammed the door behind him. Everyone stared at one another in confusion. What on earth happened? The aide thought to himself, it's nothing serious. Relax. Though I couldn't hear all the details, the last time he suddenly stepped out, I heard the youngest young lady was wiping a window. He hadn't gone out in a very long time. He said it was so the youngest young lady wouldn't feel awkward clinging to him. And today, as soon as he heard that the Marquis Tyrant's daughter had come looking for the youngest young lady, he reacted like this. Even more than people using the Duke's name to swindle others. He was angrier about the cold treatment the youngest young lady had received. This is so strange. Normally, Duke Faratin is very unlike other people. Even if he has learned how to blend into human society, it only goes that far. It's not for his own sake. In other words, he has never needed to exchange any kind of emotion. The same was true even with the 3 young masters before the youngest young lady came. But the youngest young lady, at that thought, the Viscount smiled unconsciously and said aloud, it seems nice, actually. The Duke stopped at once when he heard that. The Viscount hurriedly explained, I mean, you dote on and cherish the young lady greatly. She's Faratin blood. Of course, she must be protected until she comes of age. That's not what I meant, my lord. Isn't the youngest young lady simply lovely and adorable? The Duke said nothing for a moment, then turned away and said, nonsense. So that's what it is. A divine mistake, then? Well, I suppose it wasn't unreasonable for you to ask me. There isn't just 1 or 2 unusual things about that child. What do you mean, my lord? She handles everything far too well. Even there, she didn't cry. It couldn't be helped because the young lady has no magic. Not only that, it said it remembered me, and it even nuzzled my cheek. Last time, the child slept on my lap. The Viscount asked in confusion. Yes, and there is one more strange thing. Whenever I think of that child, my body reacts oddly. At first, I thought it was just my imagination, but after observing carefully, I'm certain. At other times, I'm perfectly fine. I only become like this when I'm around her. Could this be some curse tied to using the blood of the Blood Clan? Could it be Marquis Tyrant's scheme? Specifically, what kind of abnormal symptoms are you experiencing, sir? My chest. My chest feels itchy, like bugs are crawling inside. I see. Then does your heart race? Or what does her chest feel tight? That's right. And I also keep wanting to watch the child eat. Perhaps because I don't understand how she can eat so little. Oh, my sovereign, pride of the empire. I feel like I want to do more for her, and sometimes my hands fidget awkwardly. A great and noble living legend. Every time I see that child, I want to bite something. I even want to smash a wall. That is a serious condition, both mentally and physically. A very serious condition indeed. What living legend? He's just a foolish old man obsessed with his daughter. Anyway, that's still progress. Someday, your grace may finally understand how ordinary people feel. On the way back, the Duke said, go investigate that dessert shop the noble mentioned earlier. Yes, sir. At this hour, they've probably sold out already. Seeing his master's dark expression, the Viscount flinched and thought, that conversation made me forget what kind of person he is. Forgive me, your grace. I'll investigate at once. If there are any eclairs left, buy them. That's right, that child likes sweets. No, forget it. Don't buy them. Pardon. Next time, I'll buy them myself. You will personally buy them, sir. While you're investigating, check out the other famous dessert shops as well. Make sure there's a pudding shop too, and toy stores children like as well. Why, yes, sir. If there's anything else, I'll contact you through the Spirit Stone. I need to leave at once. Understood, sir. The Duke thought to himself, Marquis Tyrant, you sent your daughter there and thought I could do nothing? Back in the present, why had the Duke come home so early? Cleety turned, delighted, and called out, Uncle! Then she ran over with both arms spread wide. She was about to throw herself into his arms, but the Duke brushed right past her. Why are you holding that rag? Cleety stared in shock. He ignored her and embraced the girl instead. Not his real daughter, just an illegitimate child. Fine. Uncle must simply be misunderstanding me. She must have slandered me to him. Thinking that, Cleety spoke up. Uncle, do you hate me? Even if you do, I'll still forgive you, because you've clearly been deceived by some lie. The girl thought to herself, a lie? Surely Uncle never truly thought that. I am sorry, Uncle. Please forgive my cousin. Forgive her because she lied to you and said I stole that dress. The girl was both stunned by Cleety's shamelessness and ashamed of herself. That girl really is jealous. She grew up receiving so much love. Cleety continued, I understand. She must have lied just to please you a little, Uncle. Because of that lie, you must be misunderstanding. The girl kept thinking, such confidence, never imagining her actions would be rejected or ignored. Rejected, denied, ignored. Hearing the words, I don't need you, it hurts so much. Her father was a duke. No matter what, he should never act like that. At that moment, the Duke spoke coldly. How dare you say that to my daughter? How could she have stolen a dress? Earlier, she was even trying to hand it over. Then what was the dress I saw? You, Uncle, what are you saying? The day I went to pick up my daughter from Count Tarenka's estate. I mean, why were you wearing the dress I had prepared for my daughter? She could not help but think in shock that day. So that was what he meant. Who is this ugly-faced little fox? Could someone with such an ugly face really be the young lady of House Faraden? Because he was displeased because I was too ugly. So that wasn't it. He had been talking about my appearance, right? Think carefully. She didn't want to be hurt any further, but now. At that moment, Cleety asked, "Did you really think that, Uncle?" "W, what are you saying?" "That was the birthday dress my father bought for me. Marquis Tarenka, every year on your birthday, he would surprise you with a beautiful dress as a birthday present. Every single year. This is my dress." Cleety pointed at the girl and insulted her. "You idiot. Her dress? That dimwit couldn't even pay for a meal. She's an illegitimate child born because her mother cheated, and even her father abandoned her. It's the first time I've seen such a useless child. Be grateful for my mercy in raising something like you." At this, the Duke's expression darkened, frightening Cleety so badly that she cried out. "Hick," the Duke asked, "what did you just say?" "Everyone said it. Father, Jin, everyone said she was an idiot. Have you never heard the rumors about me? The cold-blooded one, the cruelest murderer. The Duke of Faraden, who does not know sorrow, and when he cries, other people's blood flows in place of tears." Cleety screamed in terror. "Not me. It was her. I would treasure it, even if all I received were everyone's looks of contempt. Being held warmly, even being looked down on, those were all supposed to be mine. It was all because of her. That filthy, illegitimate child stole my place. She should have died when she was little. I had hoped that, since you were still young, you would be more generous." Cleety lowered her head. "Why do I look like this? Help. Help me. Fina. Alive is better." The Duke growled. "Get out." Then the door slammed shut. A carefully prepared cup of milk. She held it in her hands, still staring at the Duke in confusion. What in the world just happened? The moment Cleety called me a stupid child, my shadow suddenly appeared. But unlike last time, it felt gentle and comfortable, dark as night, yet restful enough to close my eyes in peace. And when I opened them, everything was over. The Duke was still the same as ever. Still the same, right? So good. Suddenly the knights appeared and knelt before the Duke. "My lord, vermin entered the estate today. They even gnawed at things they should never have touched. How should those who failed to guard this estate properly be dealt with? We deserve death, my lord. This negligence was due to our failure to keep proper watch. Because we failed in our duty, the youngest young lady was harmed. I will pay with my life." She stared in shock. "What? Because of me?" The Duke said, "There is no need for me to dirty my hands, is there?" "Oh no. Are they really going to die?" "No matter what." At that moment, the knights all drew their swords, and she immediately screamed. "No, you mustn't." The whole atmosphere fell silent. "And no," the Duke said darkly, "they failed in their duty, so they must pay for that crime." She stammered. "And my cousin only came to visit, sir. And we just argued a little. Children who are still growing up fight sometimes. So there's no need to punish anyone, right?" The Duke called Tizo. "Yes, my lord. By common standards, the youngest young lady is correct." "Exactly. Children are often like that. My throat's so dry. I am festi." Without thinking, she sighed so good. The Duke reminded her, "You've got some on your lips." As he said that, he raised his hand to wipe it off for her, then unexpectedly brought it to his own mouth. She stared blankly in wonder. Could it be? A caring father eating the rice stuck to his child's cheek? Even Viscount Tizo was stunned by his master's utterly unimaginable action. How could this be? He was doing the sort of thing only fools did, something he had never done before. But weren't they in the middle of a serious discussion? About who should or should not die? That look. What is this? A notification window appeared. The vassals of Duke Faraton's house feel grateful for the reader's kindness. She bowed clumsily, as if learning how to greet them together. The chief steward of Duke Faraton feels gratitude and reverence for your kindness. So these uncles have been living such pitiful lives. Thank you, sirs. Thank you very much. You have received 5,000 cat. Oh, not a lottery ticket, but 5,000 cat. Dear heavens. Seeing her reaction, the Viscount asked, "The young lady seems to be in very good spirits. So adorable. It seems being on your Grace's lap is very comfortable for her. So cute." The Duke said, "And you still don't know why." She stuck out her tongue. "It's not because of you." Then she turned her face away and whistled. After that, she returned to her room and sprawled out on the bed. I'm so tired." Cleety had gone back to Marquis Tarenka. "I'll sleep a little." Suddenly, a notification window appeared. The soda water quest has ended automatically. Calculating quest results. Calculation complete. Partial failure. She sat bolt upright in shock. Failure? Cleety went back, so it should be a success. I don't know how it ended, but suddenly everything went dark and I couldn't see anything. Could that be why it was only a partial fail? Wait, is there a failure penalty? Calculating penalty. Because this is only a partial failure, it will be replaced by a different penalty than the standard one. Penalty, flavorless soda. Even without knowing what that means, it feels insulting to a romantic reader, an insult to my pride. Penalty, flavorless soda. Even though you were expecting refreshing soda, I will give you flavorless soda instead. A reader who lacks the qualifications to be the heroine should wake up while receiving this penalty. Wake up to what exactly? The effect of the rebirth buff disappears at random. Disappears at random? So this was basically a penalty that cancels one of my rebirth buffs. Because it was only a partial failure, one disappears randomly. But what kinds of buffs do I even have? She rolled back and forth while thinking, when suddenly there was a knock at the door. Come in. She wondered in surprise. What does the Duke want? What could it be? But I don't want to get up yet. A notification window appeared. Activating penalty. Flavorless soda. Oh no, my rebirth buff. Nothing strange at all. Hungry. Sleepy. Want food. Seeing her expression, the Duke looked puzzled. Then she suddenly said, nom nom. He blankly repeated her words. No? That is no nom nom. Then cookies are fine too. She excitedly pushed herself up with both hands, but then froze. Ack! I just smacked the Duke's thigh. Could it be? The way the rebirth buff vanished was by taking away my ability to think in this second life. Does that mean I'm completely like a baby now? Even so, that still makes more sense than what just happened. But why does it somehow feel better? The rebirth buff disappeared at random. I was getting ready to rely on it. How awful. Even my cat can be taken away at random. I have to stay on Duke Ferriton's good side if I want to survive. Then suddenly the Duke asked, did you read Aikido's carefully? Aikido's? What's that? I mean the book I brought last time. Ah, the book. Pretty book. That pretty book was very nice. The Duke frowned and gave a small snort. She hurriedly said, oh really? She thought to herself a little, very, very slightly, even though it changed into a different book, completely and beautifully. Under the Duke's bewildered gaze, she looked up at him with sparkling eyes. Then she suddenly reached out, touched his head, and smiled with innocent brightness. Pretty. I made it. Pretty. That book. Yes. If it's pretty, then thank you. That's what I have to do. Thank you. Yes, thank you too. Being praised puts me in such a good mood. The Duke must be happy too, right? Then he'll become fond of me, since I praised him. If so, that would be great. Suddenly the Duke smiled and said, I'm curious how it became beautiful. She asked in surprise. Huh, that book? Oh no, this is bad, but I'll be back in a second. What should I do? W, what do I do now? I changed that book completely. Then I should just tell the truth. Lying is bad, after all. Since I'm a good child, he'll forgive me, right? She hesitated and answered, I mean, wait, that book was very precious. He smashed that huge glass cabinet because of me. What will happen if I say the book changed because of me? What if I get caught up in a huge mess? And everyone ends up blaming me. Me. She stared at the Duke for a long moment and tried to reassure herself. It's okay. It'll be fine. Just be brave. She clenched her hand tightly. Actually, but the Duke's gloomy expression made her jump in fear. And no, it's not broken. So scary. Out in the hallway, the butler walked along thinking, our young lady is so soft-hearted. How deeply hurt she must have been because of that nasty little girl. I informed the Duke, but I wonder whether he managed to comfort her. Why is he already coming out? He approached the Duke and asked, Your Highness, did you meet with the youngest young lady? Why does his expression look like that? Could it be things didn't go smoothly? Did the young lady cry a lot, by any chance? Please answer honestly. Hinzer. The Duke clenched his hand and asked hesitantly, Am I not handsome? Hinzer stared blankly, not knowing how to respond. Why, Your Grace? Could you say that once more? The Duke said wearily, That child cried and shouted earlier, You're not my daddy. The scary daddy belongs to someone else. And I didn't mean to do that to the book either. You scare me and glared at me. Boo-hoo. And my daddy has to be handsome. Sniff. And my daddy even has a diamond mine. The Duke immediately said, I'm rich too. Not just diamonds. I have a gold vein too. Sniff. And also, my daddy can sacrifice himself for a foolish child like me. I really want a real father. She thought to herself, the book and that irresponsibly obvious act had naturally been ruined. Even if she was still young, she was still a member of House Farad'n. He should have been disappointed. Strangely enough, I didn't want him to be punished. On the contrary, when the Duke tried to reach out and touch her, she shouted, I hate you. You're not my daddy. I really, really hate you. Back in the present, Hinzer cried out, Oh my, really? Just then, lively chatter rose from behind them. When the Duke turned around, he saw the maids chatting and laughing happily. The Duke asked, What is that? Anna quickly hid the picture behind her back and answered, Your Highness, it's nothing important. I'll look at it myself and decide whether it's important or not. His expression made Anna tremble in fear. She held out the picture and stammered, Why yes, here it is. The Duke took it and opened it, and surprise filled his eyes. He asked doubtfully, A pineapple? Is it some kind of code? Actually, it's nothing special. The young lady just drew it for us. The Duke asked what. They happily said, Look at this, Your Grace. This is a picture of my daughter holding this young lady's hand. My daughter must really want to hold the young lady close. And my daughter even received 3 drawings. Of course, that's nothing compared to the picture Your Grace received. Because you're a father, right? Surely the youngest young lady must have given you lots of drawings, since you're a father. What kind of picture was it? Oh dear, I'm already getting jealous. Of course it would be a picture of a wonderful father, wouldn't it? The Duke murmured. Aye. The 3 servants waited in excitement. Yes, sir. But then the Duke said, I didn't receive one. Hearing that, they stared at him in shock. What? The atmosphere instantly became suffocating. Meanwhile, in the young lady's room, what do? I'm going crazy. I decided I'd just die like this because of the dead-end penalty. I'm really done for now. Solby. Then Nancy came up with an idea. Well then, everyone focused on what she was about to say. I'll organize everything that's happened so far. The butler thought the young lady was crying, so he suggested that Your Grace go comfort her. But what happened? Instead, she cried while talking to you. And on top of that, everyone received the young lady's drawings. But you, her actual father, didn't receive one? If we simplify things, the youngest young lady's feelings for your Giara, at that point, everyone started coughing loudly. Then they rushed over and clamped a hand over Nancy's mouth. Anna stepped forward to explain to the Duke. That, Your Grace, didn't the young lady say something while crying? She said I'm not her father, and that she hates. All three cried out in shock. What? When you comforted her, didn't you hold the young lady? And what about giving her a gentle smile while consoling her? Why would I do that? Oh dear, but Your Grace, when you held the young lady, didn't you feel anything? When I held her? The soft breath against him, like an irritated little red pufferfish. The whole group crowded around the Duke, saying, You should go see the young lady again, Your Grace. Since you made her cry, you should go comfort her. By the way, do you all know what number means? They blinked blankly. Pardon, the Duke continued. And cookie? Cookie. Then everyone shouted so loudly it echoed through the entire mansion. Meanwhile, she thought, what can I do now? Maybe I'm not even his real daughter. I said it with my own mouth. I am doomed. Totally doomed. Young lady, would you like a snack? Aren't you hungry? I don't know. I don't want to eat. But inwardly, she was saying, I may look like I'm about to die, but please bring me food anyway. Oh dear, our young lady is truly hopeless. As expected, food prepared by Papa himself tastes the best, doesn't it? She sprang upright. What? No, that's not what I meant. But right then, the Duke entered carrying food. She looked at him in astonishment. Papa. The Duke walked over to her, hesitated for a moment, then said, Time for number. She was a little surprised, but answered with sparkling eyes, yes. Before long, the plate was completely empty. It's so good. The Duke asked, was it to your liking? Yes, wait, why are you using honorifics? Please answer me. What? Why are you acting like this? The Duke froze at her reaction and muttered. They said I'm supposed to treat children respectfully, didn't they? Is something wrong? That was Anna's secret for comforting babies. What? Who told you to speak to me that politely? You were very frightened today, weren't you? Yes, a little. No one here will hurt you. Neither Marquis Tyrant nor his daughter will ever set foot in this estate again. Does he think I was scared because of Cleety? We were talking about me and the Duke. Then does that mean when he came into my room earlier, he was trying to comfort me from the start? No, I never know when I might completely turn back into a baby again. So while I still have a little reason left, I have to do this properly. Feeling guilty, she said, I was wrong too. It's not true that I hate you, Papa. Is that really true? Why, yes, really. Isn't there anything you want to say to me? Why did you leave me there? Why didn't you come look for me all this time? She smiled and said, No, there isn't. No, I can't. Because of the penalty, my feelings are being far too honest. If I want to survive, I have to be a good child. The Duke asked again, even if I left you there for years? It must have been because you had your own circumstances. You must have had your reasons. And even if you only found me now, don't think like that. No matter what reasons I had, leaving you in a place like that was my mistake. So it's all right if you cry. Say it's okay. That's what I'm supposed to say. But, suddenly she couldn't hold back anymore, and tears streamed down her face. Why did you come so late? Why did you leave me behind? Do you know how scared I was? Do you know how much I missed you? How badly I wanted to see you? Do you know how long I waited? You're my father, so why did you abandon me? The Duke stroked her head, holding her in his arms as he comforted her. I was wrong. I am sorry. He's so warm. Right now, Papa is a father just for me, even if we aren't truly a real family. The next day, that is why we have brought a request that requires special review, sir. Please take that point into account, and that should suffice. Suddenly, a pattering sound made him stop short, but he quickly continued. However, when we confirmed it, it seemed the plan was somewhat rushed, so of course, at any time. The Duke's attention turned to the pattering sound growing louder and louder. Everyone broke out in a sweat, thinking, where in the world is that noise coming from? Besides, he's not someone who tolerates noise like that. Suddenly, the Duke threw down his pen, making everyone jump. He's gone. He jumped down from up there. Where's your Grace going? Could it really be because of that sound? At that moment, she turned around and called, Papa, come catch me. Cotton candy, cotton candy. So cute. The source of the thumping was the youngest young lady. This is bad. Could it be that the youngest young lady is going to? The Duke reached out and said, if you run like that, it'll hurt a lot if you fall. The three of them gaped in shock. Did the Duke just say a lot? That phrase kept spinning in their minds. Meanwhile, the Duke held his daughter in an incredibly warm embrace. Then, with her sitting in Duke Ferriton's lap before the meeting began, he said, there is something I need to announce. Take note, all of you. Everyone listened tensely. When my daughter walks, hearing this sound reassures me. However, the moment you hear this sound, all of you are to protect my daughter in a state of readiness. Unless you wish to find out what happens if anything unusual occurs to her body. They answered with burning enthusiasm. Yes, sir. We will watch carefully. Good. Then let us begin the meeting. Why do I feel so embarrassed? She thought. One man spoke up. Yes, Your Grace. Regarding the reform banquet I mentioned, do you intend to attend with the young lady? She is still too young. There is no need for my daughter to meet those old foxes. Understood, sir. Then I will remove the young lady's name from the list. Suddenly she said, That's right, Papa. Papa, speak softly. What is my name? She asked. He looked at her in surprise. What? My name. And how old am I? The silence in the room grew painfully tense. She thought, seriously, was that too ridiculous a question? The meeting is almost over. It's the first time I've seen Papa look like that. And those uncles just now, too. He really doesn't know my name, not even my age. What did he call Marquis, Taranka's daughter, all this time? They probably all heard me whispering to Papa. This is so embarrassing. But no one there ever called me by my name either. Hey, you brat. Trash. Useless thing. Those weren't things meant to call me by. Proof of adultery. The family's disgrace. Bastard child. Don't think about it anymore. Just like back then, when they said I didn't deserve support money. Stop it. How dare you interrogate anyone? Back then, I thought I was going to be questioned, but that wasn't it. That means I don't need to remember those painful memories anymore. Thinking that, she stammered, I don't know my name or my age, but even so, I'm not ashamed and I'm not pitiful. Papa still has trouble expressing himself, but now I can understand because now I have a father. Someone who truly, for my sake. The Duke smiled, pinched her cheek, and said, that's right. Who would dare think otherwise? Ludisa, that is your name. Ludisa, I've heard that name before. My beloved child. You must be happy, Ludisa. That's right, that was the name. Please, say my name again. The Duke smiled and said, Ludisa. Moved, she burst into tears. Yes. At some point, Ludisa fell asleep. She thought with a sigh, this is so comfortable. She drowsily opened her eyes and saw the Duke's vivid red eyes. Her gaze trembled a little. Looking intently at her, he asked, you're awake? Good morning, Papa. Why did he sleep with me? Those tear stains. She pounded on him and said, don't go. No, but I need some documents. If Papa leaves me, I'll hate you. A notification suddenly appeared, adapting to the penalty. So that's why. What am I even saying? How embarrassing. The Duke raised a hand to wipe away her tears and teased, crybaby. Your eyes look like carp eyes now. As the Duke took off his shirt, Ludisa suddenly asked, does it hurt? Why would hitting a pillow hurt? That's not what I mean. This scar. The Duke said, it's nothing. Why are you covering my eyes? Because it's ugly. Did you get hurt in the war? No. Why are you looking at me like that? Suddenly, she blew gently on it, and the Duke asked in surprise, what are you doing? I'm blowing on where it hurts. Even if it's an old wound, doesn't it still hurt? Because no one did this for you back then. Pain, go away. I'm not in pain. You are. You have to blow on it. No one gets hurt without it hurting. Hearing those words, the Duke was stunned in thought. Fear. Eyes full of caution and hatred. I know those looks become wounds. Then he said, I see. I should have done that for you. For you. Yes. When I returned to this house, I was in so much pain. I don't remember ever meeting the Duke before. Did you come to see me? Every night. I thought you wouldn't come for me, because it would cause too much commotion if the Emperor returned early from the front. I had to go to the palace every day. I only returned after you were already sound asleep. At the front, I was never injured even once. All I could think about was returning quickly. Why? You fought like that and hurried back. To bring me home. I didn't know Papa had gone off to war. I just thought Papa had abandoned me at Uncle's house. I'm sorry. It's okay, because now I know you had no choice but to go to war. Even so, even if Papa wasn't home, it still would have been better at home. I'm a special child, because I don't have demonic energy. Nervously, she thought, could it be? Is he suspecting I'm not his real daughter? Then the Duke said, if you don't have demonic energy, then you are no different from an ordinary child. Your older brothers could not endure the demonic energy, and they all died. If I had been there, things would have been different. But I was in a situation where I had no choice but to go to war. At that time, Marquis Taranka offered to take care of you. Isn't our dear Cleety about the same age as her? For an ordinary child, family is important. So I entrusted you to Taranka for protection. In fact, I was given reports saying that you were living very well. Ludisa thought I had no idea. He sent me to Marquis Taranka to protect me because I didn't have demonic energy. Once again, the Duke said, I'm sorry. How strange. Marquis Taranka is the one at fault. Why is the Duke apologizing to me? He took her tiny hand. But there's just one thing you must know. I have never once abandoned you. I never abandoned you. Not even for a moment. I see. He never abandoned me. Then, you're my papa, right? That's right. Even if I don't have demonic energy, you're still my papa, right? You will always be my papa. The Duke affirmed it, no matter what happens. Tears poured down her face. He's my papa, forever. Sniffling, she called out, Papa. He embraced his daughter. Yes, I'm here. The conditions the demon once spoke of, I never wished for all of them to come true. I grew up alone, like an orphan all my life. What I truly wanted was only one thing, a family that loved and cherished me. So I'm 4 years old. The Duke pointed at his cheek. You've got cream here. That's right. You were born on October 11th. Ludisa asked, so it's already passed, right? Then this month. That's right. This year is already passed. I see. Then the Duke called her name affectionately. Ludisa, even so, next year I will celebrate your birthday. Your birthday is a day more important than any royal holiday. Is he feeling guilty because he hasn't told me happy birthday yet? Papa, do you give me a dress every birthday? That's right. Then the clothes I wore every birthday were originally mine. That ill-mannered girl had the nerve to take them. She smiled to herself. I see. Every year, Papa gave me a birthday present, no matter how exhausting the battlefield was. I thought you hated my birthday. Why would you think that? She hesitated. I still can't ask about Mother yet. Your mother committed adultery, gave birth to you, and died because of it. That's why the Duke abandoned you. Even if I'm curious, Even if I want to know, how am I supposed to ask? But still, on the day I was born, no matter what happened, he said he would always be my papa. Thinking that, she bravely asked, Mother. Was that the day Mother became a star in the sky? The Duke asked in surprise. Who told you that? Uncle did. The Duke's gaze turned murderous, but then he calmed himself and let out a breath. Ludisa, come here. She immediately stood up and answered, yes. The Duke lifted her into his arms. You misunderstood. On that day, your mother. No, your mother did not become a star. She nursed you herself, and she was the one who personally gave you your name. Really? That's right. Be happy. So it was because of me. So that wasn't her dying message after all. Ludisa, the name Mother gave me, the bond that connects me to her. The name had become even more beautiful. It seems Mother liked me very much, loved me so dearly that she never wanted to let me leave her arms. Ludisa, your birthday is a day worth celebrating. From now on, I won't miss your birthday. His hands were a little rough, but they were the biggest, warmest hands in the world. Even though she was very curious about her mother's death, she still had her father. Father, let's make a promise. You will always be my father. As she said that, she raised her tiny finger, and he hooked his finger with hers and said, all right, it's a promise. Definitely. Seal it, sign it, make it official. All right, no matter what happens, you'll still be my father. The Duke asked, even if I'm not handsome, even if I'm not rich or willing to die for you. She remembered what she had said before, that her father had to be handsome and willing to sacrifice himself for her. All right, that. You don't need to worry about that. You fit all of it. Wow. As expected, you're the most handsome man of all. And the richest, too. It looks like it's about to rain. Let's go inside. And the part about being willing to sacrifice yourself, too? That, too. The Duke thought to himself, if you wanted me to die, I truly would. The next day, an angry voice rang out. We can't just sit still like this. Marquis Tarinka's insolent behavior has gone too far. It's absurd that he doesn't even know my name. The Duke coldly asked, what's the situation with Tarinka? We've begun cutting off his funding. The sharper investors are already pulling out as well. The key figures investing in the Manesiac minerals are also watching closely. The former Marquis may be able to help, but the current Marquis is trying his best to keep him from finding out. That's right, this was an age of power. An age when wealthy capitalists held more power than impoverished nobles. Marquis Tarinka was the kind of man who, once he lost everything, would feel the suffering he never wanted to experience again. That was all he amounted to. But that alone was not enough. The next morning, while Ludisa was still fast asleep, a shrill sound jolted her awake. She sprang up in a fury and shouted, Hey, I'm only 4 years old. I'm still at the babbling stage. If I can't sleep because of you and stop growing tall, you're taking responsibility for it. Then Ludisa's gaze froze. A notification window appeared. Revenge must be carried out by me. Now is not the time for you to sleep. Right now, Duke Faratin is planning to crush Marquis Tarinka. What? Father wants to drive the Marquis into such a corner that not even chewing him up would be satisfying? Amazing. My father is the best. Aren't you a little too happy about this? What about true soda? Get revenge with your own hands. Take care of your own business. Now that you know, do it yourself, little one. Ludisa plopped down, bewildered. Wait a second. I like soda too, but normally, what kind of revenge is a 4-year-old supposed to get? A condition window appeared. Conditions. Recover the assets Marquis Tarinka took from the child support funds. 1. Ownership of the Mana Stone mine. 2. Rights to my Mana Stones. How am I supposed to do that? Penalty for refusing the quest. Increased chance of randomly encountering flat soda. During the quest, the penalty will be removed. The penalty will be removed? If I hadn't turned back into a child, this would be different. A reader of romantic fantasy can't lose her honor to flat soda. I'll do the soda quest. Challenge accepted. After accepting the challenge, Ludisa fidgeted on her bed and thought, if that's the case, then I'll start from here. She pulled open a drawer, and inside was a book. Would you like to summon a short novel using the short novel rental option? Please say the title of the novel you wish to summon. Ludisa answered, I seduced 10 men in a reverse harem world. I'll summon a novel and take the heroine's power for myself. The book snapped shut. Ludisa cried out in delight. Did it work? Oh, there's handwriting in here. Wow, I never thought I'd be summoning this novel. To explain briefly, Seducing 10 Men was a novel about a heroine who chose no one. I never thought the day would come when I'd willingly seek it out myself. Live long enough, and you see everything. Though it does sound a little funny coming from a 4-year-old's body. A system window appeared. Would you like to use the Just and Cut trait to extract the heroine's abilities? At your current level, you may extract 5 abilities. Ludisa cheered, great. At your current level, you may extract 1 ability. Please choose 1. So, it was going to pick randomly, was it? But I have the instincts of someone who has read a lot of romantic fantasy. I trust my own hand. Ludisa reached out and chose. It was time to recover the luck stolen by 100 losses. The chosen ability was not flirting, but I can see through your feelings. Selected. I'm not flirting. How could I pretend not to see when I can see your feelings? Ability effect. The target's emotional state will be displayed as messages for 3 hours. Number of uses 5. Nice, I picked mind reading. This novel was abandoned, so information about it is limited. The heroine's abilities have been reduced. Lusa felt like the sky had just collapsed. What do you mean it was abandoned? You should have told me first, you scammer demon. But okay, it's enough to cook the Marquis. First, I need to start with an investigation. Elsewhere, let's not waste any more time. I heard clearly that the Duke never invested, so please return the investment money immediately. Before the trial begins, please answer us, Marquis Tarenka. He laughed lightly and replied, haha, gentlemen, please calm down. There's been a misunderstanding. Take a look at this check bearing the Duke's seal. You all know very well it isn't a forgery. Then are you saying House Faratin lied? What a naive question. From an investor's standpoint, what happens if another investor thrives? We have to divide the profits. Could it be that Duke Faratin intends to monopolize the profits and deliberately spread false information? I don't think he'd lie in a way that could be exposed so quickly. But we're talking about Faratin, that wicked and arrogant family. If they set their minds to it, tricks like this would be nothing. It can't be denied that Faratin has as much infamy as fame. Then where is the evidence that Duke Faratin invested in this business? Show us the contract. You mean to show an investment contract to a third party? If I do that, will everyone trust me and invest? May I then show the contracts I sign with all of you to someone else as well? You're not wrong. Then let me ask this. Does Duke Faratin have any concept of justice, morality, ethics, or virtue? Seeing is believing. The decision is yours. I'll give you all some time to think. After that, Marquis Tarenka left. Those old men sure do overthink things. Now it's only a matter of time. This is basically over. Just then, someone approached and said, My Lord Marquis, the guest has arrived. A guest? It is the young lady of House Faratin. Frowning in annoyance, he asked, You mean she came alone? Yes. Shall we escort her in? Take her to the greenhouse. The greenhouse, my lord? That's right. Looks like the brat ran off after being scolded by Duke Faratin, so I'll have to comfort her a little. When those old men finish making their decision, let me know. Yes, my Lord Marquis. He curled his lips into a smug grin. I'll use that stupid little girl to squeeze out even more money. All I need is for Duke Faratin to say he increased his investment amid the rumors of withdrawing it. All right, I really am clever. Standing before the greenhouse, he imagined Ludisa crying out in admiration. Wow, this cool garden belongs to you, uncle. Sob. I want to go back to your house again. She'll be enchanted by the beauty of the greenhouse. If I just pretend to comfort her a little, she'll want to come back. Thinking that, he pushed the door open hard and went in. His gaze halted the moment he saw Ludisa. Ludisa was dressed in luxurious clothes, with expensive accessories that made her look dazzling. Why is that brat wearing such high-end clothes? Your complexion looks a little better, though only slightly. Regaining his composure, he asked, All right, did you come to see me? Ludisa brightly replied, I came to get my money back, Marquis. The ability, I'm not flirting, I'm just seeing through your feelings activated. Target designated. Designation complete, Marquis Tarenka. Marquis Tarenka frowned and asked harshly, You came to get your money back? Yes, my money. He shouted, Hey, system analysis. Marquis Tarenka is shocked and angry at your words and actions. Ludisa said softly, First, please sit down. What are you acting so high and mighty for? The knight beside her moved as if to step in, but Ludisa stopped him. He's my prey. I can't have any more strange flat soda incidents. Seeing how spirited she looked, Deer couldn't contain himself. She's too adorable. You don't need manners with someone who stole your money. I stole your money. Spending my child support on your personal business is stealing my money, isn't it? Ungrateful little thing. I didn't throw you out on the street. I raised you this whole time. Marquis Tarenka wondered if the young lady was even in her right mind and became curious about what she had eaten. It would be great if I could read thoughts like the heroine in Seducing 10 Men. The Manastone mine and the mining rights were all bought with my money. What did you say? Those were bought with Duke Faraton's investment in me. Then are you saying you bought them with Faraton's money? Hearing that, he went speechless. Marquis Tarenka felt ashamed that he had fallen into a child's trap. Ludisa continued, That's strange. The only money the Faratons gave you was my child support. No, the money I received was investment money, and I never received any child support. The system informed her that Marquis Tarenka felt angry and relieved at the same time. It has been consolidated into a stable state. Why relieved? Wasn't this supposed to be his biggest concern? Then Ludisa's eyes widened as she remembered something. About the Manastone mine. What would a child know about adult business? Marquis Tarenka felt uneasy. Bingo, that's it. I just found something a little strange. I mean how you encouraged the nobles to invest in the Manastone mining business and sold it under the Faratin name. What's strange about that? Naturally, business investments require a lot of money. It's not something a child needs to concern herself with. But why are you getting so angry? What? Marquis Tarenka feels uneasy because of your words. Clearly, it was like he was pitifully trying to hide something. Marquis Tarenka is thinking up excuses. I stayed quiet because of our past relationship, but honestly, this is painful to listen to. One look is enough to tell you're in a mess. Just then, someone spoke up. Pardon the interruption, my lord. He whispered something to Marquis Tyrant, and Tyrant turned back irritably. I don't have time to listen to your nonsense. Throw her out. Deer, standing behind, instantly went into hostile mode. Our young lady, Ludisa, raised her hand to stop him. No, if I get thrown out like this, what am I supposed to do? And what about my quest? If I fail this time, I'll completely turn into a baby. It was only after losing it once that I realized how precious rationality was. The mine and the mining rights can't stay in the hands of someone who has no rightful claim to them. Should I just steal the documents? At that moment, Deer spoke. My lady, the nobles are still here after all. Ludisa jerked around. Uncle, you heard that? Even though you were farther away than I was. They're waiting for the Marquis after they make their decision. Hearing that, Ludisa jumped down from her chair. That's even better. Let's go. They're probably the investors in the Mana Stone mine. If so, they should be in the drawing room. It was time for a public execution. In the drawing room, clear evidence carried more weight than words. You mean, I will not withdraw my investment. He secretly rejoiced. Good. That arrogant little brat caused a bit of trouble, but it's all over now. At that moment, Ludisa walked in and said, not necessarily. Wouldn't it be better to think it over one more time? One of them asked, and you are? Hello, everyone. Let me introduce myself. I'm Ludisa, daughter of House Faratten. One of them recognized her. Oh, isn't this the youngest young lady of House Faratten? I can't believe someone from the Faratten bloodline could be this adorable. I feel like I've seen her somewhere before. Marquis Tyrant shouted. What kind of rudeness is this? Don't interrupt when adults are talking. Oh, come now, it's not rude at all. Who wouldn't be curious about the young lady of House Faratten? Now then, what was it you just said, child? That we ought to reconsider. I heard that Duke Delway Chun, Duke is Camille, and Marquis Serodin are all very capable men. The three men were visibly pleased by the praise. And you're also the kind of people who listen when something makes sense, even if it comes from a child. Ha ha ha. Faratten really is Faratten. Yes, then I suppose the young lady has something she wants to tell us. My uncle said my father invested in the Mana Stone mine. But why would he do that? Faraton's investment was meant to ensure that there would be mana inside the Mana Stones. Mana Stones were magical minerals often seen in novels. Yet in this place, strangely empty Mana Stones appeared. However, whenever Faratten invested, the Mana Stones were always full of mana. A 100 success rate. Everyone thought it might be because the family used demonic power, but my father said he had never done such a thing. Yes, that's right. Marquis Tyrant slammed the table and said loudly, I have proof. Ludisa continued, that's what's so strange. If my father invested, and that made the Mana Stones overflow with mana, then mining them would be like money falling from the sky. So why would he take investment money from other people? Hearing that, everyone thought she had a point. Tyrant cut in, this is why I can't talk to children. You probably don't know this, but Mana Stone mining takes an enormous amount of money. For someone so young, that was a clever thought, but the Marquis is right. If you don't have enough money, there's no choice but to take investments. Not enough money? That's strange. You said there wasn't enough money, but what about all the money from my father? What? What do you mean, all the money? Ludisa pointed and said, embezzlement. The people there burst out laughing. Even if Mana Stones are a mineral resource, they can't just be mined freely. You need approval, and preparing for approval, obtaining it, and actual mining all require a huge amount of money. Yes, I understand that. But my father could have provided all of that money, couldn't he? That'd seem to be true. Yes, that's correct. Then why would my father need to take just a little bit of investment money from you, uncle? Wouldn't it make more sense to invest alone and keep all the profits? Tyrant crumbled as he was exposed. Lulu is very, very curious. Why did you take investment money from other people too? Just to earn such a tiny bit. Every word from Ludisa struck a fatal blow. He stammered, what do you mean a tiny bit? Why didn't you just take investment money from my father alone? Marquis Tyrant is concerned about your level of education. And also, did my father really give you too little money? Tyrant's eyes widened in shock. The pop passbook. He lunged at Ludisa. Give me that now. Instantly, another hand snatched it away first. Ludisa blinked and looked toward the person. Let me see that. Yes, sir. He dropped heavily into his seat the moment he opened the bank book. And yet you say my father gave too little money? For the past year, the money from Faratten alone has been more than enough. Marquis Tyrant worried about your parents, and Ludisa burst out laughing at that. Yes, my father is perfectly healthy. She replied brightly. So if that's what this is, my father absolutely never failed to give you enough money. The system chimed in again. Marquis Tyrant wishes to perform surgery on a certain part of the reader's body. No way. What? You want to sew my mouth shut? But that's strange. Why did you need to accept investment from other people? Then, I won't let this slide. It looks like you want to sell Mana Stones and split the money among yourselves. You really are a philanthropist of a businessman, uncle. Marquis Tyrant is extremely agitated and wants to end your life. Oh dear, how scary. The investors pressed him, saying that if he claimed Faratten had already invested, then that was a lie. And it wasn't because he lacked mining funds and needed investment from them either. On the contrary, if he had used only Faraton's money, he would have kept all the profits for himself. Thinking back on it, your house had an unusually large number of visitors this spring and summer. So those were people connected to the mining operation. By then, the mana stones had already been mined, but the stones that were extracted had no mana in them. He had planned to cover the cost of upkeep by selling the mana stones, but they turned out to be nothing more than lumps of iron. So, in order to hide his losses, he came up with a plan. The responsibility for the investment would fall on these 3 people. And perhaps even Faratin was dragged in as an accomplice in this fraud. No, if it's Marquis Tarenka, then that's almost certainly the case. Ahem, the unknowns have all been solved. There's only one truth. So, Uncle, you'll return it, right? The embezzled money from my father. A little later, oh my, Uncle, what are you saying? You'll really return the ownership and mining rights to the mana stones. In the end, to calm the 3 men who were about to explode, Tarenka had no choice but to agree to Ludus's demand. But that alone isn't enough, is it? Lulu is saying this for your dignity's sake, Uncle. You're really only giving back that much? Really? Truly? Is that all? Marquis Tarenka hoped his face and her fist would collide. Good reaction. If you embezzled a child's money, then you should be giving back more. Ah, you were just joking, right? Right? So you're so shameless you don't even have any dignity left. Marquis Tarenka was utterly stunned, and all emotional activity stopped for 3 seconds. He pressed a hand to his forehead. Ah, fine. Good grief. Just say what you want and get out. Ludusa produced a list 8 meters long. Does mining mana stones really require that much manpower and equipment? Those had already been contracted beforehand, right? Then I'd like you to withdraw all of that and refund everything. Also, I heard you even bought a resort. You went there with Cleety, and you treated me very badly there too. I really want to go there as well. And I'm a devotee of romance, so I really want to go horseback riding too. While I was walking around until my feet hurt, you were proudly riding a horse, right? So of course that should be deducted and refunded too. There's more. There's still more. May I continue? Sometime later, Ludusa skipped away, hugging the fruits of her labor. I'm rich now. Amazing. I completed the revenge mission with my own hands. Additional reward, 3,000 cat. Duke Faraton's favorability toward the reader has risen sharply. New quest, my fortune never ends. You have recovered a large amount of assets beyond the required conditions. You have earned the admiration of the nobility. Those 3 will remember the reader. Ludusa smiled in satisfaction. The more I endured, the more satisfying this is. The quest had ended, so the penalty took effect again. Ludusa panicked when she heard it. What? All of a sudden? I'm not ready yet. At the same time, someone called out, Princess. Ludusa turned around with an awkward smile. I'm Lucisa. I'm Lucisa. How adorable. Your mother gave birth to you. The Duchess gave birth to me. And I'm 4 years old. That quick-wittedness from just now, coming from a 4-year-old child. Really, Faratin has produced another remarkable heir. But one question still remained. Why Duke Faratin had given money to Marquis Tarenka? That question, I have the answer, she stammered. It's because what? Ludusa whispered, because my daddy loves me. Everyone burst out laughing. So adorable. It wasn't exactly a secret, just, well, with such an adorable and clever daughter, of course he'd dote on her to death. I also think my daddy is the best in the world. Have some sweets. I have lots of sweets in my house. No, but still. Duke Adevikin, why did you act so improperly? You're fond of the child. This child prevented damages worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Of course I'm fond of her. What a blessing. I don't think that's a reason. Deer came over and spoke quietly. Young lady, if we're any later, his grace will worry. Ludusa waved cheerfully. Goodbye, sir. I'll come eat sweets at your house next time. She's adorable beyond words. What's wrong, my lord? Marquis Srel. It's nothing. I feel like I've seen that child somewhere before. But where? Wasn't the Faratin princess wearing a face covering? That. The Marquis recalled an image from earlier, then shook his head. No, I must have seen wrong. There's no way. They're completely different. Duke Iskami continued. That child has astonishing resilience. Like a tree growing in an astonishing way depending on the soil around it. Like a seed with limitless potential. I very much look forward to seeing how that child will grow. After they got down from the carriage, young lady, you were truly amazing at the Marquis's estate. It's a shame you have no demonic energy, but compared to when the young masters had to catch the monsters the young lord threw, this is truly moving. As expected of Faratin blood. Words so extraordinary, they don't sound like they came from a 4-year-old at all. Truly words that shake the heart. I understand, so stop crying. Oh dear, crying makes you look ugly. Young lady, it is my honor. Just then, from another direction, Duke Faratin approached and spoke in an unpleasant tone. You and my daughter seem very close. Very warm and affectionate. Like a family. Deer looked as if his soul had left his body as he covered his face and called out, Your Grace. Ludusa also called out brightly, Daddy. Ludusa turned back to Deer in confusion. Why are you worried, Uncle? Did you want to pinch my cheeks that badly? Oh, there, sorry. Head up, butt. Young lady, please stop. It's soft here. Then this is fine, right? I'm a good child who keeps her promises. Deer's soul seemed to say, I'll take my leave first. Even so, young lady's cheeks are the best. Ludusa stared at him blankly. What's wrong? Does something hurt? Were you that touched? In a voice as sharp as a blade, Duke Faratin asked, Oh, a promise? I'm curious what kind of promise it was. Are you sure you're curious about the promise itself? The limit of what a person can endure. Isn't that what you're really curious about? While she was still blankly staring, someone called out, "Youngest young lady, you've returned." "Welcome back, young lady. I've prepared tea and cakes to bring to you. You must be tired, young lady. Would you like to go change your clothes first?" So this is what it feels like to have a home waiting for you. I'm home. My own home, where everyone welcomes me back. At the dining table, the Duke thought to himself, this child is a dangerous existence. She can control other people's bodies, even against their own will. Even now, the Duke struggled to restrain himself. I want to stroke that fluffy hair. The sight of Ludisa eating is too adorable. The Duke was restless from holding himself back from approaching Ludisa, as though it was stirring violence within him. "Is something wrong, Your Grace? This feels strange. Pardon? Could there be something in the tea? But you haven't even eaten the pastries." "No, that's not it. Just looking at her makes me feel full." "Pardon. In any case, it seems my youngest daughter can control other people's physical reactions." "But Your Grace said the young lady has no demonic energy." "She is the first Faratan with no demonic energy. There's never even been a case like this from merely looking, so I do not know what kind of ability this is. I keep getting agitated and wanting to stroke her hair endlessly." Oko smiled to himself and thought, an ability without demonic energy? We call that being crazy about your daughter, sir. In any case, that is definitely a dangerous ability. The Duke called Lulu. She looked up and replied, "Yes. You understand what I'm saying, don't you?" Ludisa answered brightly, "Yes. Even now, I feel intensely violent. My daughter's smile truly has destructive power. Then I must confirm it. This is indeed a very serious problem." "Lulu, what if someone else pats your head?" Ludisa crossed her arms in an X. "No, I don't like it." "What about pinching your cheeks?" "I don't like it. Let's go eat sweets." "No, kiss your cheek." "Bad, bad." "Spanking." "If someone wanted to hug you, he's a kidnapper. As expected, smart like me. But just saying that is too gentle. Stop what you're doing, or do you want to lose your arm altogether?" "Wouldn't phrasing it like this be more appropriate?" The servants objected. "No, sir. You should only use beautiful words in front of the young lady. Besides, that was only a kind warning. It's not as if you're going to cut off their wrists outright. Isn't that a beautiful enough way to put it?" The Duke reached out and touched Ludisa's head. She immediately shouted, "No, I don't like it." Her reaction made the Duke freeze stiff. She pointed at the Duke's face. "Kidnapper." The Duke trembled. Lulu. Behind him, Oko covered his mouth and laughed. "He's shaken. He's really shaken." Ludisa stared blankly at the Duke's trembling hand, then suddenly smacked it away hard. "Let go. Bad, bad." Every word from Ludisa was like a knife stabbing into the Duke's heart. With sparkling eyes, Ludisa asked, "Daddy, I did well, right?" Oko thought to himself, the Duke, who never wavers under any circumstances. The Duke clutched his chest. It felt as though a nail had been driven into his ribcage. "Yes, Your Grace, you are bleeding profusely." When night fell, a bloody scene unfolded. A gravely wounded man clutched his chest and said, "A monster." Someone's footsteps walked past the bodies. Marquis Tarenka looked at the person and cried out, "D-Duke Faratan, what are you doing? It's not a problem if they die now." Barging into a Marquis's house without even covering your face. Unbelievable. A stream of black energy devoured the light. Terrified, Marquis Tarenka collapsed to the floor. "No matter what, you can't just come in here like this and harm me. Is that so? This is Marquis Tarenka's residence. If His Majesty the Emperor and the other nobles learn of this." "If they learn of it, then what?" "The former Marquis. If he finds out, he won't let this go. That is not something you need to worry about, because that will only matter after you die." Terrified out of his mind, he screamed, "Wait, brother-in-law. Why on earth are you like this?" "Oh, of course. Tormenting Princess Faratan was my fault. But that child isn't even the Duke's biological daughter. My sister committed adultery with another man and gave birth." A tremendous crash rang out, and the house was left in ruins. Tarenka curled up, racked with pain. He looked fearfully at the pitch-black, demonic energy before him. The Duke asked coldly, "My daughter, what about her?" The words die echoed in the Duke's mind. Tarenka knelt on the floor and begged for mercy. Sorry, please spare me." A punch flew out, bang. All that remained was Tarenka's shriek. A hole had appeared above Tarenka's head. He turned pale and fumbled over his body. "I'm alive. My head, it's still on my neck. I thought my head had been torn off. Still, brother-in-law, spare me, because we're family." His lips trembled as he called out, "The Duke." Then he froze when he saw the necklace with a ring dangling from it in the Duke's hand. "You are not even worthy of the name Tarenka, let alone the rank of Marquis." His eyes widened as he stared at it. "What? How does he have that?" "A ring engraved with the seal, confirming my status as head of the Tarenka family. A moment ago he touched my neck, no my ring." The Duke's eyes blazed red as he pronounced, "You have no right to wear it." To confiscate the ring meant abolishing his Marquis title, and naturally, the Tarenka name as well. Tarenka panicked. "If I don't have the seal, I am finished." At Duke Faraton's residence. "Did you hear? About Marquis Tarenka?" "Huh? What happened to Marquis Tarenka?" Nancy explained. He was stripped of his title and has returned to being a commoner. What? Just like that? Did his subordinates revolt or something? Oh no, not exactly. Originally, when the former Marquis went into seclusion, the title was only passed to him temporarily. Marquis Tyrant was more like a stand-in. I heard there were many assets he wasn't allowed to touch. Maybe that's why he started a business to gain more recognition, but it turned out to be fraud after all. His other businesses have collapsed too, and now he's apparently going through divorce proceedings with his wife. Wow, all the way to divorce. That's pretty humiliating. So scary, the speed of plot development in Korean fantasy romance. Suddenly, Ludisa pressed her lips together. Then what about Cleety if her parents divorce? Nancy let out a breath. That. The Marchioness will be taking her daughter with her. El square. Cleety's chautit. No. If I go with mother, I'll become a viscount's daughter. Cleety, what are you doing? I'm going to see the former Marquis. That brat is a duke's daughter, and I become a viscount's daughter? I can't accept that. I have to go see the former Marquis. Back with Ludisa, Nancy continued. If she goes with the Marchioness, she'll become a viscount's daughter, but apparently that child doesn't like that. This girl is impressive too. Nancy knows so much. He. The network of employees is endless, milady. I absolutely won't breathe a word about Faratin, so please don't worry. Nancy, stop chatting and come help pack these things. Yes, ma'am. Oh dear. If you need anything in the duchy, just tell me, and I'll bring it right away. Oh my, that dress would suit the young lady perfectly. Let me see. Everyone seemed far too busy packing things up. I thought nobles would want to stay on the island, but in reality, everything that needed to be done here is finished, so we have to return to the mainland. My lady, a hero cannot be absent from the triumphal ceremony. All right, that's true. So we're going back to the mainland, just to attend the triumphal ceremony. If that's the case, then where exactly is my ordinary father? And according to Nancy, the duchy is in the northern region, the official northern territory of the Grand Duke in a fantasy romance. That's my dad, the cold Grand Duke of the North. But for a daughter like me, no, it'll surely be a warm place for his daughter. Ludisa was so deep in thought that she failed to notice the system notifications ringing over and over. There is an unchecked notification. Right, if this is fantasy romance, then of course it has to be a northern duchy. The richest household of all. Would you like to confirm? Ludisa pretended not to hear it. Wonderful. In this life, I'm going to enjoy myself. Would you like to confirm? Would you like to confirm? Would you like to confirm? Fine. While I'm still conscious, I should take a look. System running. Updating status window. Abilities extracted. Ludisa Faratin just and cut grade F. Quest cat item. Additional reward. Luck potion has been supplied. Additional item. Luck potion. This is my data. If you had this, you should have shown it to me earlier. You have squeezed a great deal of wealth out of Marquis Tyrant. Applause for the reader. Clap, clap, clap. That's not praise at all. A linked mission has arrived. My wealth never stops. Keep moving forward and seize more wealth in the future as well. Lulu is just a child who knows nothing. Oh, don't tell me you don't like working. Are you crazy? What linked mission? Becoming a building owner is more than enough. Work proudly as a reader of Korean fantasy romance. Besides, Lulu is a baby, so she's sleepy. She doesn't understand anything, so why should she work? Then Ludisa's eyes suddenly lit up when she saw the reward in conditions. Sit on a pile of money and run a mana stone business. Reward, 0,000 kat. Reward, 0,000 kat. Even though I hate working, who once asked the protagonists in novels whether they dated while working, can't just play around forever. It's absolutely not, because I want the reward. Mission accepted. Mission window updated. Ongoing missions. 1. The Path of the Kind Reader. 2. My wealth never stops. Ugh, why wasn't the first mission counted? I already used my ability. The Path of the Worthy Reader. Requirement. Use treasure points to summon a short novel. Extract its ability and use it. Reward. 1,000 treasure points. Come on, is it because I rented the novel instead of buying it with my own money? Aptens always acts as fairly as possible. You should have read the terms and conditions more carefully. How can you even say that, you demon? The maid standing nearby stared blankly when they saw Ludisa talking to herself. A demon? A demon? You mean Mr. Hamster? Why aren't you answering, my lady? Why? Why are you treating me like this, Mr. Hamster? Seeing Ludisa clutch her teddy bear tightly, Nancy said, it seems she really likes the teddy bear she was given. That's right. Our young lady is so adorable. Quite different from the young masters. The young masters? Come to think of it, that demon did promise me a handsome older brother, didn't he? Considering everything I'd gone through, it was hard to trust that promise. But still, the cool father part was real. Which means the Appas are real too. 3 little sprouts who grew up handsome like father. That means, my lady, what are your brothers like? The 2 maids suddenly froze, then turned their faces away to avoid the question. Ludisa realized inwardly, that silent reaction. Figures. That demon tricked me again. It was today, wasn't it, at Duke Faraton's castle? The master of this place had finally returned. A magnificent front hall to welcome the Duke. Majestic interiors where the Duke could rest and relax. Even the intimidating atmosphere suited the Duke perfectly. But if it's this dark, won't she be scared? The youngest young lady. I heard his grace rushed back because of the youngest young lady. The Duke's keep sending invitations for her. As they spoke, they imagined Duke Ferriton destroying the letters sent by other dukes hoping to befriend Ludisa. Faraton, are you seriously believing such ridiculous rumors? Forgive me. We mustn't lose focus while welcoming his grace. Yes. The next morning, the sound of a carriage rattling filled the air. Sitting in the carriage like a stuffed bear, Ludisa thought back to what Anna had said before putting this on her. It'll be cold, so please wear this too, my lady. Just this one extra thing. Ahaha, your father is waiting. Ludisa grumbled, it's too hot. The Duke looked at her and asked, what's with that fluffy outfit, exactly? The maid said it would be cold, so I had to dress warmly. Are you cold? No, I'm hot. Really? She screamed inwardly. Of course it's hot if you turn a person into a teddy bear. Then why are you still wearing it? Even so, they were worried about me. Honestly, I was glad. I'm jealous of children who complain that their mothers make them wear things, even if I can't fully understand it. The Duke stroked his chin and replied, I can understand it. Even if it's troublesome and useless, you just want to leave it be. It felt strange. No, it is useful. It's a way of healing scars. When you're hurt, there are things you can't do, so now they're doing that for me. Even though ointment alone won't make scars disappear. But that doesn't make it troublesome, right? He said as he pinched Ludisa's cheek teasingly. Then the corner of his mouth curved into a smile. Lulu, thank you. She stared blankly for a moment before answering, yes. Soon the carriage stopped in front of the residence, and the butler and servants stared in shock. Looking at Ludisa, they wondered, is this little bear really the young lady? She doesn't seem malicious at all. Suddenly, Ludisa sneezed. The Duke turned around irritably and asked, why is it so cold here? Everyone trembled. Why, Your Grace, you told us to keep this place cold forever, because when people die, they become cold. All the attendants following Ludisa panicked. Hot water. Bring hot water here. It's an emergency. The young lady sneezed. Quickly, bring her inside. Seeing that, the butlers were baffled. Have they all gone mad? Are they committing suicide together? Don't drag me into this. The Duke lifted Ludisa up into his arms, and the butlers' mouths fell open again. He's holding a child in his arms. Suddenly, the Duke pulled down Ludisa's hood, and she immediately protested, kidnapper. He frowned and said, stay still. Ludisa obediently replied, yes. Then he carried her inside, warning as he walked, you mustn't let just anyone pick you up. The onlookers were shocked yet again. Our master has definitely changed. At that moment, a boy spoke up. Welcome back. The Duke introduced them. Lulu, these are your brothers. Ludisa gasped inwardly. This is insane. Alex, the second son of the Faraton family. Ixen, the third son of the Faraton family. I sincerely regret underestimating this world. Any place with beauty like this deserves a perfect score. I need to make a good impression. The Duke patted her head and said, Lulu, say hello. Ludisa beamed and introduced herself. Hello, I am Luti. So it's you. Ludisa wondered, does he know me? Or could it be he fell in love with me at first sight? Wearing an innocent smile to make a good impression, she looked up as Ixen gave her a sinister smile and said, so you're a weakling? At those words, Ludisa stiffened. Ixen turned around and waved a hand. Akae me piaka, fine. Since we've greeted each other, I'll be going back to my room. You better be careful. Weak people tend to die quickly. What? What? Ixen, Duke Ferriton's third son. Looks crazy good. Personality, trash. Threat level high. She despaired inwardly. I take back the 10 stars I gave him. The other one stepped toward her and called out, Ludisa, you must be tired from the journey, right? Yes. Oh, no need to be nervous. I'm Ares, your second brother. Yes. You must be very cold. Outside the duchy, it's much warmer. I'm Yufine. I'm dressed warmly. Your hands are freezing. I can't just leave my little sister like this. Alex, the second son of the Faraton family. Looks perfect. Personality. Okay. Trait. Sister complex. Ludisa stared blankly at the radiance before her. There was literally a beam of light standing in front of me. Thank you, demon. The Faraton territory was in the north, far too cold for a 4-year-old child to endure. Even so, Ludisa leisurely reached out for a milk bottle. As she drank, she narrowed her eyes in delight. I love this. It was also the perfect weather for soaking in a hot spring. Ludisa smiled, so hard her eyes curved shut, thinking inwardly. Soaking in a hot spring while looking at a winter landscape, something I couldn't even dream of in my previous life. Anna handed her a towel and reminded her with a smile, you have to dry your hair, my lady, or you'll catch a cold. The little girl raised both hands to take it and replied, I know. Ludisa went into the dressing room to look for clothes. A little later, she chose a blue dress. Standing before the mirror, she examined herself carefully. Perfect. Then a thought suddenly flashed through her mind. Maybe I should go see my brothers. Not long after, the door to the room opened. Holding the doorknob, Ludisa raised her voice. Hello, big brothers. At that, the two sitting in front of her both looked up. Alex, holding a teacup in his hand, broke into a bright smile. Ludisa, his eyes were full of gentle affection as he called out, come sit here. Her face instantly bloomed like a flower. Big brother Alex, the one who had warmly welcomed me from the first meeting. Yes, Ludissa toddled over, clutching her skirt. Alex pulled out the chair beside him. But the moment she sat down, Ixon spoke in annoyance. How troublesome. He shoved both hands into his pockets and continued. Yesterday's greeting was enough. Ixon frowned, his voice turning even colder. Did you sit here because you want to get close to us? Do you think family affection that never existed is just going to appear? One idiot. Ludissa gripped her clothes tightly and thought. Third brother Ixon is always like an enemy. Seeing that, Alex gently stroked her hair. I was surprised the first time I saw you. His voice softened as he leaned down. I never imagined I'd have such an adorable little sister. His smile was so dazzling, it seemed like light was shining around him. Then Alex made a suggestion that left her stunned. Let's get along, okay? Ludissa's eyes filled with happy tears as she replied, this really is an angel. Yes. In her mind, the thought repeated again and again. Even with black hair and red eyes, those drooping, gentle eyes and that soft atmosphere make him a true angel. An angel. Ixon watched the scene with an even gloomier expression. Scratching his head, he muttered, did you eat something weird or what? What's so great about that frail little girl? Ludissa's eyes widened, her mind turning into complete chaos. He talks to his own older brother like that? Alex placed a hand on her shoulder and replied calmly, because she's cute. Hearing that, Ixon could only shake his head. There must be something wrong with your eyes. Looking between the two of them, Ludissa thought, are they close like friends? As expected, second brother is an angel. She stared at Ixon with her lips pressed tight. If I had a rude younger brother like that. Ixon's face darkened with displeasure as he spoke. What are you looking at? Ludissa kept her expression blank. That silence only made him angrier, and he shouted, What is it with that annoying face? Ludissa clenched the hand resting on the table and muttered, I can't help the blessings written on my face, you know. Stop it. Then she let out a sigh. Third brother may be annoying, but my eyes keep drifting toward handsome things. What can I do? It's human instinct. Ixon flinched and stepped back, stammering, W what? She lifted her head and stared at him, thinking, I'll be perfectly open and honest like this. Just then, Alex called out, Ludissa. She immediately looked away and answered, yes? His eyes carried a sad look. Do you think Ixon is handsome? So that's Lulu's type? Hearing that, Ludissa froze in shock. Her mind screamed, my angel, you must not look so sad. Suddenly, Ludissa shouted, her voice echoing through the hall. No. Flustered, she waved her hands as the words poured out. To me, brother Alex is more handsome. Alex is the absolute best. I want to play with brother Alex. Alex smiled faintly and replied, I thought Ludissa liked Ixon more. Ludissa frantically waved her hands and explained, no. Alex is way better. Ixon stared blankly at the two in front of him, full of confusion. But those two words rang in his ears and made him grind his teeth in irritation. Way better. Ixon shot to his feet, slammed a hand down on the table, and roared, you little. Alex lifted his head to look at him. The air around Ixon gradually turned heavy. You brothers are both blind. Ludissa looked up at Ixon, her cheeks flushed. In that instant, a murderous glint flashed in his eyes. Dear reader, there is someone daring enough to mock the reader who made a contract with Aptens. A notification window suddenly appeared. This cannot be tolerated. The text displayed, since ancient times, to cultivate oneself, regulate the family, govern the state, and bring peace to the world. If one wishes to govern a nation, one must first govern one's own household. A troubled look flickered across her face. No, but in a Western fantasy world, doesn't that sound a bit off? And I don't intend to govern a nation anyway. More notification windows appeared one after another. Please punish that ignorant fool. Show us who the true conqueror is and display your authority. Another message appeared. Be acknowledged by Ixon as a member of the family. Reward. Draw 3,000. Linked mission. Increase my influence in the ducal house. Commencing. Ludissa covered her face with one hand and muttered helplessly. Another mission. Her thoughts swirled in confusion. It would be nice if I could get closer to third brother, but does it really have to be with someone who hates me? Then Ludissa tried to console herself. It's fine to have one difficult person in the house. A new notification appeared. Mission refusal penalty. Removal from life. She read the words over and over. Mission refusal penalty. Removal from life. Seeing Ludissa slump onto the table, Alex asked with concern, Lulu, what's wrong? She answered weakly, it's nothing. Sweat out of my eyes. He looked toward the person in front of him. Ixon apologized. Lulu is crying. Crossing his arms, Ixon answered with a smile. She cries over that? He slowly sat back down in his chair. What a weakling. Ludissa slowly raised her head and shouted. No. Pointing at herself, she declared firmly, I'm strong. Ludissa's eyes blazed with determination. I'll win you over somehow. Ixon curled his lips in a faint smile. Oh, really? As soon as he spoke, he unleashed his magic. Then I suppose you can handle this? A cold, murderous intent flashed in Ixon's eyes. You couldn't even withstand demonic energy, so you were sent off to another house. And yet you dare. A streak of black light tore through the air straight toward the little girl. At that exact moment, Alex called out Ixon. He raised his hand and blocked the strange black light completely. Alex pulled Ludissa tightly into his arms and shot Ixon a warning glance. His face hardened as he said in a low voice, "Don't bully your little sister too much." Ludisa couldn't help being startled. "My angel." A faint smile suddenly touched the corner of Ixen's mouth, and he lowered himself slightly, his eyes full of interest as he said, "Going against you is even more fun." Alex only shook his head lightly, his voice carrying familiar exasperation. "You really are impossible to talk to, aren't you?" Ludisa trembled a little, thinking that's right. He's been rude this whole time. Even so, she felt safe in Alex's arms. Still, thank goodness my angel isn't angry. Alex's voice dropped lower. "Maybe I need to straighten out the hierarchy once and for all." Hearing those words, Ludisa had no idea what was about to happen. When she saw him standing opposite Ixen, she cried out in confusion. "Huh?" Ludisa blurted out anxiously, "What do I do?" The coffee cup trembled violently under the pressure of the power radiating from the two of them. Ixen smiled with confidence, his eyes challenging his opponent directly. Alex looked back at him, the corner of his lips curving into a smile whose meaning was impossible to read. Worry was written clearly across the little girl's face. If this keeps going, won't something terrible happen? Ludisa couldn't stop worrying. If they keep this up, even bloodshed would make it a huge incident. Somebody save Lulu. She squeezed her eyes shut and pressed her lips together. "I've only just started living a happy life. I can't leave like this." Guilt rose in Ludisa's heart. "I didn't want to use this method while my mind is blank, but there's no other choice." Then the little girl suddenly raised her voice. "I'm sorry." Memories flashed through Ludisa's mind. "Everything, it's all because Lulu is too cute. Please don't fight over Lulu anymore." The little girl raised her soft voice. "Lulu likes both of you, so?" Alex's eyes lowered as he turned to look at Ludisa. Ixen also turned his head. Both of them froze simultaneously when they heard, "Lulu likes both of you, so?" She raised a finger high. Ludisa's cheeks flushed with shyness. "Lulu." She held her cheeks and winked playfully. "Lulu will only be a little bit cute from now on." Both he and Alex stood motionless on the spot, staring at Ludisa as if they had just been petrified. Ixen withdrew his power and muttered in frustration, "What the heck is this? What a mood killer." A while later, in a bedroom decorated with exquisite furniture, Ludisa sat on the bed, her head bowed as she stared into the empty space in front of her. Her eyes held a hint of sadness. Even though she had overcome the crisis just now, things couldn't go on like this. Ludisa clenched her hands together as she thought, because this determined her life or death. Refusing the mission, penalty, log out of life. However, just a moment later, she took a deep breath and cheered up. "But who do you think I am?" Ludisa's whole body exuded confidence. As a heavy-duty leader who had read plenty of romance novels, she knew the common solutions used in them. Thinking of that, she suddenly felt discouraged. "But I don't have enough money, so I can't summon the female lead's abilities right now." A belief gradually formed in Ludisa's mind. Regardless, the weapon she could use right now were the mind-reading skill she already had and her knowledge of romance novels. She clasped her hands together, silently praying to the countless female leads of romance novels. Ludisa's eyes glistened with tears. "I will follow what you have taught me really well." At this moment, the palace corridor was steeped in silence. Ixen's footsteps echoed steadily on the cold stone floor, while she walked closely behind him. He didn't turn his head at all, just continued to move forward. She slowly and leisurely followed his back, keeping a moderate distance. A moment later, Ixen couldn't take it anymore. He spun around, pointed straight at Ludisa, and shouted, "Hey, why are you following me? It's so annoying. And those noisy shoes, too." She stood awkwardly, shrinking back, and replied in a coquettish tone, "Well, Lulu just wants to play with Ixen." Ludisa's cheeks grew rosy as she continued, "Plus, Dad told me to wear these." Hearing that, Ixen froze on the spot. A child who absolutely followed their father's orders. A moment later, his expression changed. "Hey." Ixen's tone suddenly became completely different. "That guy Alex isn't here to protect you anymore." As soon as he finished speaking, he unleashed his magic power. "You want to play with me? With your weak body?" Her eyes widened, staring intently at the black, demonic aura swirling in front of her. Ixen smirked and said coldly, "Let's see if you can withstand this demonic aura." Ixen felt amused, a clear look of delight in his eyes as he looked at Ludisa. Ixen was looking forward to her reaction. Suddenly, his pupils wavered. Ixen withdrew the demonic aura from his hand, a sense of shock spreading through him. The little girl cupped her face and called softly, "Ixen." Ixen felt nervous. Her face lit up with a bright smile. "Are you going to play with me? Lulu loves that." He couldn't help but flinch and blurt out, "What?" Ixen puffed his cheeks and said, "Are you laughing at me? Aren't you scared?" Ludisa approached and replied, "I know." She eagerly hugged him with both arms. "You want to play hide and seek, right?" With that, Ludisa turned around and said, "Now Ixen goes seek." "I bet you can't catch me." Ixen still didn't understand what was happening and said awkwardly, "Hey, why? Stop right there. You kid, doing whatever you want." But she had already run off to hide. At this moment, Ludisa revealed a rare, mischievous look as planned. She plotted in her mind, "Too bad for you, kid. I might look like this, but I'm already living my second life." Recalling the scene just now, she sighed in relief. That demonic aura was just a warning shot. That was close. Ludissa glanced at Ixon, who was still standing completely still. You're 100 years too early to be mocking an adult kid. As she remained immersed in her thoughts, I thought it would be easy, but unexpectedly, a hand from behind grabbed Ludissa tightly by the waist. She startled, her eyes widening as she looked straight ahead. Ixon easily lifted Ludissa's entire body. He kept that posture and said, "I knew it." The little girl called out in a panic. Ixon, Ludissa's feet slowly touched the ground. "You." Her sparkling eyes looked at Ixon. "He's somewhat sensible, isn't he? Did he just hug me?" However, his face was scrunched up as if trying to suppress some kind of anger. He wondered why he had caught her. Ixon's teeth were gritted, his eyebrows furrowed. Ixon felt extremely irritated. Ludissa smiled stiffly and thought, "It's obvious just by looking." She then asked cautiously, "Ixon, am I annoying?" Ludissa puffed her cheeks, tapped her 2 index fingers together, and continued, "But I want to be close to you, Ixon." Hearing those words, he suddenly took a step back. Ixon, with a flustered expression, spoke up, "Hey, Lulu." Right at this moment, footsteps echoed, approaching them. Seeing Faratin, she happily called out loudly, "Dad!" He glanced over and thought to himself, "No matter how many times I see it, this is a scene that's hard to get used to." Ludissa ran over quickly and asked curiously, "Are you done with your work, Dad?" He steadily picked her up and replied, "Not yet." Ludissa looked full of anticipation. "Then can't we eat together?" Faratin reached out and gently touched her cheek. His eyes were filled with affection. Dad still has time to nom-nom with Lulu. Ludissa's eyes widened as she asked, "Really?" Faratin lowered himself and smiled, of course. He stood frozen on the spot, witnessing the scene. "No?" Ixon's eyes widened in disbelief as he told himself, "My ears must be acting up from too much stress. It's all because of that annoying cotton ball." Remembering something, he asked, "All right, Lulu, are you still playing with Ixon?" She looked at him and answered yes. Faratin shifted his gaze to him and continued, "He isn't bullying you, is he?" A cold chill ran down Ixon's spine. Ixon's mind was filled with anxiety. Damn it, if that cotton ball snitches, I won't have anything to say in my defense. Because the truth is, I did use my demonic aura to scare her several times. The image of him casting his magic to attack Ludissa appeared clearly in his mind, making him even more tense. The truth was exactly that. Ixon's face scrunched up as he prepared to confess, "Sir, I actually..." At that moment, the little girl interrupted, "No." Hearing that, his eyes wavered, unable to hide his astonishment. She looked up at him, her cheerful voice ringing out, "Brother Ixon didn't bully me. He played with me. It was a lot of fun." Ixon's hands dropped limply to his sides, his mind repeating a few words over and over. "Fun? Playing with me? Why?" Faraton's expression turned stern as he asked again, "More fun?" Startled, the little girl replied yes. His lips pressed together emotionlessly, as if feeling a bit jealous. Faratin spoke up, "More fun than being with Dad?" Hearing that, Ludissa's whole body stiffened. He wasn't doing any better, his face looking clueless as to what was going on. Watching that warm family scene, Ixon felt like he was a third wheel. The little girl sat on the swing, rubbing her legs and complaining, "My poor legs." Ludissa's face was full of exhaustion. "That boy Ixon, I saw him a few days ago, so why can't I find him today?" She glanced around the study, thinking, "And this Duke's castle." Then she returned to the bedroom and searched for a while. Ludissa walked from one corridor to another, not missing a single corner. After a while, she was exhausted and slumped to the ground. It's too big to search for him. Ludissa was drenched in sweat. What's worse is that I've used up my mind-reading skill. Now it's time to follow the progression of a romance female lead. Recalling the notification, refusing the mission. Penalty, log out of life. She cheered herself up. The mission won't wait for me. Ludissa flailed her arms and legs and shouted out loud, "If so, I must find that boy first. Why is this guy nowhere to be seen? I'm getting old. Suddenly, someone walked up and burst into laughter. Sorry for laughing. The little girl looked up and called softly, "Alex?" He covered his mouth with his hand and said, "What's the matter with my little sister that's making her age? That would be a huge problem." Ludissa let out a long sigh and replied, "Life is full of hardships and difficulties, Alex." Hearing that, Alex laughed heartily. He stepped closer and sat down next to her. "Even though your sighing face is cute," Alex's eyes looked at her gently. "If my sister is worried about something, it breaks my heart." Pausing for a beat, he continued, "Can you tell me what you're worried about?" Ludissa's eyes wavered as she stammered, "Well." She turned her face to the side, her voice tinged with grievance. "Ixon keeps bullying me." Ludissa puffed her cheeks and pouted. "I want to get close to Ixon, because if I don't, I'll die. But he constantly annoys me, treats me badly, and always sticks his tongue out at me." He sat quietly, listening to her every complaint. A moment later, Alex looked away and said, "It seems Lulu really likes Ixon. I'm a bit jealous." In the distance, a figure silently hid behind a tall pillar. Ludissa widened her eyes, staring at him with her mouth agape. Then she raised her voice to object. "What are you talking about?" "I like you. Alex, where more?" Alex raised an eyebrow and asked with interest, "Really?" Ludissa tried hard to explain, of course. Ixon can't even compare. Behind the pillar, the person remained still, quietly listening to the entire conversation. Seeing that he still didn't believe her, she continuously expressed herself. You are my healing, the blessing of my life, and suddenly, Alex reached out and touched Lytis's hair. He leaned in close. Alex planted a soft kiss on her cheek. He smiled happily, his eyes curving into crescents, and said, I'm so honored. Lytis's sparkling eyes stared blankly at Alex. A few seconds later, her face turned red. Only then did Lytis truly realize what had just happened. Alex reached out and gently touched Lytis's cheek. She touched her own cheek, secretly cheering in her heart. Great, absolutely wonderful. Lytis's inner mind was constantly reeling. Long live the handsome sister Khan brother. 10 points. No. Her face was filled with happiness. I love you, Alex. Giving you 100 points, Mr. Angel. Suddenly, Lytis saw something and blurted out, Wah, what's that? Her eyes widened, unable to believe the sight in front of her. Realizing there were cracks on the pillar, Lytis stammered, that pillar is broken? Alex looked up following her gaze and said in confusion, it naturally. Seeing Lytis's panicked expression, he softened his tone, Lulu, let's head back. She was still in a state of panic, wondering, is it okay to just leave it like that? Mr. Angel says so it should be fine, right? The two of them stood up from the swing together. Alex turned around, his eyes sweeping towards the back. On the pillar, jagged cracks were clearly visible under the sunlight. Night fell over the palace, with torches lit everywhere. Lytis sat nibbling on a piece of cake, her face visibly depressed. Anna, while cleaning, asked worriedly, what's wrong, my lady? The little girl pouted and replied gloomily, I haven't seen Ixen around lately. She paused her work and replied with a smile, the young master never likes going to crowded places. Lytis frowned in confusion, but I was still able to see him all this time. Beside her, Laura turned her head and chimed in, isn't young Master Ixen avoiding you, my lady? Hearing that, her heart skipped a beat. If you put it that way, it means... Lytis's face gradually scrunched up. So Ixen is doing his best to avoid me right now. She couldn't help but think, did my actions backfire instead? The strategy of turning him into a sister Khan because of the system. Was I in too much of a hurry? Lytis placed her spoon on the table. All right, maybe my approach was wrong. Then she crossed her arms and thought, fine, let's think from Ixen's perspective. The image of Ixen appeared in her mind. I don't even have any demonic aura right now. Lytis's eyebrows furrowed slightly. What if he hates me because I don't have demonic aura? Suddenly, she looked at Anna and Laura and asked, there's something I want to ask. What exactly is demonic aura? She called out in surprise, my lady. Lytis swung her legs and continued, our whole family has demonic aura, right? She lowered her head to look at the floor, her voice slowing down. It's just that I want to understand more about our family. Hearing those words, Anna and Laura looked at each other. Then she turned to look at Lytis and replied, though I don't know the exact details, demonic aura is a power passed down only through the direct bloodline of Duke Feraton's family. Anna's voice sounded steady. Unlike a mage's mana or a knight's aura, it is an incredibly special power. She listened in silence and muttered, special? She continued, but it is also a power that terrifies others. It's pitch black. As if remembering something, Lytis's eyes wavered. She raised her hand to voice her opinion. My experience in romance fantasy has told me. Demonic aura is the power of a demon, right? Anna and Laura widened their eyes and replied in unison, that's not it at all. Lytis's voice dropped as she repeated, so it's not. She hurriedly explained, of course there are rumors like that, but it's probably because that power is inherently overwhelming. Laura, standing nearby, also spoke up when Nancy saw it for the first time. Her legs lost all strength. Just seeing it is terrifying enough. But she shook her head and replied, no, it's not. She and Laura were taken aback. Pardon? The little girl looked up at them and said slowly, I've seen demonic aura several times too. At this point, Lytis slumped down slightly. I've never thought black was pretty. However, demonic aura is. Fear enveloped her body, an overwhelming and infinitely dark power. Lytis could only stand frozen, witnessing that scene. Fear might be a natural feeling. Her body trembled violently. But that thing made me even forget to breathe for a moment. In her memory, Lytis was all alone in a dark space. Her face was stunned, a solitary back figure. Lytis's tears fell silently. It was so beautiful. Her voice rang out clearly in the room. Demonic aura is the night. Lytis's small hands were folded and placed neatly on her lap. Her eyes were full of hope. A night where you can close your eyes and rest. It is a night warmer than anything else. She and Laura, deeply moved, called out softly, my lady. Outside the window, Alex had been standing there since who knows when. He crossed his arms over his chest, as if savoring the meaning of those words. Demonic aura is a warm night. Suddenly, Alex let out a self-deprecating laugh and asked himself, is that so? He glanced at Ixen, who was resting on a nearby tree branch. He was immersed in his own thoughts. At this time, Alex spoke up, just like the pillar. While you're at it, why don't you kill that bad temper of yours too? Ixen lowered his head in silence, not answering. In his mind, the little girl's shy expression appeared. But I want to be close to you, Ixen. Or the time when Lytis replied in her clear voice, Brother Ixen didn't bully me, he played with me. It was a lot of fun. Ixon felt a bit jealous when he heard, "What are you talking about? I like Brother Alex much more." The person standing behind the pillar at that time was him, hearing everything. Ludus's words echoed in his ears. "Ixon can't compare. He keeps bothering me and treats me badly. Anyway, I don't even care." Ixon clenched his fists, blaming himself. He landed softly, then turned and walked in another direction without looking at Alex. Suddenly, he turned his head and blurted out, "I don't believe it." Ixon's eyes were resolute. Such a lie. As the sun gradually rose, the magnificent palace appeared majestic in the daylight. Inside the great hall, valuable items were neatly arranged. A vassal adjusted his glasses, unable to hide his astonishment. This is truly surprising. Were all these things taken back from Marquis Tarenka by the youngest lady? No, I mean the Mana Stone mine has been retrieved. A vassal of the Duke's territory. He crossed his arms confidently and spoke. "Of course. Who do you think our young lady is? She is the Duke's vassal from the island." Deer joyfully added. She wasn't flustered at all by the Marquis's evasion of responsibility. And with her sharp mind, she quickly realized everything and blackmailed him. He excitedly recounted, "I saw it with my own eyes. Viscount Deer, the president of the Lulu fan club, the one who directly witnessed Lulu's stirring performance." Ludus sat on Faraton's lap, nibbling on a pastry, and thought shyly, as expected, "Why do they keep embarrassing me?" Another thought flashed through her mind. "Anyway, should I also take on the Mana Stone business task while I'm at it?" Ludus looked up at him and excitedly asked, "Dad, this is the Mana Stone mine I got back from that mister. Can I manage it?" Mr. Deer and the other vassal's eyes widened upon hearing that. The vassal hurriedly spoke up, "Yes, sir. The young lady is still too young." He also nodded in agreement. "That's right. She hasn't been taught about finances like the young masters, and if all this money flies away." Ludisa raised her hand to shield her eyes from the shining sun when she heard him say, "It doesn't matter if it flies away." Faraton lowered himself and spoke in a slow but decisive voice. "Dad has a lot of money." The vassal, flustered and trembling, voiced his opinion on what he just heard. Although it might be a bit impolite, the young lady lacks experience and learning. It's too early for her to manage assets. The person next to him also voiced opposition to the idea. "That's right. Please reconsider, sir." Ludisa strongly agreed with those words. With sparkling eyes, she secretly prayed, "That's right, Dad. Even though I begged you, please think about it a little more. If I fail, I'll really become a child because I'll be punished." But Faraton didn't understand that little inner thought. His entire body exuded a murderous aura towards those who opposed him. Too many words. "What's the problem if my daughter just plays with her own things?" Hearing his decision, the little girl felt sad, tears streaming down her face. "When did I ever say that? You said you would manage it." Then Faraton coldly and firmly declared, "I will not hear any more complaints." Everyone was stunned. Only Deer had a very satisfied smile. He was joyful, holding a cute little pastry box in his hand, humming a tune. Suddenly, Deer sensed something unusual. His body unconsciously tensed up, and he immediately went on guard, looking left and right. What was that sound? Alan, from behind, softly explained to Deer, "It seems young Master Ixon is training." Only then did he notice Alan's presence. Manager Alan. The man leaned over and looked down from the window, commenting, "Lately, the young master stays for so long every time he trains at the training ground. Is it really because he has returned?" Deer also agreed with those words. It must be. Then Alan noticed that he was carefully holding something and curiously asked, "But what is that box? Could be pastries?" As if hitting a chord in his heart, Deer excitedly rushed towards him. "Are you curious?" Alan, surprised by this attitude, was speechless, yes. Before Alan could recover his senses, he excitedly revealed his plan. It's a fourneau cake with lots of cherries prepared for the youngest lady. Deer had already imagined Ludus's happy face. I wonder if the young lady's reaction will be what I expect. His psychology was truly bizarre. No matter what the little girl was like, he still found it interesting, especially that occasional expression looking like his brother. It's so thrilling. Alan was also frightened, not daring to speak up to voice his opinion. Is that a good thing? Having said that, he became even more eager to give the cake to Ludisa. How will she react today? While the other man was helpless, not knowing what to do. Then the scene shifted to another area. It was the place where Ixon was practicing his strength. The aide witnessing the scene couldn't help but sigh inwardly. The demonic aura is lethal. It seems he's becoming more and more violent lately. He shouted out a suggestion to Ixon. "Hey, why don't you try controlling your anger? Is it because of a youngest lady?" As if his sore spot had been touched, he glared coldly at the aide. He was directly terrified by Ixon, his body stiffening. The aide couldn't help but tremble under that pressure. Ixon's face was full of dissatisfaction as he denied his assumption. Nonsense. He carried a frustrated mood, turned around, and walked away. A terrifying demonic aura is natural. This is a matter of course. The warm sunlight covered every part of the mansion. Ixon, with his small body, took each step down the corridor. In his mind was Ludus's innocent voice. The demonic aura is the night. A contradiction was struggling within Ixen's heart. Liar. No matter how much he denied it, his mind had remembered what the little girl said. A place to close your eyes and rest is a night that is warmer than anything else. The more it was like that, the more Ixen tried to eliminate it from his thoughts. Liar. He used arguments to convince himself she just lies to act as a parasite clinging to the strong. That's how weaklings survive, and doing that is not simple at all. But unconsciously, Ixen had sought out Ludus's room. His heart struggled to voice its feelings. Why am I so uncomfortable? Ixen felt restless inside and roughly pushed the door open. It seemed as if Ludus's image was right in front of him. But currently, the little girl was not there. Why isn't she here? That figure gradually faded into thin air. Instantly, many scenarios played out in Ixen's mind. No, she must have gone to Alex, whom she likes. She didn't seek me out because she likes me. But suddenly, he sensed something strange. Footsteps. Ixen keenly detected a small change in every detail. Those annoying footsteps I used to hear every day. His eyes widened in shock, mixed with a hint of panic. Ixen worried, a feeling of unease creeping all over his body. Why didn't I hear them today? He quickly looked around the entire room, searching for Ludusa. She's not here. Ixen ransacked every corner to confirm his speculation. But even after checking everywhere, there was still no trace of Ludusa. She's nowhere to be seen. Why? His face could not hide the anxiety. Looking down from the window, there were adult footprints and the little girl's red shoe. Ixen stood frozen at the sight before him. All right, only the weak would say that. Being weak means you can't do anything. He was tormented by his own trains of thought. I have to think like that. I've thought like that up until now. Ixen picked up the shoe, his face darkening. He ordered his magic power to track down Ludus's whereabouts. Go find her. From the tree branches in the forest, that dark shadow spread everywhere in the air. Go find her. It didn't even miss the scenery outside the mansion. Find her quickly. Everything followed the magic power and transmitted information back to Ixen. The surrounding scenes seemed to be tinged with gloomy colors. I said go find her. His magic power detected an anomaly in a group of people. They were trying to escape this place through the forest. More importantly, they were taking Ludusa away with them. The little girl was in tears, her eyes helpless in the face of the situation. Ixen's ability immediately reported to its master, found her. The mysterious man felt he was being watched and turned around to check. Only now did they realize they had been discovered. Ixen was already swiftly behind a masked man's back. He emitted a murderous aura, as if he wanted to slash them to pieces. You bastards, where did you come from? The powerful magic had already sealed off the entire forest. A preemptive strike was launched by Ixen. One guy who just turned around had his body pierced by the darkness. With a wave of Ixen's hand, everywhere was stained with a foul, bloody color. But it seemed he had completely lost control. By the time Ixen regained his reason, it was too late. All around Ludusa, there was only a pool of blood. The little girl couldn't help but tremble unconsciously. The small, innocent Ludusa was now stained all over. Her eyes gradually welled up with tears. Ixen was stunned by Ludusa's tears. In his mind, he immediately thought of the worst outcome, as expected. The little girl's immature, yet sincere words reappeared. The demonic aura is the night. A place to close your eyes and rest is a night that is warmer than anything else. I want to be close to you, Ixen. With an unwilling expression, Ixen realized it was all a lie. Ixen's body stiffened, drawing negative conclusions on his own. As expected, saying it's okay was a lie. No matter what, he was still just a child. Ixen thought of the obedient image of Ludusa and felt pain. She just pretended not to be afraid, pretended to sympathize. Even if not spoken, every gesture of the little girl was watched by Ixen, pretending to even like that smile. Ludusa's small actions were always remembered by him, as well as the person trailing behind him. Suddenly, the little girl called out, Ixen. He had been immersed in his thoughts, so he was startled, without him noticing when Ludusa had approached him. The little girl, trembling, held on to Ixen, finding it hard to speak, thank. Ludusa raised her head, her face happy as she expressed her gratitude. Thank you. However, Ixen felt nothing from that sincerity. He no longer trusted Ludusa, considering her a liar. In this situation, you're still a swindler full of empty words. A terrifying thought appeared in Ixen's mind. Should I kill her? He used a cold tone to interrogate her while you're trembling in fear like this. Ixen was like someone who had been betrayed. His reason could no longer hold him back. Right now, I feel so filthy that I could do absolutely anything. Seeing Ludusa's body suddenly stiffen, Ixen hastily accused her before anything else. Look, I hit the nail on the head, didn't I? Ludusa furrowed her brows, tears ready to fall again, and confirmed to him, yes. Then the little girl couldn't help but yell out, that's right, I'm so scared, you big meanie. Ixen was also startled by this action. Feeling aggrieved, she used her small fist to reproach him. I was really scared. Why did you only come now? Tears just poured out like a waterfall, unable to be held back anymore. Why? Ixen couldn't figure out the current situation. What is this? Something inside him seemed to shatter. Why does it seem like? Ixen struggled to realize the little girl's innermost feelings, as if she wants to rely on me. A feeling of relief crept all over Ixen's body. Only now did his body act according to his heart's dictates. Well, Ixen slowly lowered himself to kneel before the little girl. He faced Ludisa with a happy thought, acting as if his coming to save her was a matter of course. Without hesitation, the little girl rushed to hug Ixen tightly. Ludisa's tears touched his innermost being, so hot. The little girl burst into tears in Ixen's arms. His stiff hands also gently embraced Ludisa. Ixen had no experience dealing with this issue when a child burst into tears like this. His hand was a bit hesitant and intended to withdraw, but then he decided to return Ludisa's hug. That news quickly reached the ears of the people in the mansion. Wouldn't anyone melt like cotton candy? Being born into a great family meant life was a bit different. It was an unprecedented situation. The direct lineage of Faratin were all born with immense power. Therefore, I didn't need protection for being kidnapped. Here, strict security wasn't highly prioritized, and one could freely roam within the Duke's castle, and Ludisa was the same. Evening gradually fell where Ludisa was. Everyone was in a commotion over the little girl's incident. A kidnapping right inside the Duke's castle? That's impossible. We must first investigate those involved. But everyone is at their respective posts. So Faratin slammed the table in anger. His voice was cold, his aura sinking to a terrifying level. My daughter, even though she was taken right from her own home. Faraton's face was filled with fury as he growled, emphasizing every word. Is she being treated as if it were nothing? Everyone present kept dead silent. The atmosphere was incredibly heavy. Alex also wouldn't easily let this matter go. You ordered them to protect my little sister's safety, but those people couldn't even do it properly. He, like his father, was very resentful, daring to put my sister in danger. What do you people intend to do? The servants also quickly replied to ease the atmosphere. What you two say is not wrong, but it wouldn't be too late to accuse once the culprit is caught. Yes, after investigating the kidnapper, we found that he was a member of a black-clad organization. They had also tried their best to investigate this case. It seems he received a kidnapping request from someone, but they're all dead, so it will take time to track down the culprit. And besides, we can't question the young lady either. Suddenly, Ludisa spoke up, cutting off their words. Why can't you ask me? Everyone was surprised by the little girl's appearance. Both Faratin and Alex were equally astonished. They all turned towards Ludisa in unison. Why, youngest lady? Faratin reached out his arms to embrace the little girl. Lulu, what are you doing here? I told you to get some rest. Ludisa gently reassured him. I've finished resting. I'm feeling well now. She tugged at Faraton's hem, her voice full of determination as she asked, Dad, it would be faster to just ask me. Why don't you ask me? He was just worried about Ludisa's condition, so he didn't push her. Children don't need to remember bad memories. However, the little girl flashed a bright smile and affirmed, but I'm also a Faratin. And above all, Ludisa already knew the truth about the mastermind behind it all. Moreover, it seems I know who the culprit is. The little girl also shared more details with Faratin. Someone told me to go to Ixen's training ground. He immediately wanted to investigate that person. Who was it? Then the little girl pointed her finger in the direction of the suspicious person, and the one pointed out by Ludisa was Deer. Immediately, the whole hall buzzed over that information. Viscount Deer? Isn't the Viscount very fond of the youngest lady? He's the president of the Lulu fan club, after all. But it's true that the way he looks at the young lady is highly suspicious. Suspicious. He stammered, unable to form words. Why, young lady, how could I? Do you know how precious the young lady is to me? However, Ludisa didn't care and coldly interrupted. Stop trying to evoke sympathy, mister. With a serious look, the little girl faced Deer. We just need to confirm this. Then Ludisa turned to confirm with the aide. Mr. Deer said Ixen was at the training ground. Isn't that right, Mr. Aide? He quickly nodded, confirming the fact. Yes, the young master was at the training ground in the afternoon. After that, Ludisa continued to question him. Mr. Deer, since when did you know Ixen was at the training ground? Deer replied to her without delay. At that time, I was on my way to meet you, my lady, so it was probably around 3 o'clock. Ludisa asked another question. How long had Ixen been at the training ground? The pale-faced aide recounted the story. It took less than 10 minutes. He just went there to vent his anger. From these points, the little girl came to a conclusion. So by the time I finished my afternoon tea, Ixen was no longer there. Before she could finish, Deer tremblingly denied it. I didn't know. I thought the young master was still training there. But the little girl frowned, rejecting that idea. Ixen is a fickle person. He doesn't have a fixed routine. The reason Ludisa could be so sure was that she had been observing Ixen very carefully. I am the one who understands him best, because I often follow him. With Ixen's misanthropic nature, very few people can enter the main house. She continued to provide undeniable evidence, so if you regularly went in and out of the main building as usual, you would have run into Ixen. But we went to the East Garden at your suggestion, Viscount Deer, right? Indeed, Deer could only confirm, yes, that's right. The servants immediately began whispering. So does Viscount Deer? I already found him a bit suspicious normally. The smart ones keenly realized what she was implying. If they headed east, the routes wouldn't overlap. Unless Ixen intentionally turned back. The main building, the training ground, the East Garden. The vassals spoke up at the same time, filling in the blanks. They absolutely couldn't have met. Ludus's eyes no longer had their sparkling look, but firmly confirmed everything. That's right, Ixen couldn't have discovered me. This was truly the perfect place to kidnap me. Thus, Deer was surrounded by judgmental words. Did you really lure the young lady? Good heavens. This kidnapper. He subconsciously stepped back, stammering, "Why, young lady, I." Deer bit his lip tightly with difficulty. He shouted, wanting to convince Ludus to trust him. "I'm not the culprit. Please believe me." Deer couldn't control himself, continuously affirming, "I am your loyal subject, loyal only to you." Ludus spoke up, interrupting him, I know. Deer seemed panicked, stiffening at her words. Ludus remained calm because she had Tyrant backing her. Only now did Ludus state her own demand. Now tell me, was her earlier deduction just a hint about who that person was? At this moment, Ludus officially tracked down that mysterious person, the culprit who kidnapped me. But even now, Deer still couldn't guess. Pardon, the culprit? Ludus affirmed to him again, "Speak." She seriously emphasized the information for Deer to think. "Think carefully, Viscount Deer, you definitely know." As for him, he stood frozen, oblivious. Me? But then suddenly, Deer's mind clicked. Could it be? Time rewound to a few hours ago, also in this mansion. Deer held a box of pastries in his hands, his face unable to hide his happiness. Pastries for the young lady. How will she react today? That mysterious person chatted with him. "So you're gonna bring to her room, right? Or somewhere else?" Deer thought the alternative sounded good and hesitated. That's worth considering. That person continued to lure him into the preset trap. Wouldn't it be better to go to a place the young lady has never been before? The young lady likes flowers. Deer, lacking caution, was led by the nose by him. Flowers. She goes to the greenhouse often. She is fascinated by the heating magic at the gazebo in the East Garden. That person smiled with amusement, his words seemingly wanting to help him. "Then I will prepare it." Gradually, that person's silhouette became clearer, and it was a servant in the mansion, Manager Allen. As expected of the Viscount, the young lady will love it. Although he looked harmless, his malicious eyes couldn't hide his great ambition. By the time the story came to light, everyone still hadn't managed to react. Only Tyrant flew into a rage, growling an order, "Drag that bastard here." Alex happily acknowledged Ludus's talent. "I'm impressed. My little sister." His face looked tenderly at his sister. Once again, Alex affectionately praised her. "You're truly very smart." Ludus faced her brother and thought to herself, Alex. She found it puzzling to receive his praise when the truth wasn't yet completely clear. She still wasn't certain who the culprit was, yet he praised her as if he were absolutely sure. The servants quickly apprehended Allen and brought him to the meeting room. Manager Allen has been caught. He still stubbornly struggled and resisted. "Hey, let me go." Allen immediately knelt down, yelling loudly to justify himself. "My lord, I am falsely accused. I only suggested a place for afternoon tea." He tried to regain everyone's trust. I swear that. But before he could finish, there was evidence exposing him. We discovered a request to kidnap the young lady in Allen's room. The others had found related clues. We also found an unidentified communication line. Allen's face turned pale, his mouth continuously denying, "My lord, I was framed." But then suddenly he was stunned and fell silent. Faraton's gaze seemed to want to crush this traitor to death. He showed no mercy, his cold voice ordering, "Lock him in the Briar Tower at once. I will interrogate him myself." Even now, there were still people who couldn't believe this truth. Is it really Manager Allen? "You are truly amazing, young lady." Countless praises and commendations were sent to her. "You must have been so terrified, but you were still able to handle the situation calmly." Suddenly, a joyful cheer echoed in the room. "It's the youngest lady?" That person was none other than Deer, continuing his hysterical excitement. "It is our sweet, adorable, genius youngest lady who trusted this Deer." Faced with this situation, Ludus was equally astounded. Deer paid no mind to the stares of others and kept cheering about what happened earlier. "I was the most suspicious one. I was the one who thought of the gazebo. I was also the one who told her about the training ground." Everyone present continued whispering about this weirdness. "What is that? He's so scary." He finally returned to his usual self. Kids these days. Tears streamed down his face, yet he was so happy. "But the young lady, on the contrary, asked me." Deer's vivid imagination was activated again. He thought of Ludus as an angel vindicating him. Who is the culprit? Deer just kept screaming in the crowded room. "That's right, that proves it." Tyrant, unable to bear this noise, ordered, "Drag him out." Despite being pulled away, Deer's mouth couldn't be shut. "The proof of faith, no. I love the young lady. This person is crazy." Ludisa let out a breath, feeling relieved that her calculations had been correctly directed and were not entirely wrong, because I only speculated based on Deer's intelligence. This was an elaborate plan. All the evidence was unfavorable to Deer. The last person to meet me was Viscount Deer. Whether he succeeded or failed in luring me, he was still a person who couldn't escape suspicion. The fact that Ludisa interrogated him was only to mislead the mastermind. Did those who witnessed me question him think I would use such a shallow method and be done with it? She giggled because she wasn't like Deer. If so, I must have been as foolish as him. But the story wasn't completely over yet. So, since the culprit has been caught, up ahead, Tyrant remained very cautious about this incident. He announced a new rule in a deep voice to everyone. From now on, anyone who dares to be negligent in their guard duties will take responsibility with their death. The servants directly threatened by Tyrant didn't dare speak up. What was bound to come has come. Ludisa understood the cue, spoke up to smooth things over, and defended everyone. Dad, it was because I wandered around freely that this happened. The uncles and sisters didn't do anything wrong. However, when talking to his daughter, Faraton's terrifying demeanor completely vanished. It is only natural for you to roam freely in your home, but they are still needed there to ensure your safety. A smart girl like you understands what I mean, don't you? However, his words did not sit well with Ludisa at all. Damn it, I don't get it if so then. She immediately unleashed her trump card, using her coquettishness to persuade Tyrant. Are you going to scold the uncles and sisters because Lulu wasn't in her room? Lulu was wrong. He startled, hesitatingly rebutting, no. But it was of no use, only making her eyes tear up more. Then Lulu. Ludisa used a handkerchief to wipe away pitiful tears, imagining herself locked in a cage. Scene 1. I'll stay in my room forever. It's all Lulu's fault. Suddenly, Alex spoke up, pleased with that idea. That works too, which made the little girl who was acting stiffen. With a gentle and warm demeanor, he promised Ludisa, my beloved sister, I will bring the whole sky, flowers, and gems into your room. She panicked at Alex's gentleness and attentiveness. Oh, why is this gentle angel acting like this? Ludisa didn't back down, immediately playing a pitiful role, sobbing in response. Scene 2. Thank you, but if so, I'll die early from a lack of exercise, and then have to say goodbye to you and Dad. Both Tyrant and Alex stood motionless at her words. Goodbye. He quickly changed his attitude, dismissing that thought. Come to think of it, there are still many other ways to take responsibility besides death. Alex also chimed in to support Faraton's decision. Yes, I think so too. And then he withdrew his words, giving them a break. I will decide based on your attitudes later. Dismissed. The servants in the household all shared the same thought. Did the young lady just revoke the Duke's intention to punish us? They were even more astounded that Ludisa could calm Tyrant down with just a few words that actually worked. So they unanimously expressed their gratitude to her. We thank you, youngest lady. We love you, young lady. White as milk is the young lady, fulfilling the required quest. The system popped up, updating the rewards. The vassals of the Tyrant family want to thank you. Loyalty is increasing. Reputation is increasing. The Magpie's Revenge quest is completed. Reward, a 5,000 cash draw ticket. Ludisa sighed, feeling much more relieved, secretly exclaiming to herself, losing face is only momentary. Human lives are what is precious. The quest was also safely completed. The robotic voice continued to notify Ludisa, congratulations. Your influence in the family has increased significantly. 8,000 cash has been awarded. She was amazed by the data she received. What? It's not a draw ticket. They're just giving it to me like that. The information panel communicated with Ludisa, surprise privilege for you. Being an influential person has increased. You can withdraw cash up to a maximum of 20,000 cash. A moment later, after everything had been settled smoothly, Ludisa returned to her room. She raised her head, using the system panel, status window. Ludisa examined her quest board. It's still not completed. She took note of the next quest to execute. 3. Must manage the household affairs first. Ludisa secretly cursed Ixon because she couldn't accomplish the task. This means Ixon still hasn't acknowledged me as a family member. That ill-mannered boy, what would it hurt him to just accept it? But recalling the scene of being rescued by him, she was still very grateful. No. Anyway, thank you for saving me. Brushing that aside, Ludisa moved on to testing something else. Well, first, let's try withdrawing cash. She confidently headed towards her next goal, full of energy for the power to attack Ixon. Ludisa placed her faith in the system's welfare benefits, a pure spinning wheel. But looking at where the arrow stopped, Ludisa's eyes widened in surprise. The result this time was really good. She was so stunned that her body also froze. Ludisa stood before the Wheel of Fortune with her body frozen stiff. Quickly, she regained her composure. All right, then commanded the system storage inventory. Ludisa silently searched for helpful items. There are some items I saved up for times like this, right? Then she quickly selected the item that appeared on the system board, storage inventory, lucky potion. The related data were all detailed by the system. Hearing the information related to the item, Ludisa's head spun around. What is this letter from England? It doesn't mean it's a fake, right? But then the information board mentioned the effect of the item as if to reassure Ludisa. Only then did she feel less worried and could comfortably trust it. Scare me to death. Catching her eyes were highly prominent phrases. Luck will increase. Although the duration was limited by the system to 1 hour, for Ludisa, that was more than enough. She reached out her hands to catch the item. Here it is. Now she possessed a small and pretty bottle. Ludisa did not hesitate to drink the liquid in the bottle. Suddenly, her eyes widened in astonishment, brightening up. This taste is... The child's sense of taste indicated this was a delicacy. Mint chocolate. Just like that, Ludisa boldly drank up the liquid in the bottle. Even better. Who hates the taste of mint chocolate? After drinking it, her small body seemed to be infused with power. It feels like I'm brimming with strength. Mint chocolate power. Ludisa, with a demeanor full of confidence, decisively used her ability. Come on, spinning wheel. I will use all the lottery tickets. A series of virtual wheels of fortune appeared in the room, filling everywhere, left and right. She stood before this series of spinning wheels. Afterward, Ludisa continuously received congratulations from the system. She was still a bit bewildered, finding the result hard to believe. But no matter how unbelievable it was, the amount received remained unchanged. Really? Did I really get 20,000 cash? Immediately, Ludisa praised the lucky treasure. This lucky potion is truly top-notch. She continued with her preset plan. Great with this momentum. Ludisa had already set her sights on another item. I'll be able to summon the woman who doesn't want love at the end of her life. The reason she chose it was because of Ixin. I don't know what Ixin is thinking right now. To improve her affinity with him, Ludisa needed the help of this item. I need to check our relationship. In Ixin's private room, he had drifted into sleep. Even though he was asleep, his face did not relax. It seemed Ixin was facing something terrifying. He spoke out. Are you planning to kill me? Alex, who was in Ixin's room, gently retorted. How could I? He handed a glass of water to Ixin while explaining. Even if I killed you like this, I wouldn't be able to prove my capabilities. Here, drink. Alex didn't forget to tease him a bit. You're really clumsy. Although the job was accomplished grandly, Ixin couldn't argue, choosing to ignore it. I don't need your concern. But Alex had no intention of stopping, continuing to lecture him. You were lucky the dark energy didn't explode back then. Otherwise, you'd be dead for sure. Ixin was annoyed by Alex's blunt words. Stop saying those redundant words. I'm not that weak. Actually, Ixin had promised himself, and I cannot let that happen. He drank the water while sinking into deep thought. Ludisa's image clearly appeared again, because if not, both that kid and I would have died right then. Then Alex sighed, bringing up the little girl. Right? I heard Ludisa went looking for you, but couldn't find you. That kid must be very sad. He grew irritable, throwing the glass of water away and chasing him off. Get lost. Alex still wanted to tease his younger brother a bit more. How interesting. For a kid like you to decide to open your heart. Ixin stubbornly denied what he just said. I did not. Then suddenly, Alex quickly touched his body. All right then. In an instant, Ixin's magic covered the whole room. He also felt this change. His depleted magical energy was being replenished. Ixin confusingly asked Alex, why are you helping me recover? He slowly withdrew his hand. Alex smiled brightly and replied, as if it were obvious. Well, because you're my lovely little brother, of course I have to help. However, he wasn't used to this behavior and muttered, nonsense. After saying that, Alex turned around and stepped out of Ixin's room. Don't lock the door, just because you don't want others to see your weak side. Before closing the door completely, he didn't forget to remind him, Ludisa misses you a lot. Ixin was sulking, but couldn't do anything to Alex. This guy, above all, he had indeed received help from Alex. Despite being annoyed, thanks to him, he had fully recovered. And then, the words he said before leaving echoed in his mind. Ludisa misses you a lot. Ixin was stunned when he heard Alex emphasize her. He put his feet down on the floor, no longer wanting sleep. Ixin threw open the curtains to let the light in. From above, he saw Ludisa's silhouette. In his heart, Ixin secretly felt happy and at ease. Finding that little cotton ball was so easy. As usual, he anticipated her next move, as every time that little girl went anywhere, she would draw attention. True to his prediction, the little girl continuously waved at Ixin. Seeing this, he muttered to himself, so arrogant. Ixin silently told himself that when he meets Ludisa, he must say something. That brat misses me, so we will meet. The little girl ran over with a cheerful face, holding brightly colored flowers in her hands. He also felt Ludisa's desire. Obviously, the kid thought so. Ixin leisurely walked closer to where the little girl was. However, his body unconsciously stopped as terrifying scenes rushed back into Ixin's mind. She saw me at that time. Is she afraid of me? When the darkness is enough to drive people crazy. Then, his mood quickly changed drastically. I feel annoyed just thinking about that weak little cotton ball. Ludisa tilted her head and called his name, Ixin. Ixin was confused by his own train of thought. What am I thinking? He directed his power towards Ludisa as if to reassure himself. What am I afraid of? Ixin returned to his former self, indifferent to others. The dark magic power headed toward the little girl. So what if that brat is afraid of dark energy? Quickly, it touched Ludus's body, and then he confidently affirmed to himself, "That's right, I don't care if the brat bleeds or dies." But a sound interrupted his train of thought. The beautiful flowers in Ludus's hands were stained red. The little girl was also shocked to find herself bleeding, and Ixen was equally surprised by the sight. The servants witnessing the scene were startled and screamed in panic. "Young lady." Ludus's body became unsteady, and she slowly collapsed. Her eyes still intently followed Ixen, her mind solely focused on reassuring him. Don't worry, it doesn't hurt." Because Ludusa had anticipated this beforehand, but she couldn't resist, and her eyes tightly shut. This was Ludusa's choice in the past. It was because of her ability. Pausing for a moment, time seemed to freeze along with the little girl's thoughts. Ludusa wanted to explain the reason she fell into this state. "I need to talk about the ability I chose. This is what I chose. It is an ability that comes with a condition, and the system had also warned Ludusa. If you don't cure this child, you'll all die. Bleeding like this proves that I am getting better. From the aforementioned story, this strange ability was created. This is the ability of the wicked woman with a terminal illness. Her curse will gradually disappear if she receives more love from the people around her. This is a passive ability, and the possessor cannot control it. Although she didn't entirely want to choose it, Ludusa really needed it. This is not the ability I truly wanted, but I can read relationships, so I chose it." The system panel appeared, providing full information about that ability. Effect of the ability. The more you are loved, the more negative energy will escape your body and cause you to bleed. 0/3. When she first skimmed through it, Ludusa found it hard to accept, although it took me a long time to accept this truth. The little girl rolled on the ground, constantly complaining, "What is this? You guys sure love lucky potions. Huh? You damn demons. Are you trying to raise my blood pressure?" The system also knew to offer a few comforting words to Ludusa. "Don't worry, reader. It's not really a terminal illness. Please stay healthy, my reader." But how could the little girl adapt immediately? What is wrong with my heart? And to continue with the current situation. Anyway, returning to the present, Ludus's body coughed up blood due to the side effect. So the good news is, after coming into contact with Ixen's energy, I coughed up blood. Ixen panicked, desperately calling the little girl, "Hey kid." But Ludusa was very happy because being like this meant his affection had increased. It means I'm being loved. This only benefited the little girl because everything seemed to improve entirely, and she even received a reward. My immune system has leveled up, and my fatigue is also completely relieved. The quest path of a true Reader 1 had been completed, and a cash reward of 1,000 was sent. Ludusa raised her tiny hand to reassure him. Ixen, despite the difficulty, she still tried to finish her sentence. "Don't worry, I'm fine." Then, slowly, Ludus's eyes closed tightly. Her body became powerless, her hand dropping straight to the ground. Ixen couldn't believe his eyes, unable to react in time. He helplessly called out Ludus's name, "Ludusa." Ixen shouted loudly, trying to get her to open her eyes. "Wake up, Ludusa." Even with her eyes closed, Ludusa predicted what would happen. He'll be affected and then cry. Gradually, she no longer felt pain. Instead, a wave of sleepiness rushed in. The pain is gradually disappearing. I guess not. It's embarrassing, but I'm so sleepy. Time passed quickly. Faratin sat silently guarding by the little girl's bed. He sat in contemplation, countless thoughts piling up on one another. Faraton's expression was terrible, capable of scaring anyone who faced him. He recalled the diagnosis of the doctors. "My lord, according to the test results, the young lady is completely healthy. Even if she doesn't have magic, she is still a member of the Faratin family. I just want to live. Please forgive me." Ludusa lay on the bed, as if asleep, but still fully conscious. I think I released the negative energy subconsciously. Disordered breathing is a test that requires extreme concentration, even for aura users. I think maybe because my body is still small, I feel tired. The doctors had accurately predicted her condition. If she continues like this, she will wake up safely, my lord. Faratin sadly blamed himself, muttering alone. Why? There isn't a day where you don't get hurt. First being kidnapped, and now coughing up blood. He remembered the first day he met Ludusa. Not only that, when she returned, she was trembling and looked incredibly pale. At that time, Faratin simply thought the problem was easy to solve. I thought giving her good food and nice clothes would solve everything. However, Ludusa didn't need what he had given. She is different. She desires many things, but they are too difficult to come true. Faratin gently stroked his daughter's pink hair, Ludusa Faratin. Now, he was a true father. Just calling her name made him happy. Just calling that name makes me feel like I'm sinking into sweet honey. He gently and affectionately called Ludusa softly my daughter. Faraton's eyes couldn't hide his deep sorrow. Living in a deceitful world, he no longer believed in sincerity. I couldn't believe a child like you could exist. And now, Faratin was ready to do anything for her. I could give up my life for you. Ixen sat gloomily outside Ludusa's room. Hearing a noise, he immediately looked up. Ixen quickly ran towards Faratin. "Father, the kid, she..." He looked at Ixen with a strict, emotionless face. He couldn't help but tremble all over. Ixen stuttered, confessing his guilt to Faratin. "It's all my fault. I used my power in front of her, so..." Driven by guilt, he could hardly speak. Even if not attacked, my energy was truly too much for her. I knew it, but I did it anyway. Faratin was surprised to see another side of his son. The boy looked like a lost child. I've never seen him like this before. He didn't reprimand him, but gently asked Ixen, "Do you remember why you took Lytissa somewhere else?" Faced with that question, he froze. Then Ixen bowed his head, his voice full of self-blame as he answered him. It was to protect her from the dark energy. Faratin interrupted him. "Unlike that time, we are currently at the estate." He continued in a stern tone to reassure Ixen, to rid his son of guilt, as long as I am here, that energy cannot harm her. But he was still very scared and couldn't stop blaming himself, but I even shielded her. But suddenly, Ixen noticed something unusual. It was intentional. He sharply realized that Faratin was deliberately not interfering. A test to see if you could withstand this energy, okay? A test. A test. I want to trust. He was testing to see how Ixen would act. That child, please trust me. And as predicted, Ixen gradually changed himself. I want to believe in her and love her. However, alongside that, an invisible fear still existed within him. I'm a coward. I am afraid that if I love her, I will get hurt. And then, unconsciously, Ixen had acted wrongly towards Lytissa. Hating to get hurt, I ended up hurting her. Only now did he honestly look into his own heart. Actually, I had gradually grown fond of her a long time ago. At this moment, Ixen truly looked like a child with tears welling up in his eyes. Faratin remained silent, quietly observing his son. He walked past Ixen and gave him a task. Ixen, protect Lytissa. Hearing that, he couldn't help but be startled in astonishment. Ixen immediately turned around and asked, "Is that okay?" But then he immediately denied it, lacking the confidence to do it. "No, I can't. If I stay by her side, things will only get worse." Faratin sternly cut him off. What an arrogant statement. He bluntly pointed out to his son, "Do you think I can't protect my daughter, even if you use all your strength?" Ixen understood his father's meaning and instantly regained his spirit. "No, that's not what I meant." Then he quickly stood in front of Lytissa's room. Ixen was a bit tense as he prepared to face the little girl. He squeezed his eyes shut to calm himself down, his hand tightly gripping the door handle. Faratin just stood outside watching. Ixen couldn't understand his own emotions. This feeling is so strange. He simply turned around quietly, leaving with peace of mind. Ixen approached his sister's bed, a strange feeling spreading all over his body. "This is the first time I've felt like this." Suddenly, his body stiffened, his face showing a mix of astonishment. Ixen was calm, but couldn't hide the worry on his face as he wanted to reach out and touch Lytissa's forehead. Suddenly, he froze stiff with his mouth wide open as if deeply surprised. While Lytissa was sound asleep, dreaming beautiful dreams, a hand silently cupped her tiny face. Ixen leaned over, completely absorbed in watching Lytissa, and said, "Hey." He whispered softly to her, "If you dare to die, I will kill you with my own hands." In a cozy space of a room, Ixen continued to monologue, "No, I won't kill you. Open your eyes. I was wrong." He clenched his fists, stuttering wordlessly, "I also want to be closer to you. The pain will disappear. The organs have grown stronger." Although fast asleep, deep down, Lytissa could still sense everything around her. "So noisy. Give me sticks and carrots." The amount of visceral fat has decreased. Lytissa suddenly woke up, opened her big, clear, round eyes, and felt, "Isn't it great like this?" The little girl turned to one side and was startled by Ixen's figure. Lytissa hesitantly called his name, Ixen. Ixen asked her coldly, pretending to be sulky, "What?" Lytissa looked at him and wondered, "Why is he here?" "All right, I fainted." The little girl innocently asked Ixen, "Ixen, are you taking care of me?" While caring for her attentively, he grumbled, "It's just because you are too weak." Lytissa clutched the blanket tightly and thought that she didn't have a fever. The little girl kept holding the blanket tightly and felt to herself, "But my body feels so hot." Lytissa blushed, covering her mouth with the blanket, her clear eyes looking as if she felt embarrassed. Seeing his caring gestures, the little girl secretly thought, "I thought he was a spoiled brat." Ixen. Lytissa cared about Ixen very much, but she didn't dare to say it directly, only keeping it in her heart. "I don't know how you've lived all this time, but I know something has hurt you." She then mustered the courage to whisper to him, "Ixen, I was alone for a very long time, so I was once desperate for someone." Recalling the previous time, she had once wished, "I had wished there would be someone by my side. That was what I prayed for every day. Please give me a family." Ixen pursed his lips and sat quietly, listening to Lytissa's confession. "I thought it was simply because I was too lonely, but no." After talking for a while, the little girl slowly sat up with the aura of a princess. Lytissa hugged her chest, overflowing with love, thinking, being together, seeing each other every day will make me stronger. That will bring warmth and happiness. Ixen also needed someone like that, someone by his side, someone to lean on. The little girl continued, "So Ixen." Ixen asked back nonchalantly, What is it?" His eyes widened in surprise, freezing stiff when he heard this sentence, "I need you by my side." Ixen stared at her wide-eyed, showing hesitation, not knowing what to do. Lytissa still said to him with full determination, "Can you be my big brother?" Ixen still couldn't process it, constantly surprised by the little girl. With vacant eyes and an extremely confused mind, he said, "You are a weakling." Hearing this, Lytissa froze, sitting and looking at him without saying a word. Ixen nervously scratched his neck and hesitated. "Because you are so weak, therefore." The little girl's eyes sparkled more when she heard him declare, "From now on, I will protect you." Then Ixen Ixin placed his hand on Ludus's hand, accepting her request. Holding the little girl's hand with one hand and awkwardly scratching his neck with the other, he said, "Because I am your big brother." The system sent a new notification. Quest, Dominate the Family 1 has been completed. The reward will be a lottery ticket and 3,000 cash. Target Ixin has stabilized his mental state. The player's influence on Ixin is absolute. The player has a powerful influence on one of the people who can change the future. Ludus's innocent eyes were filled with hope above all. Ixin had recognized her as a member of the family. The system sent another message. "Congratulations, you can now upgrade your features." Seeing this, the little girl was extremely happy and smiled brightly. "We have finally truly become family." Taking advantage of the situation, Ludusa invited him. "Ixin, let's sleep together." Hearing that, Ixin was both helpless and embarrassed. "What? Why should I sleep with you?" The little girl began to push forward, ordering Ixin. A big brother has a duty to lull his little sister to sleep. Hearing this, he felt as if struck by lightning. In the end, he had to helplessly sleep next to her, while she was very excited. "Seems like you can't do it, huh? After all, you were just." Ludusa pushed her luck. "Ixin, pat my head." Ixin, with an awkward expression, reluctantly reached out and did as the little girl asked. Being patted on the head, Ludusa felt at ease, smiling as she drifted to sleep. With her eyes closed, she thought to herself, "Is he really going to do it?" Ludusa opened her eyes and cheerfully played a trick. "Then now, roll forward, do a backflip, and clap your hands 3 times in the air." Ixin was tormented by the little girl until he felt helpless. "Do you want to die?" Seeing this, Ludusa inwardly evaluated. He didn't fall for it. She obediently spared Ixin's life. "Good night, brother Ixin." He rested his head on his hand, tossing and turning deep in thought. Then Ixin also closed his eyes, preparing to sleep with a smile on his lips. In their deep sleep, they silently wished each other, "Good night, see you tomorrow." In a bright space, Ludusa was walking around the campus to take a stroll. She walked while glancing around and then looked bewildered. "Where is this? Is it a dream?" While she was bewildered, she was attracted by a voice. "Please come inside." A slowly landed and smiled, saying, "That's right, the one chosen by, I have been waiting for you." Ludusa immediately grabbed his collar. "There you are." Panicked, not understanding what was happening. "Huh?" The little girl fiercely yelled at him without missing a beat. "You scammer, why are you pretending to be a god?" Ludusa grabbed his collar and continuously scolded. "Do you know how much I had to suffer because of you?" Panicked and reassured her. "Wait, I followed the contract." His eyes showed innocence as he explained to Ludusa, "I have given you everything, a handsome brother, and even abilities." The little girl looked blank for a moment and then thought, "That's right, isn't it?" Hearing that, he was also dumbfounded, right? Suddenly, Ludusa turned back, grabbed A's collar, shook it continuously, and lectured, "Did you think I was going to say that?" Feeling wronged with his ruffled fur, he softly complained, "You are truly wicked. I saw everything, you know? You gave me 0 points, while giving the handsome guy a full 10 points. Ludusa imposingly crossed her arms and spread her legs, claiming, "Being handsome is a natural perk. What else? Satisfaction goes up too. If you want to say something, at least be handsome." Made the world spin and declared, terrifying the little girl, "Just wait, when I get my body back, you will." He regained his composure and cheerfully said, "I haven't even mentioned the main issue yet. Time's up, there's no other way." Ludusa was startled, staring at him with her mouth wide open, and asked, smiled a bizarre smile, and said a meaningful sentence, "I know you will do well. Wake up." Then, Ludusa also opened her sparkling eyes, waking up from her dream. Something suddenly appeared from the light ahead. Ludusa sat on the bed. She was surprised to find herself surrounded by beautiful flowers. Ludusa sat up straight, bewildered. Am I dreaming? The maid Anna, holding a bouquet of flowers, happily said, "Are you awake, my lady?" Sir Ixin left the flowers and went ahead. Ludusa was surprised. What did you just say?" The little girl widened her eyes at the bouquet, feeling happy inside. "Ixin gave me flowers? I'm still dreaming, right? Ixin gave me flowers?" Anna spoke with an excited tone. "Don't these flowers represent their owner? He left the flowers while you were still sleeping, my lady." The purple-haired maid also chimed in. "If we hadn't come in, he probably would have stayed here until you woke up. He didn't want anyone to see him sleeping." Ludusa forced a smile. "No way, I guess he just woke up and left." The little girl looked down affectionately at the bouquet. "But Ixin gave me this." Ludusa said in a shy tone, "Could you all put them in a vase for me?" Anna smiled happily, yes. At the mansion, in a room with the door slightly ajar, the vassals began to discuss animatedly. Since the youngest lady arrived, the atmosphere in the Duke's territory has completely changed, especially the Duke. One person covered his mouth and said, to the point where he could utter, "My heart. I mean, that kind of feeling." Another person wondered, "Feeling? What feeling?" Someone asked loudly, "Have any of you heard about this?" The long-haired man sitting next to him patted his head tiredly. "I envy those who still don't know about it." Hearing that, another person thought to himself, "What? Someone we can't name?" The man coughed softly to remind them. "Anyway, it is very important to remember that the Duke deeply cares for the youngest lady." The long-haired man calmly said, "That's just because the lady inherited the fortune from Marquis Terenka." Another person sighed and said, "However, the fact that the lady brought a magic stone completely drained of mana here proves that she is just a child. However, she has received all the attention. The important thing is that a 4-year-old child could do this, right? She also hasn't taken any air classes. That is the main factor. I heard a few people have applied for the position of the lady's assistant. They probed, could it be Viscount Deer? The others defended Deer. Isn't Deer a genius among geniuses, even though his thinking is a bit unconventional? He earned the title of Viscount through his own abilities. If that's not called a genius, then what is? Another gentle reminder, he is not normal. As the words ended, the atmosphere became strangely quiet. A man intertwined his fingers, his voice slightly hesitant. I had thought that the lady lacking magical energy wouldn't have much impact on the succession, but things are really strange. They discussed, to avoid future troubles, we need to pay close attention to the root of the problem. Saying so, a person turned his head to look. He asked the man sitting at the head of the banquet table, "Don't you think so, sir?" Back in Ludus's room, her tone was determined. Good. Ludusa placed her hand on the red book. Then she shouted, "Upgrade." A blinding but very beautiful light emitted from the book. The system popped up, verifying identity. Confirmed A's messenger. Congratulations, some restricted functions will be unlocked. The communication channel with A has been expanded. The number of available abilities has been increased to 2. Feature, to-do list has been activated. You can review the currently available novels at any time. Ludusa smiled radiantly. That means I can download the old books without using money anymore, right? She thought to herself. Then I can possess new abilities in this transparent crystal. The system reminded her, "Dear reader, it is no coincidence that you came to this world." Ludusa's face darkened with disdain. Nonsense. Of course it's not a coincidence. I was chosen because I am the one whose comment received the most recommendations. Suddenly, she paused. The system displayed information. Then please prepare. When the light loses its color and darkness invades the world. Ludusa thought to herself, is darkness coming? Will the world be destroyed? The system repeated, please prepare for a harsh winter. Ludusa pondered, will dragons and demons launch an attack like in those romance novels? Don't tell me, I'll have to become a warrior. Thinking this, she smiled bitterly, haha. The mechanical voice of the system rang out again. Your family and loved ones will all end their lives before the cold winter. Ludusa's pupils suddenly became lifeless. She was secretly panicked, my loved ones? The system warmly comforted, now you're no longer alone. When you are determined to reach out your hand, those who join you will be your strength. Ludusa clutched the dress at her chest. She realized, that's right, I am no longer alone, because now I have people I love. The system reassured her, do not be afraid, because you are a reader, you can do it. Ludusa's eyes quickly became resolute. What I can do. The world has tormented me enough in my past life. I don't like that. I won't give in to the prearranged tragedies. If so, I need strength. Ludusa raised her hand high with her power. The little girl shouted at the system, the requests, I accept them all. Ludusa thought to herself, I will accept all unchecked requests to grow stronger. The system continuously announced, you have accepted the request. You have accepted the request. You have accepted the request. Ludusa told herself, I don't need to think about how to succeed. The system still popped up, you have accepted the request. You have accepted the request. She silently cheered herself on. I won't abandon the tough requests, even if there's no penalty for refusing. I will decide the direction of my own life. Ludusa raised her arm high as if agreeing to all the lines of text. You have accepted the request. You have accepted the request. You have accepted the request. The little girl was secretly determined. Now is the time to dictate my own life. Suddenly, the system chimed. A new request has been sent. Ludusa froze. A new request? The system displayed information. Great strength comes from ordinary things. Nothing can make a person stronger than maintaining their daily life and feeling happy. You're still just a child. Always stay joyful. Kiss Duke Faraton on the cheek. Receive a hug from Ixen. Eat a delicious meal with Alex. Reward, 1,000 cash withdrawal tickets. Ludusa held back her laughter, mischievously thinking, what a devious trick preparing all these missions. She thought to herself, next time we meet, I have to give him a startle. On the outside, Ludusa's face was flushed. I don't have any other choice anyway. In a noisy room from earlier, someone announced, the Duke is entering. Everyone stood up respectfully. The blue-haired and pink-haired duo were stunned. Is that the youngest lady? I mean, he should have brought me to the study, but bringing me all the way to the meeting room like this is a bit. Suddenly, someone raised a hand to express an opinion. That person spoke up, please wait, your grace. Duke Faraton glanced at him. Winshan spoke with a sarcastic tone. This is the monthly meeting, not just any random meeting. The lady is still too young, and she hasn't done anything yet. She is also involved in the affairs of Gland, so letting her participate is a bit. I think we shouldn't. Duke Faraton's tone was icy. Your mouth stinks. His eyes glared sharply at him. Duke Faraton hugged his daughter in his arms and mocked him. Haven't you brushed your teeth? Everyone was momentarily stunned. Winshan turned pale. Brush. The people around sweated profusely to teeth. Duke Faraton carried his daughter in his arms, coldly looking down at the crowd. Suddenly, a burst of laughter rang out. Ixen laughed uproariously. Viscount Winshan. He wiped the tears from the corner of his eyes, his tone sarcastic. You really should brush your teeth more carefully. Winshan was embarrassed, and the faces of those around turned red from holding back their laughter, sir. The people around began to whisper to each other, "Hey, I didn't expect Sir Ixen to attend a meeting." Agreed. It's been a long time since we saw him in a meeting like this. It seems like a strange wind is sweeping through this territory of Duke Faratin. Duke Faratin announced with a decisive tone, "Therefore, I will officially plan to establish an assistant team for Ludisa." Alan was quick-mouthed to object, "Your Grace, isn't this too fast? Unlike the young masters, she is just an ordinary child." Winchan spoke with a dismissive tone. "In what country can an ordinary child expose the scam of a marquis and then receive compensation?" Another person countered, "She protected the honor of Faratin that was almost ruined in that scam." They started arguing back and forth. But Faratin's excellence must be based on magical ability. Deer shouted, "What? Do you mean the lady is not excellent?" Another person calmed him down. "Viscount Deer, please calm down." Ludisa felt secretly puzzled. This is too weird. The elders are all silent after hearing what Father said. Aren't they the ones who should stand up and fiercely oppose it? She calculated. Could it be they are evaluating whether I deserve to be appointed as the heir to eliminate me for not having magic? The long-haired man spoke up. "I do not know whether the lady can take responsibility for the affairs of the family." Duke Faraton's tone was calm. "My daughter is the one who pointed out the traitor." Ludisa recalled Duke Faraton's words. That is enough to prove her ability. The little girl was secretly panicked. What if Father has set the price? If so, the content of the test is... Ludisa's eyes widened. Here, the system popped up information again. The evil bird's revenge. Former manager Alan, the true culprit of the kidnapping, confessed everything was instigated by Tyrant. However, there is still something wrong. That is Faratin. Why did no one notice? Please find out those who participated. Dear reader, hint, now you are not alone. Ludisa thought to herself, from the first time I saw the request, I felt a bit strange. The existence of the traitor who conspired with my uncle. Did Father really know nothing? The little girl looked up at Duke Faratin, my handsome father, thinking that. Ludisa turned her face away and denied it herself. No, Father definitely knew. Her expression was resolute. It's just that Father trusted and entrusted it to me. And this too. The system popped up a panel again. Shadow/1. The time spent at Marquis Tarinka's place was 3 years. Would Duke Faratin not monitor his daughter? There is only one reason. There's a spy inside. Let's take down that traitor. Ludisa was deep in thought. Then what I need to do is find the spy and prove my ability. I have to pass this silent test to form my own advisory council. She widened her eyes at Duke Faratin. Now I understand why Father brought me here. Duke Faraton felt her gaze and looked back. Ludisa smiled with satisfaction. Father believed I would realize this hidden meaning, right? This is the first time I've been expected so much. Ludisa whispered softly into his ear, "Father, thank you for trusting me." The little girl was secretly determined. I must show Father that he trusted the right person. Meanwhile, the vassals, all of them were swayed by the scene just now. Ludisa looked on in astonishment. Did the Duke just smile after being kissed? A while later, everyone dispersed. Ludisa stepped out of the room. She thought to herself, the meeting is over. Should I finish those missions right away? The system popped up the missions again. Ludisa smiled smugly. Oh my, too easy. She called out in her sweet voice, "Brother Alex." Ludisa trotted over, "Eat with me. Let's eat jelly candies with Sola." Suddenly, the little girl stopped, her expression gradually becoming unnatural. "Eat something warm." There was an indescribable distance in the atmosphere between Ludisa and Alex. In an instant, Alex changed his attitude. He knelt down, his face bright. "Then let's eat." Ludisa quickly waved her hands. "If you are busy, it's okay." She thought to herself, did I see it wrong? Alex gently tapped the tip of her nose, speaking affectionately. What could be more important than having tea with my little sister? Ludisa lightly touched the tip of her nose. She froze for a few seconds, then quickly burst into a bright smile again. "That's wonderful." Ludisa helplessly slapped her forehead. Great. Intricately carved gates, flowers and extravagant fountains. The little girl exclaimed, "Everything is great." Ludisa looked at Ixen, and she screamed, "Why is Ixen here?" Ixen sighed, "What? I thought you would be happy that I came." "Cotton candy." Her inner self screamed, "Take a seat, guys. I'm afraid you two will jump at each other's throats again, which would be the death of me." The little girl cast a wary glance at the two people sitting in front of her, but Ixen and Alex looked at Ludisa with an affectionate smile, and Ludisa smiled back in satisfaction. Both of them were as beautiful as flowers. It was such a feast for the eyes. Alex spoke gently. "Sister, you look happy. Your cheeks are as red as bread." Ludisa was startled. She asked shyly, "Really?" Alex poked her cheek, but his pampering tone gave Ixen the chills, and he blurted out, "You look sweeter and softer than bread." Ludisa looked at him, smiling gently, but feeling flustered inside. The little girl looked at Alex with sparkling eyes. He really is an angel, saying such things without feeling embarrassed at all. Ludisa covered her mouth and whispered, "Alex, just grow up being like this, okay?" Ixen wiped the tea from his mouth, his tone sarcastic. If this guy grows up like this, he'll become a monster. Ludisa gently reminded him, "Ixen, as for you, you should learn to speak more sweetly." Ixen Ixon got angry and yelled, "You sickly little brat." The little girl didn't hold back and retorted, "So what?" Alex spoke softly, "Lulu, I have a question." He wondered, "Why are you so interested in the mana stone mining business?" Alex's eyes suddenly turned sharp and cold. "You know very well that they are just empty stones." Lydia seemed to sense something unusual from Ixon, and she widened her eyes in astonishment. Lydia thought to herself, "This is like the request. This won't hinder me." Lydia answered innocently, "Because it's interesting. Everyone says empty mana stones are useless. But what if I can use them? Wouldn't that be a success? That way, I'll make a lot of money." Alex seemed to understand something, replying with a sinister face, "I see." He smiled craftily. How bold. Lydia panicked because the atmosphere around Alex reminded her of the past. Not again, this uncomfortable feeling. The little girl tried to stay calm and looked at Alex. Alex was smiling sweetly. She told herself inwardly, ever since the first time we met until now. At this moment, Alex's fair hand gently picked up a cookie, and he offered the piece to Lydia. "He always takes care of me. Alex is a sweet person." She hesitated, wondering, holding the cookie he just gave her. "Brother Alex, you're my family, right? You're my older brother, after all." Alex's eyes showed surprise. Then he quickly smiled and replied, "Why would you ask such an obvious thing?" Lydia panicked, questioning herself, but why? The little girl asked Alex again, "Really?" She looked back at the system with doubt. "Why hasn't the request disappeared?" Alex smiled, replying to the little girl in a matter-of-fact tone, "Of course, my dear little sister." Lydia looked at the system in astonishment. The request was still not completed. The atmosphere became scary. Alex looked at the little girl with a questioning tone. "Why ask that all of a sudden, my adorable little sister?" The little girl was terrified, feeling a chill down her spine after that answer. Ixon stood up, slammed his hand on the table, smirked coldly, and said in a probing tone, "Your acting skills are getting better and better, aren't they?" Ixon's tone was sarcastic, his eyes radiating utter disgust. "Why don't you take off that disgusting mask now? To you, being family means killing each other, right?" Alex maintained his calm eyes. Lydia exclaimed in confusion, "Ixon." Ixon questioned, "I never understood why you helped me, but now I do. You knew there was someone hiding in the Earth Manor that day." Alex rested his chin on his hand, looking at Ixon with surprise. "Since when did you become so smart?" Lydia looked surprised at the completed system. She wondered her mind, was Alex involved in that kidnapping incident? The whole castle seemed to radiate a dangerous dark aura. Ixon replied to Alex with a dark face, "It's too obvious. You've always boasted about your strength throughout the Duke's estate. There's no way you wouldn't have noticed someone inside." He lowered his voice. "Cotton Ball, I'm saying this because you're too easygoing. This guy is a Faratan." Ixon's tone was cold. Feratons are very cruel and aggressive. He added, "To this guy, anyone besides himself is an enemy." Ixon's arm shielded and protected Lydia. The little girl looked at Ixon's back, feeling protected. Lydia then hugged Ixon's arm. Then Alex sighed. She questioned Alex, "Did you really know I was about to be kidnapped back then?" Alex turned his face away, offering a malicious smile about that. A negative 666 suddenly appeared above Alex's head. He said calmly, "I just wanted to play the role of a good older brother." Lydia wondered, where is the difficulty level? Looking above Alex's head, the little girl was startled and panicked. Minus 666? The difficulty is minus 666? He slowly poured tea, his tone gentle. "I knew exactly what happened that day." Alex maintained his composure. "It's true that I ignored the situation." Lydia snapped, "Why? Why did you do that?" The little girl asked again, trembling, "How? How could you do that?" Alex's face still bore a slight smile on his lips like a devil. Lydia yelled, "I gave you my heart and soul, Alex." At this moment, Alex stopped. The little girl continued scolding. "After I raised you." Alex replied nonchalantly, "No, you didn't do any of that." Lydia's face darkened. She flared up and screamed. Then minus 666. What kind of devilish number is that? Am I the devil or something? Do you hate me that much? You lied to me. Ixon turned sharply to look at Alex, who was still smiling hypocritically. He cursed inwardly. This piece of trash. Lydia was extremely furious. "You're someone who only knows how to make people despair, Alex." Alex remained calm, as ever, flashing a bright smile. "Thank you." Lydia made a fuss. "That's not a compliment. You jerk." The little girl couldn't hold back anymore and yelled loudly, "You're the old fox who will destroy this empire. You talented pretty boy." Ixon immediately hugged the little girl to calm her down. "Calm down." That was an insult to him. Hearing his words, Lydia immediately stopped what she was doing and stared at Alex. She lowered her voice and asked, "You've hated me from start." He reached out to gently stroke the rim of the teacup and answered indifferently, "That's right." The little girl, unwilling to give up, continued to ask why. "I didn't do anything." Lydia looked down and said in a low voice, "Is it because I don't have magic? Or is it tears were welling up in her eyes by now? Could it be that you think I'm not father's biological daughter, that I'm an illegitimate child from the outside?" Alex asked in a cold voice, "What are you talking about?" His brows slightly furrowed as he stared intently at Lydia. He answered coldly, "I hate you because you carry the Faratan bloodline." The little girl froze. He looked straight at Ludisa and said, siblings are rivals. Alex then explained, because only one person can become the head of the Faratin family. The little girl widened her eyes at Alex. Does he hate me because I'm his family? Ludisa immediately realized the implication in his words. It means he acknowledges me as a Faratin. She thought to herself, Alex is affirming that I have the potential to become the head of the Faratons, despite the doubts about me not having magic. She recalled the first time she met Alex. To him, I'm not a useless thing. Ludisa thought he considers me a rival standing at the same starting line ever since the first time we met. The little girl then voiced her thoughts. You hate me because we are enemies? Right after that, she broke free from Ixen's arms and walked towards Alex. Ludisa walked right next to him and asked softly, then, what if I don't care about the position of the Faratin family head? Her eyes widened as she looked at Alex. Would you still consider me an enemy? Alex couldn't hide his astonishment. Seeing his expression, Ludisa asked, don't you like hearing me say that? He seemed to be in disbelief, looking blankly at Ludisa. Seeing his expression, the little girl broke into a bright smile. Full of lively energy, she happily teased him. Getting back at you feels so refreshing, Alex. Are you annoyed? Do you want to hear your rival drop out of the game? Ludisa took a step forward and continued to ask, do you know why? She pointed her finger at him, acting mysteriously, and answered, it's because brother Alex is starting to like me. After saying this, she thought to herself, even though our relationship is only at minus 666, oh well, whatever. Alex looked at the little girl, rambling on, staying completely silent. Ixen, standing nearby, was also stunned. Before anyone could say a word, Ludisa continued, I finally understand. The little girl said cheerfully, I will accept this hostility. He looked at the little girl with immense admiration. So cool. Ludisa acted all badass and turned her back to them, constantly praising herself inwardly. Great, I didn't even cry. Perfect. But a second later, she suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, shocking Ixen, who shouted her name, Ludisa. Ludisa braced her hands on the floor, feeling a bit panicked inside. No, why is my ability activating out of nowhere? My hands and feet are freezing, so healing is needed. Activation begins. The little girl turned around to look at them. Ixen is worried again. She told herself inwardly, the tension is fading. Behind her, Ixen called out her name in extreme worry. Ludisa. Before Ludisa lost consciousness, she managed to catch a glimpse of the point bar above Alex's head. Oh, favorability points. Seeing that the little girl had fainted, Ixen anxiously shouted her name. Ludisa. He angrily turned back and questioned, what are you doing to a kid who just fainted? Alex stood motionless by the tea table, looking towards them. Ixen carried the little girl on his back, feeling quite surprised inside. What's this? He glanced at Alex, thinking to himself, he's the type to say whatever he wants. I wonder if he was affected by my words just now. Ixen recalled Alex's frightened face and felt somewhat surprised. It's the first time I've seen him have such an expression. A few hours later, Ludisa woke up. Lying on the bed, she thought, I wanted to leave in a cool way, but then my ability suddenly activated. Meanwhile, she remembered her quests. Kissing the Duke's cheek, eating delicious food with Alex, letting Ixen carry me. I guess by fainting, the requirements have been fulfilled. This kid, Ixen. Suddenly, her eyes drifted to the person standing next to her. Huh, Alex? Alex stood beside her with his arms crossed, shooting her a cold look. Minus 582. He immediately mocked. You're truly as weak as a snail. Ludisa thought, actually, I'm getting stronger, you know. The little girl then sat up, all right. Alex was surprised to see her sit up. Why are you sitting up? The little girl answered casually, I want to get my things. He asked in astonishment, even after coughing up blood? Ludisa replied softly, yeah. The little girl pursed her lips slightly, thinking, I don't want to see Alex's face right now. If I look at him, I'll cry. Right after that, she turned to explain, because I don't have magic, I need to rest, whether it hurts or... Before Ludisa could finish, he grabbed her hand and pulled her back down on the bed. The little girl widened her eyes at Alex and asked, Alex, are you losing your mind? His voice had a hint of anger as he replied, I don't want to go up against someone who doesn't even know how to take care of themselves. The little girl looked away and said, I'm not in pain anymore, I mean it. Alex gently closed his eyes and sighed, asking, what are you planning to do? You don't have any support for the man of business, right? Ludisa looked over and answered, no, I'm going to catch the traitor who was involved in my kidnapping. The little girl said in a low voice, the one who conspired with my uncle to extort child support money from raising me and aided in that matter. Alex was astonished hearing these words from the little girl. This child. The little girl gritted her teeth. I will catch that bastard and make him pay. The murderous intent radiating from Alex is just like mine. Ludisa softly called his name, Alex. He immediately let go of the hand gripping Ludisa's wrist. We cannot let the traitor roam free. Alex looked down and answered coldly. The current situation is just temporary. Ludisa widened her eyes and stared intently at him. She held back a smile and asked, Let me repeat myself. Alex explained coldly. It's only temporary. I'm not doing it for you. Ludisa smiled and said, Okay. We're just cooperating to catch the traitor, right? Right? Being teased. He got a little annoyed. You're so annoying. The little girl looked at Alex through the gaps of her fingers. Why do I feel like? The numbers above his head were changing continuously. Ludisa secretly rejoiced in her heart. So Alex is just trying hard to hate me. Huh. Just as she was rejoicing, the number above his head clearly settled on minus 666. The little girl gaped. No, it's minus 666 again. Look. The next morning at the palace. Ludisa fearfully pointed at herself and softly called, Papa. She looked at the doctors who were trembling on their knees on the ground and asked, Are you going to kill those doctors? Faratin crossed his arms, turned to her, and replied, They didn't fulfill their duties, so they must take responsibility. The little girl walked over and hugged his leg, pleading, But I'm really okay. Ludisa rolled up her sleeve, showing off the tiny muscles on her arm. See, I'm super strong. She then turned to the doctor and gave a wink as a signal. Seeing the little girl's signal, the doctor quickly explained, That's right. The test results show that the young lady is healthier than before she fainted. The doctors behind silently praised her. The young lady is number one. Ludisa held out her hand to him. Father, look, before I fainted, my hands and feet were freezing. Faratin reached out his hand to let the little girl touch it. Then, he knelt on one knee and kissed Ludisa's tiny hand. He looked up at the little girl. Now it's warm. The little girl smiled and nodded. Shortly after, Faratin slightly furrowed his brows. Coughing up blood means the toxins were eliminated. The little girl looked at his face and thought, It seems father has lost weight. He gently flicked Ludisa's forehead. Don't make me worry like that anymore. Hearing his words of concern, Ludisa felt incredibly happy inside. So it's because father was worried about me. Suddenly, she wanted to eat bread. Father, I want to eat this kind of bread. Hearing that she wanted to eat, Faratin hurriedly asked, Which one? Tell me quickly. Ludisa replied, It's my absolute favorite in the whole world. The little girl raised her 2 small hands. Right after that, she danced and shot finger hearts at Faratin, saying, Papa, to explain a pang. Pang means bread, AP means dad. So basically Lulu is just playing a little joke on her dad. Everyone was stunned seeing the little girl's actions. Seeing their expressions, Ludisa stopped what she was doing and thought, was it not funny? Faratin immediately shouted, Did you hear that? The servants quickly responded, Yes, my lord. The little girl was inevitably surprised by their actions. What is this? He held out his hand to the butler, and the butler respectfully placed a magic book into his hand. Faratin took the book, his whole body radiating a murderous aura. Ludisa was stunned, staring at the book, thinking, What book is that? A book that can only be opened with magic. Could it be the family's secret weapon? He then opened the book and looked at the contents inside. Lulu Ping Princess Lulu, a parent's diary. In the book, a name was circled with a heart shape. Lulu Ping Princess Lulu, a parent's diary. The little girl looked at the contents inside the book and smiled softly, full of happiness. She couldn't hold back and let out a sound. A while later, Ludisa sat tiredly on a chair, using her hands to massage her legs. Sigh, I'm only 4 years old. Why am I so incredibly busy? The little girl looked away and thought to herself, Embarrassment is only temporary, but survival is a lifelong matter. Oh well, as long as the doctors are okay, that's fine. The moment the doctors were spared from the death penalty, they endlessly thanked Ludisa. We owe our lives to the young lady. We love you so much. Young lady. Thank you, young lady. The little girl looked up at the system and thought to herself, Why haven't I received my reward yet? A line of text appeared on the screen. Would you like to claim your reward right now? Ludisa answered decisively, yes. As soon as the system received her answer, it activated, calculating. A few seconds later, the reward appeared on the screen. Calculation complete. Hermes has been added. The little girl stared blankly at her reward. Hermes? Ludisa stared wide-eyed at the reward. It's the Hermes I know, right? She covered her mouth and reached out to touch the screen. She pressed the icon of a small bird at the bottom corner of the screen. As soon as she pressed it, a bright white light flashed. The small bird on the screen immediately appeared. A second later, it flew towards her. Ludisa reached out to catch the bird, and a stream of information about it appeared right in front of her. Hermes, you have acquired a rare messenger spirit. This bird is a loyal messenger that can deliver letters to anyone, anywhere you want, like the legendary Hermes, even to the afterlife. It is an extremely valuable reward. In short, players should pay up and find out its abilities for themselves. The messenger of capitalism. Right after that, she rubbed her cheek against the bird. So cute. My pet is so cool and amazing, just like when I was a kid. So your name will be Chirp Chirp. Never mind that name Hermes. Suddenly, the little bird pushed Ludisa away with its tiny foot. I haven't acknowledged you as my master yet, human brat. Right after that, it flew over to the cookies and snorted, I know everything. It turned back and glared at her. I know that disappointed look. Those aren't tears of joy at all. They are tears of lingering regret, aren't they? Ludisa was stunned seeing the talking bird. The two fell silent, looking at each other for a moment. Right after that, the little girl smiled softly. She reached out to take a cookie from the table, offered it to the bird, and smiled, asking, "Here's a cookie. Do you want to eat?" The bird couldn't help but be surprised when the little girl offered it a cookie. Huh? It yelled angrily, "Are you serious? I don't want it." It immediately turned its head away. "Do you think I'll fall for this trick?" A moment later, it happily ate the cookie on the table. "You really are a good person." Ludisa rested her chin on her hands and looked at it happily, saying, "Eat it all. I prepared it for this messenger bird of capitalism anyway. I didn't expect it to actually be useful." She calculated inwardly. "It seems fine, but if I can fully exploit its abilities, I can even send letters to the afterlife." Ludisa then summoned the system. Status window. She told herself, "I have to do this well." She looked at the quests and thought, currently, these are the 3 ongoing quests. Quests in progress. 1. New wealth will constantly appear. 2. Clean up internally. 3. Establish my position in the household. The Mana Stone mining project can only be executed once I have an advisory board, so let's put it aside for now. 1. New wealth will constantly appear. 2. Clean up internally. Ludisa thought to herself, I have decided to cooperate with Alex to find the spy. 2. Clean up internally. 3. Establish my position in the household. That's all that's left. She looked at the 3rd quest, be acknowledged by Alex as family. 3. Establish my position in the household. Ludisa recalled Alex's words from yesterday. Family members are enemies, because only one person can become the head of Tyrant. Suddenly, she realized something. Isn't this a bit? She stared blankly as she pondered Alex's words. Strange? It's weird that from our very first meeting, Alex considered me a competitor for the Tyrant position. Doesn't that mean he has already acknowledged me as a part of this family? Ludisa couldn't help but wonder, why isn't the quest completed yet? The room was now filled only with the chirping of the bird. Suddenly, she realized Alex's true intentions. Alex doesn't consider me a member of this family, but a target to be eliminated. When Alex becomes the Duke, there will be no place for me in this family anymore. I do not belong in the future that Alex dreams of. Ludisa lowered her eyes sadly. There's nothing I can do if he hates me that much. She was surprised to find the bird resting in her hands. Hermes? The bird spoke up. If we meet 3 more times, I'll allow you to call me by my nickname. As if afraid Ludisa would misunderstand, it quickly explained, it's not because I hate you, okay? It's just that, isn't this our first time meeting? She thought to herself, he is comforting me. Right after that, she smiled and suggested, do you want to dance with me for a bit? To Alex, family is not a normal concept. He will either have no family at all, or have a family, but refuse to accept them. Either way, it's really sad. While she was deep in thought, Ixon walked in and asked, what are you doing? Seeing him walk in, Ludisa called his name. Ixon. She walked over and grabbed Ixon's hand. She happily asked, isn't family a wonderful thing? He looked at Ludisa warily. Why this sudden? What's wrong with that bird? Ludisa looked at him with hopeful eyes. Right? You also think it's very pretty, don't you? Ixon stood frozen, looking at the little girl holding his hand. Immediately after, he blushed and looked away. Yeah. Ludisa teased, your ears are red. He replied irritably, they are not. She laughed and teased, are you shy? That's so adorable. Ixon shouted, explaining, it's the truth. Right after that, he looked at Ludisa seriously. More importantly, I heard that you like a certain type of bread. Hearing these words, the smile on the little girl's face faltered. Ixon looked at her curiously. What's the matter? Everyone has been going crazy about it, but they won't tell me what kind of bread it is. Ludisa replied nervously, you can't know about it. You just can't. He pleaded with Ludisa, tell me what it is. She brushed him off. You don't need to know. Ixon frowned and asked, are you only hiding it from me? Seeing his expression, she took a step back. That expression can't make me feel bad. She pouted and replied in a low voice. Ixon frowned and repeated BL. Ludisa clenched her fists with determination. Come on, she told herself, only the first time is hard. Immediately after, she made a finger heart gesture at Ixon, Oppang. Ludisa's action made him freeze. Ixon was stunned by her action. Meanwhile, outside the palace, flurries of snow were falling. A moment later, a loud explosion echoed, accompanied by Ixon's scream, damn it, she's too cute. He couldn't help but scream internally, I'm dying over here. At this time, inside the palace corridor, Alex walked alone down the hallway, holding a file folder. He sadly looked up at the ceiling. He recalled his conversation with Ludisa. You wouldn't have wanted to be kidnapped, so you couldn't have helped with that. Alex frowned slightly and said, but I did nothing. Ludisa smiled and replied, no, you're lying. He chuckled and asked why. Is it because I like you? Is that the kind of nonsense you would say? Her eyes became cold. You want to become the head of this family. The little girl sat up and replied, you saved me because you wanted an achievement. Ludisa smiled and asked, am I wrong? Alex thought to himself, I can't say it's completely wrong. I thought I had completely fooled this soft pudding. Ludisa looked away and said, however, denying it to this extent, there's no need to emphasize that you don't like me anymore. She smiled softly. She looked at Alex, smiling, and asked, doesn't that mean you were starting to like me? Alex asked coldly, are you saying that I am not guilty because I like you and save you at the last minute? Ludisa shook her head and replied, no, I'm wrong. I was really scared. She pointed a finger at his face and emphasized, therefore, I will not forgive you. She pointed at him, smiling, and said, if you want to be forgiven, try your best. Hearing her words, Alex smiled and replied, I guess I'll try to get my adorable little sister's forgiveness then. Returning to the present, he knocked on Ludus's door. The door opened, and Ludus's voice rang out. Come in, Alex. In the room, the little girl was sitting on a chair, waving at Alex. I've been waiting for you. He walked over and replied coldly, yeah, I told you we would work together. He pulled out a chair. Alex set the file folder down and smiled, saying, even if it's just for a moment. Ludus smiled and cheered. Great. Let's get started then. She looked at him and asked, so who was the traitor that colluded with Tyrant? Alex reached out his hand and smiled, answering, it seems you are very sure you have found out. Based on what? Ludus opened her big round eyes, looking at him with a confident voice. It's simple. You are very smart. The two sat facing each other. Alex gently said to the little girl, I will always support you. The small head looked up at him. All right, I'll take care of this myself. The number above Alex's head jumped to 439. So what are you going to do? Seeing this change, Ludus's heart bloomed with joy. The affection points have increased. It's very simple. The childish fingers snapped to signal, just bring me the work logbook, and everything will be solved. His expression remained cold. Explain it to me. She thought to herself, he looks like he doesn't need any explanation at all. Ludus rested her chin and slowly explained, Tyrant has been sending a huge amount of child support every quarter. Naturally, they would receive reports to see if it was being used for its intended purpose. The money and documents are all fully accounted for. Alex listened seriously and then offered his opinion. The reports are flawless. Even when compared with the actual purchase history, nothing was found. So the officials are not the traitors. Her face was young, but she sighed like an old lady. You can skip the record I requested from you. If so, that's the logbook I asked Alex for. Suddenly, he asked a question that made Ludus find a spark of light. So what do you want? The list of auditors over the past 3 years. Auditors must have gone to Tyrant to investigate, right? Alex smiled slightly and nodded in reply. That's right. A layer of indescribable emotion welled up in her big round eyes. Right after that, she suddenly cupped her face. I understand now. The person opposite her was very confused at this moment. What a strange reaction. Ludus recalled that dark memory. When I was at Tyrant's, I felt like I was completely abandoned. The little girl had once trembled and begged in despair. Please let me see your face just once. Please tell me my name. How many times had tears fallen? You didn't have to take me back, but please say that you won't forget me and that you won't abandon me. A change appeared at some point. I stopped dreaming of it so suddenly. An auditor was sent. My family always remembered me and kept an eye on me. It's just that their eyes were empty. Returning to the present, she smiled foolishly. Yes, I wonder why. Now I know that I was not abandoned. Alex's eyes curved in a smile. Did that bastard say something to you? Ludus's head was full of question marks. What? That bastard? Am I hearing things? His voice came at a steady pace. You said that you were abandoned. It was true that the little girl had just said that. Yes. Alex's attitude didn't change at all. That's such a delusional thought. But he didn't know that in a hidden corner he couldn't see. Her hand was clenched tight. A delusional thought. The red hue in Alex's eyes remained as cold as ever. Abandoning you? Keep your head up. Ludus Tyrant. No one has the right to abandon you. Ludus was stunned for a moment, unable to fully believe Alex's words. No one. At the same time, the score changed again. I have the right to abandon you. Ludus covered her mouth in shock. He's the only one who can abandon me? Overjoyed, she boldly guessed, Alex, you must really like me. The number 4 in 444 must mean you love me, right? With a smile as bright as a blooming spring flower, Alex was momentarily captivated by Ludus. Regaining his composure, he slightly bowed his head to avoid her gaze. Let's just continue with the story. That's why we meant to talk. Another secret was revealed. The auditor found out that your uncle had become rich from the child support money. Your uncle must have tried to bribe the auditor. Just thinking about it clearly showed his greedy face. The child support money. Let's split it. We just have to manipulate the audit results. Naturally, this confused him. How'd he dare to do that? And once again, Ludus gave the answer. There was a valid reason to ignore it. Half of it is that the little girl is not the Duke's biological daughter, and the other half is from the Duchess's extramarital affair. An illegitimate child without any magical energy. That was precisely why Tyrant had the chance to trample on the little girl. Even if she were his biological daughter, would the Duke care about such flaws? The child support was just a save face. Alex's emotionless eyes softened. Now I understand why you asked me that question. Ludus had once asked him, do you think I'm not father's daughter? And the truth is I'm just an illegitimate child. A file folder was presented. Here is the list of auditors. Ludus's tiny body had to climb across the large table to reach it. Look, did you already know everything? Tell me a little about them. She pulled the documents out from inside. David Alua and Sobiander came to audit every 6 months. Just looking at it drew a certain amount of attention. These two must definitely be involved in this, even their supervisor. Hearing this, Alex was somewhat curious. How do you know about their supervisor? Maybe he is just an incompetent person or was blinded by fake reports. The little girl held out the document and boldly said, Alex, do you think I'm a fool? This list is the proof. They haven't changed the auditors in 3 years. That only raises suspicion. The piece of paper waving in front of his face left him speechless. To be honest, he hesitated for a moment and then asked, so what is the supervisor's name? He quickly got the answer, Asen Klassen. Ludisa slid off the chair to stand on the ground, then pointed her finger to the sky, as if discovering the ultimate truth. All the secrets have been solved. There is always only one truth. Her voice was clear, firm, and full of confidence. Asen Klassen, David Alua, and Sobianter. These 3 are the traitors who colluded with Nicholas Tarenka. A notification immediately rang out. Cleanup Quest 1 completed. Reward, 3,000 lottery tickets. Your influence in the Faratten Duchy has increased. Alex admires your logic. Alex folded his arms and watched the little girl goofing around. That's quite impressive, isn't it? What are you going to do with him now? Unexpectedly, the little girl was full of youthful enthusiasm. Of course. Ludisa climbed onto the high chair once again. I will leave them alone. He stayed in his position, puzzled. Leave him alone? Her approach surprised Alex quite a bit. Yes, until I find a person behind them. The familiar sound rang out. A new quest had arrived. Cleanup 2. You have excellently captured the accomplices who harassed you, but it's not enough. You've only removed the surface dust. The cleaning is not over yet. Make sure to remove all the mold growing inside. Condition, hunt down the traitor. Reward, 10,000 cash draw ticket. Her mature demeanor contrasted with her adorable face. We need bait to catch a big fish. He looked interested in Ludisa. Indeed, I like that. I didn't expect you to even think about the person behind all this. Hearing that, the little girl arrogantly tossed her hair. No compliments for me? I'm your rival, you know, as if reminding Alex. Arrival, his slender fingers tapped rhythmically on the table. Why don't you suspect me? His eyes returned to their familiar coldness. I could just be pretending to help so you won't suspect me. The little girl answered immediately without even thinking, but that's not who you are. Ludisa successfully made him freeze once again. Alex smiled helplessly. Do you really not know who I am? Contrary to what he thought, the little girl winked playfully at Alex. I'll take that as a compliment. My charm is like an onion. No matter how many layers you peel off, it will never run out. He suddenly thought of something. Speaking of which, you like eating bread, don't you? Her loving smile froze and shattered into pieces. Ludisa's expression looked like she had swallowed a bitter pill. Please, oh God, stop talking about that. Meanwhile, the culprit put on an innocent look. Why did he bring this up? Alex smiled at her. That's not funny at all. Did I say a joke? Ludisa froze, her expression completely pausing. The little girl felt miserable inside. So, who is the older brother you mentioned? He's a cunning old fox, but he had no intention of letting it go. Is it Brother Alex? In a splendidly decorated room, Ludisa was wearing an incredibly adorable nightgown. Awesome. I got the ability I wanted. The perfect weapon to punish the corrupt officials. What she received was the tax bomb ability. In a world where the collapse of a nation means doom, what value does money still hold? It is money that sustains an entire country with an empty treasury. The corrupt officials, I will catch them all. Along with it, Ludisa also got the ability effect. You can track the income of the person standing in front of you and their after-tax income. Number of uses, 0/5. The little girl immediately realized this is the ability to track cash flow. She understood inwardly. Actually, the female lead in my husband's money is the one with the best skills. But do you want my power? This greatest ability? It is mine. But there was only the harsh truth. I don't have cash. Fortunately, getting this ability would also be very helpful. Anyway, bribes are part of income, so I can naturally track them. There's a rather important thing. However, the problem is that I have to see that person's face. Track the income of the person standing in front and the number of ability uses. Her short legs jumped onto the soft bed. I don't know who that person is, but it's definitely an elder. To meet an elder, I have to wait until the next competition, which is taking too long. There is no other way for now. In the meantime, can I only sit around doing nothing in my father's office? But when will my father arrive? The little girl brought this issue to Alex and immediately got a suggestion from him. It's simple. Just aim for the upcoming year-end party. Her small face lit up. Ah, the new year is coming. We'll have a big party. Alex slowly walked down the stairs behind Ludisa. Are you excited? The little girl trotted ahead. Of course. Ludisa's hands flared her princess dress, her legs slightly bending to imitate the movement of a dancer. The banquet hall will be decorated beautifully, right? Everyone will dress up nicely and greet each other gracefully. He couldn't help but find his little sister's actions amusing. I wonder what you were expecting. Ludisa pulled back her previous posture and turned toward Alex. Contrary to the gentle cheerfulness, her face now exuded a bizarre look. A secret social war, but with elegant attitudes. The world around him plunged into darkness. At Alex's confusion, Ludus's spirit seemed stimulated and full of energy. Another war. What a cruel world, where people hide their swords and stab each other with words. The more she spoke, the more enthusiastic she became. This is social politics. Just then, she was interrupted by him. Hey, who taught you those things? The little girl quickly changed the subject, starting to wave her hands and feet. There will also be a lot of delicious food, right? Cakes and puddings. Will there be a chocolate fountain? Alex immediately extinguished that innocent wish. There has never been a chocolate fountain here. He flicked his finger against her chubby, soft cheek. His smile and words made Ludus tear up with emotion. But if you want, I'll have someone prepare it. Her two small arms stretched out, and she rushed to hug Alex's legs. Alex, you're the best. His face was extremely gentle and affectionate. The little girl was also immersed in her own feelings. But right at this moment, the score above Alex's head moved. 234. That's too much. Ludus quickly moved away from him. Resisting my cuteness is just pointless. She pretended to clear her throat to look more natural. Anyway, so all of your subordinates will attend the year-end party? Alex adjusted the coat on his shoulders. The attendance rate is even higher than the monthly conference. Even the elders who have retired from the front lines will come. Hearing that, the little girl immediately looked joyful. Great! Behind that harmless smile, who knows how many evil schemes were hidden? If so, I will be able to track their income without fail. Suddenly, Ludus's tiny legs were lifted off the ground. So, can you tell me the reason now? The little girl was tossed onto a soft chair. The culprit was none other than him. The reason you asked when you'll be able to meet the important members of the family. It was as if Ludus's switch was flipped, and she hurriedly asked, right, can I return to the duchy now? I think it would be great if you could welcome me. Alex glanced at her. Isn't to find a person behind all this? Ludus felt that she couldn't fool him. Alex, you really are smart. Alex continued to question her. However, it's still very strange. I'm not sure why you want to meet them. It's not like you can tell right away. Ludus's eyes widened even more. Why is he so quick-witted? The little girl lowered her head and stayed silent for a moment. First, I need to find out who it is and then come up with a logical argument. There's no other way. Then she replied to him. That's because you're my ally. Just temporarily, though, with a serious yet resigned look. Right, because you're my temporary ally and also my older brother, I will tell you. While Ludus wasn't paying attention, the number above Alex's head changed again. 184. She put on a mysterious look and leaned close to his ear. Actually, Alex's expression at this moment was both expectant and wary. Ludus tried to speak very softly. I can read minds. This was indeed hard to believe. What? The little girl used even more flowery words to describe it. My eyes are the eyes of truth. The energy of heaven flows through my eyes. She had actually revealed her secret, but I have to see that person's face. I see. The large and small hands next to each other continued chatting. That's right. I can see all evil and wicked things with my pure eyes. Alex was a bit curious. So, which group do I belong to? His forehead pressed against Ludus's smooth pink hair, which faintly smelled of a pleasant scent, and he looked straight into her eyes to ask, the good group, or but the bad side? Being suddenly approached made Ludus's face flush red. My heart is pounding right now. She just listened as Alex got closer to ask, and then moved away to answer himself. Indeed, after all, we are siblings. We're the same. He still confirmed it once again. Anyway, you can know immediately if a person has taken bribes just by looking at their face, right? Ludus's small face was full of confidence. Yes, this time it is very accurate. Even though she was a child, this was Alex's own choice. Good. To be honest, I don't believe it, but we have already decided to cooperate. The little girl still carried a child's soul. Awesome. Is there anything more awesome than a chocolate fountain? Fried chicken. Fried chicken. Time passed quickly, and it was time for the party. At this time in the castle, in a pretty room decorated with gift boxes everywhere, all done, Anna gently asked Ludus, would you like to try it on? The little girl put on her new outfit like an incredibly adorable little princess stepping out of a comic book. All the servants were mesmerized just by looking at her. Everyone spared no praise. Our young lady is the cutest. The new year is when I finally admit my true age. Our young lady is so adorable. This is the first time I get to celebrate the new year with my beloved family. Amidst the praises from the others, our young lady is so adorable. Her clear eyes sparkled with joy. My name is Ludus Faratin. I am 5 years old this year. On another side, 3 men gathered in the hall. Alex coldly looked at the new arrival. Our little sister will not be pleased if you continue to behave so uncivilized. Ixon replied without any hesitation, to be honest, aren't you just like that? Didn't you see how happy Cotton Candy was when she saw me? Duke Faratin stood beside them, looking depressed at the scene. Come on, you two, stop it. A clear voice drew their attention back. Everyone is here. Right after that, it was as if sunlight shone down, blinding everyone. Tajda. Her small figure walking down the stairs was like a pretty flower stepping forward. Look here, this is my outfit for the year-end party. Isn't it pretty? Her bright smile caught the dark aura radiating from Ixin. Ludisa rushed straight to him, pointing her finger at his face and scolding. If you two keep fighting, I won't talk to you guys anymore. Ignoring that anger, someone still stepped forward. My little sister looks so adorable. Alex knelt on one knee and kissed the little girl's hand. May I be your escort? He immediately received an objection. Hey, where did you come from, kid? Ixin quickly pulled Ludisa toward him. Didn't you hear what I said? Don't pay attention to that crazy guy anymore. He tried his best to protect the little girl. My little cotton candy, I will protect you. The war of words started again from Alex's toxic mouth. The guy who always wants to smash walls is just talking nonsense. Don't believe him. An enthusiastic response from the other. Want to try? A third voice interrupted the two of them and simultaneously picked Ludisa up in his arms. This is clearly nonsense. It was Duke Faraton's turn to snatch her. Anyway, she likes me the most. The person being fought overrealized. What's going on? This scene is just like those cheesy romance novels. My brothers and father are all controlled by me. The little girl suddenly widened her eyes and looked at Alex. He also noticed Ludisa looking at him. A gentle smile immediately bloomed on Alex's face, but the number didn't reflect it. The most noticeable thing was this, 160. The little girl really wanted to scream. No, even if you don't like me, it's not worth deducting points. Ludisa felt she had to resolve this situation, so she told him, but I'm still young. I don't need to have an escort. Father, please put me down. Alex approached and explained, there's no rule forbidding this. How could Ixin let it go? Don't interfere. The knight's duty is to keep ladies safe. That's my job. He didn't bother to get angry, but dropped a meaningful sentence. I'm serious. But today, she has an important matter to do with me. And he successfully provoked the other. Important? Alex gently took the little girl and put her down. That's our secret. Ludisa also remembered it this time. That's right for the quest. Going with Alex will be better. Ludisa wanted to wave her small hand. Brother, Alex. Seeing that, he accommodated the little girl's wish and tilted his head down, but Ludisa spoke naturally as if stabbing Alex. I still haven't forgiven you. The little girl waved her hand while smiling wickedly. Alex still didn't quite understand. And then she moved out of the reach of the three men, while everyone was bewildered. The decision lies with me. This Lulu is cute enough to conquer the whole world. Taking a few steps forward, Ludisa turned around. I have decided. Father, Ixin, and also Alex. She stretched her chubby, plump hand towards them. I will go with everyone. The little girl believed this was a wonderful proposal. Our whole family will go together. Ludisa firmly believed she was right. There is nothing wrong with doting on your little sister and daughter. This is the precious family I've always dreamed of. Ixin was clearly unhappy. I have to go to the party with this idiot? Alex also showed his attitude plainly. I'm the one who's more annoyed about this. The little girl immediately offered another choice. If you're uncomfortable, I will go with Anna, Nancy, and Laura. The two were just arguing became unusually united. Family must stay together. I'm so excited. As you wish, darling. Ludisa pulled Duke Faraton's sleeve. What about you, father? Are you okay with it? Let's go. The corners of his lips curled up into a smile. Let's go together. And so, after compromising with the men in the family of four set off together. The crowded party was extremely bustling. Alex stood quietly alone, sipping the wine glass in his hand. He had been observing. Father just entered the council room with the elders earlier. The other two in the family were not as quiet as Alex. Ixin, as usual, acted like the eldest brother standing next to Ludisa. Deep down, he thought, I hate humans so much, but because he couldn't stand it anymore, he ran away. This showed signs of getting better. Anyway, he wasn't crazily trying to kill people anymore. This was also a big improvement. Ludisa's eyes were glued to the food, and there were always affectionate people watching her. The most important thing to care about right now was, now the elders will come out of the council room. It was time for the chess pieces to reveal themselves, the officials supporting Duke Faraton. In other words, the ones with the highest chance of betraying us. Alex had faith in Ludisa. She probably understands too. We must act discreetly until we find concrete evidence. Just a small action like the little girl's nod in response made him more reassured. Not very surprising. She understood immediately. At this time, someone approached. My lady, you have arrived. The man in the lead was very polite, even though the subject was only Ludisa, a 5-year-old girl. May I ask, are you enjoying the party? Ludisa honestly answered, yes, it's very fun. Alex stood still, watching the movement. Good. The meeting went smoothly. There was one thing he was still curious about. It's really interesting. How can she know who is behind this just by meeting them? I still don't understand. The wine glass in his hand tilted down. I hate uncertainty. Looking at that tiny figure through the wine glass. Why still can't I explain it? Perhaps I should continue observing. His eyes lacked any emotion. I can't believe it. He just locked his sight on Aludisa. I will never, never. The wine glass was pulled back without spilling a single drop, and the corners of his mouth curled up. Even though I don't believe it, I have to admit that Ludisa is a smart child. Alex, looking gentle and relaxed at this moment, brought the wine glass to his lips. Just as she said, I will find the culprit. But before he could even take a sip, he heard that childish voice. You're a bad guy. He stopped his movement, his whole body freezing. Ludisa, the little girl, was pointing right at those people's faces and scolding them. Bad guys, you wicked people. Her aura was fierce and majestic, like a hero saving the world. You damn tax evader. Alex forced a smile that looked worse than crying. Did my little sister leave her brain at home? The video will pause here. While waiting for the new part, please check out other series on the QMO review channel to pass the time. Wishing you all happiness and plenty of energy. Goodbye and see you next time.